This guy steps in a pile of mud and hears some creepy sounds. I don't want to die. Help me, help me. Turns out he can see ghosts, and those piles of mud are actually the gunk of negative emotions people leave behind after they die. They're everywhere. Someone covered in black mud is usually about to face death. His classmate Choi Ji-sung is a dude with super bad luck. He's been avoiding him like the plague, but that dude is so clingy it's annoying as hell. I'm not trying to team up, bro. Turns out he's a YouTuber with 400,000 subscribers who specializes in exploring haunted houses. With insane engagement, he makes a decent living. He even bought a special camera, a limited edition that can detect spirits for 400 million won. Unlike Hyun, who's stuck eating instant noodles every day. Thanks to it, Ji-sung discovered Hyun's secret. This freaked him out, so he confronted him. You can see ghosts, can't you? Why is my friend looking at me with such a shitty, judgmental look? Because I explore haunted houses. There might be some nasty stuff clinging to me. And ever since then, Choi Ji-sung has always been trying to lure him into exploring haunted houses with him. No matter where, no matter when, it pisses him off. I can't even take a crap in peace with you around. That night, as he was scrolling through Hyun's reviews, he found Ji-sung live streaming a haunted house exploration. The guy dared to go to an abandoned urban area alone. As he walked, he explained, I'm going into the building. This is the place with the most accidents in the area. Today, let's go inside and catch some ghosts together. Just then, the spirit meter in his hand started beeping. Beep! A reading of 700 means we're standing very close to a ghost. Suddenly, a ghost appeared on the screen, making him scream in terror. And that wasn't all. The dude even went down to a flooded basement alone. The thought of it made his hair stand on end, because spirits that can't let go of their emotions, they don't have the ability to move. They can barely maintain a human form. Now they've turned into lumps. But the thing I just saw, it was clearly a monster. Lee Hyun immediately called Ji-sung to warn him of the danger, but he didn't pick up. Turns out the demon was messing with the signal. Its image flickered on the phone. The broadcast has ended. Lee Hyun's face grew grim as he broke out in a cold sweat. After a moment of internal struggle, he finally decided to go to the basement. To save his friend. The spirits here made him cringe. Hyun cautiously hid behind a wall, observing. Inside it was pitch black and no one was there. He saw his friend's 400 million won camera lying here. And here I thought the cameraman was always immortal. Hyun called again, but the phone still couldn't connect. User's location cannot be determined. He immediately broke into a sweat, calling out, Ji-sung, where are you? Looking into the dark, flooded basement, he wondered. Normally, in dangerous situations like this, I would have just ignored it and stayed home tucked in bed. But now, Hyun slowly moved inside. It was pitch black, making him tremble as he walked. Yeah, just like that, after a moment he stopped to observe. This place was creepily quiet and also very tall, completely different from the first floor. He quietly reassured himself, I'll just check here. Then I'll leave immediately. Suddenly, a red light in the darkness spooked him. Turns out it was Ji-sung's spirit meter. His flashlight was here too. And for some reason, Hyun still ended up going into the deepest basement. I should have waited for the cops. Hyun suddenly turned back. A black mass appeared, making him sweat. Hyun quickly moved deeper to search. The scene before him was like looking at hell. A long corridor, with demon rooms on both sides. Hyun tiptoed quietly, turning to leave. I'm still a virgin, I don't want to die. Just as he was hesitating, the ghosts were quietly wailing, save us. You must save us. Hyun could only stay silent, pretending not to see them. Suddenly, a monster grabbed him by the neck, calling for its mom. Its form was creepy as hell. Hyun was scared shitless. He raised a finger to confirm, but it grabbed him with its small hand, freezing him in fear. It held his head tightly and questioned him. Have you seen my mom? Hyun could only stand rooted to the spot in terror. He remembered his grandfather's advice. In times of danger, bite the talisman. It will protect you for a short time, but remember after that its power will disappear forever. He immediately bit the talisman hanging from his neck. The power it released made the monster fall into the water. He seemed to be invisible to it. Only when it left did he breathe a sigh of relief. Hyun quickly ran off screaming, Ah! What was that thing? It can touch me. I've already used my only lifeline. Damn it! Suddenly, Ji-sung appeared behind him. Hyun walked over pissed off. This bastard. I've already called the police. You'll have to explain the rest to them. Don't forget to donate to this guy for saving your life. He pointed his finger at him, but strangely it went right through. The guy just kept walking forward. Hyun tried to pull him back but only grabbed air. This made him freeze as if he'd realized something. His smile just now was the smile of a soul that had cast away the pains of life. Hyun called his name loudly, but Ji-sung was still the same, walking into the dark basement. He immediately panicked and ran after him. I can save him. Stop right there. He recognized his name. The soul hasn't completely faded. It's faint, but something is still left. This is the golden hour. That live stream ended with a scream. He left his belongings everywhere. Was he possessed by a ghost, or was something chasing him? Either way, there's a high chance he's lost his mind. Depending on the situation, even shallow water can be dangerous. If he fell into the water, I have to find him within 3 minutes. He took a breath and dived into the deep water. Scary as hell. The floor is sloping down. Hyun looked around wondering, this place is... What the hell is this place? He shouted loudly, Choi Ji-sung, where are you? The water was swarming with ghosts. Hyun gathered all his courage and waved his hand at them. He silently reassured himself. At least the ghosts can't touch me. I have a talisman. No time to think anymore. I have to hurry. It's too dark here, I can't see clearly. No, there's nothing floating on the water. Did he sink? I can't tell who's human, and who's a ghost underwater. Hyun felt helpless and cried out. I have to search in this mess, God, it's huge, and being underwater is slowing me down. He must be somewhere around here. He couldn't have gone far. Somewhere along the way, I have to check every single room. Suddenly his whole body froze and he held his breath. Before him was a giant monster sound asleep. Hyun told himself, find him quick and get the hell out of here. Where is he? Splash. Where the hell could that bastard be? I must have been crazy to rush here in the middle of the night. But it's come to this. If you've come this far, then you can damn well crawl out on your own. Damn it, I'm scared to death here too. Suddenly a chill ran down his spine. The monster had woken up. Along with it were countless of its smaller offspring. Hyun froze. This is it, I'm really screwed. He remembered that morning in class. He and Ji-sung were eating noodles together. Hyun spoke up and asked, did you turn in your home contact form yet? If not, I can turn it in for you. Ji-sung replied, I don't have a mom. First time hearing this. Now don't tell me you don't have a dad either. And the answer was exactly that. I don't have a dad either. He could only say awkwardly, okay, let me eat. The guy talked about himself. My grandma raised me since I was 7 or 8. But my grandma passed away last year. Hyun couldn't even eat his noodles in peace with this guy around. Ji-sung continued, now I live with my relatives. But he left recently. He yelled in frustration, are you gonna let me eat or not? Everyone knows you're super unlucky. The guy turned to him with a bright smile. But you should congratulate me. Hyun asked naively, congratulate you for what? Today is my birthday. Hey, you should have told me that sooner. All right, I'll treat you to dinner tonight. What do you want to eat? But all he got in reply was a wave of his hand. Sorry, I have to do a birthday live stream. On special days like this, the donation money is really good. Hyun was really pissed now. So what do you want me to do, you little brat? Ji-sung made an offer. You want to go to a haunted house with me? Shut up and take this happy birthday punch. Back in the present, 3 minutes had passed long ago. Why did that brat have to come here? It's over, there's nothing I can do. If I had gotten here a little earlier, thinking like that is pointless. In front of me are countless giant ghosts. I can't see. There's no way to find someone in a place like this. I gotta get out. My body temperature is dropping fast. So cold, I'm starting to have visual disturbances. If I pass out here, I'll die too. As he walked, he reassured himself finding bodies isn't my job. The professionals could probably find him faster. I'm just a high school student. Suddenly, he imagined attending the funeral of Ji-sung, his portrait right in front of him. I'm not scared of ghosts. I'm scared of death. Just then, from under the water, black shadows rose. He realized it was a lump. That human-shaped lump pointed to a dark room. He looked in that direction and saw someone was in there. Hyun immediately screamed and ran in that direction. Choi Ji-sung? A crowd of bizarre ghosts urged him to save the person. But that room was too high up. Just one more time. Help me, he said to them. And his body felt like it was lifted into the air. As soon as he reached the hole, he thought to himself, now it's really over. My head is a mess, but I just have to think about 2 things. Get that guy out and escape this godforsaken place. Get him out. And get out of here. Got him. He used all his strength to pull Ji-sung out of the small hole. Hyun grabbed his collar to check on him. His complexion isn't completely pale yet. This is the golden hour I have to perform. CPR. No, first I need to get him out of the water. Chest compressions won't do any good. His body is freezing cold as if he's already dead. He remembered what happened earlier. But those lumps expressed a desire for salvation. That means there's still hope. Suddenly, from below, the ghost from before warned him danger. Turns out 20 minutes had passed. The talisman's effect was gone. He quickly dragged Ji-sung out with him, but his whole body was pulled back by something. The monster from before had grabbed him tightly, its mouth whispering, "There you are. You have been here for a long time." "I knew it. You can't escape." It bit down hard on his shoulder. "And on top of that, we're trapped." A wall appeared, blocking the only exit. Now there are no more protective charms. The monster roared, "Mommy, help me!" Turns out it has no teeth, so that last bite was just a love bite. Hyun was desperate. What can I do? Nothing. There's nothing I can do right now. He looked up. Damn it! Are you trying to kill us? It laughed in reply. Chew carefully. Only then can we grow up big and strong. He asked it again. You eat humans. Not like this. To become a healthy and decent person. His eyes became serious. He grabbed its head and took a bite out of its neck. You. Bite me, I'll bite you right back. The monster shrieked in pain. Before it could react, he lunged forward and delivered a powerful blow that completely messed up its face, until it started begging for its life. Don't torture me. He yelled, shut up, you dumbass. Come and get me if you've got the guts. I'll send all of you packing. And get out of this shithole alive. Faced with countless monsters, he realized something and quickly searched. I need a weapon. These things are dumb, but they're strong and tough. And if I'm not mistaken, they're getting bigger. Each one has a distinct voice and appearance, so I can identify them. The one I hit definitely has its mother's voice, and the one that made me use my protective charm definitely looks more pathetic. If they had teeth, we'd probably be dead by now. Looking at the unconscious Ji-sung, he cheered himself on. Let's get out of here alive together. He immediately grabbed his friend's 400 million won camera and used it to whack the monsters. His eyes turned wild with defiance. Come at me, you damn monsters. A large one charged forward and was immediately smashed in the face by him. Even the 400 million won camera broke. Luckily, the camera's tripod was still usable. A long, lanky one crawled over and was immediately hit by him. Blood splattered everywhere. The underdeveloped ones are softer. Just then, the one whose face he'd messed up earlier also approached. His punch was blocked by it. It used its strength to knock him away. Then, quick as lightning, it grabbed his head and pushed it forcefully into the water. Its face was distorted. Is he dead? Luckily, Hyun used his strength to grab its head and smash it repeatedly. He quickly looked for his weapon. It was forcefully dragging him while Hyun had grabbed the tripod leg. The monster threw him hard, sending him flying out into a more open space. It's hopeless. Countless monsters were staring at him. As soon as he surfaced, a monster bit his shoulder, causing him pain. Hyun immediately gave it a punch. Die. The one being punched by him could only cry for its mom and dad. Mom, help me, mom. Hyun felt a chill down his spine and looked up. It was the giant monster from before. It slowly descended, causing him to freeze in terror. Suddenly, something was coming from under the water. A monster slowly lifted him up, bringing him closer to the monster they called Mom. Suddenly, from inside its belly, a hand emerged, slimy and twisted. A voice called Lee Hyun. A girl crawled out from inside, long hair and incredibly beautiful. She smiled radiantly and greeted him, Hyun, long time no see. He could only stand there, stunned, not understanding a damn thing. Suddenly, the ghost from before shot up to the surface again, telling him to stab it. Stab it! Hyun for a moment froze. What? While the other ghost screamed, stab it right in the heart. Don't let her seduce you with her beauty. He immediately did as told, holding the camera tripod and stabbing it straight into its large heart. Even as blood spurted everywhere, the girl's face remained cheerful as if nothing had happened. She spoke again, you still haven't forgiven me. Sorry. The kind ghost surfaced to remind him, the wall has disappeared. Powerful spirits pulled him out. Finally, we're out. Perhaps they were the ones who died unjustly here. We're free, thank you. Quick as a flash, the vengeful spirits pulled him and his friend out. At the basement entrance, 2 police officers were searching. They only saw 2 guys being thrown right at them by the spirits. The officer yelled, over there! Isn't that the person who reported it? Wake up. How did you just pop out of here like that? The one who reported Choi Ji-sung was hospitalized. His condition is unknown as his family couldn't be contacted. All that matters is that he's alive. But what were those things? How did the wounds disappear overnight? And who was that girl? How did she know my name? Enough, no more questions. There are worlds that I can't possibly understand. Prying deeper will only make things more uncomfortable and dangerous. Just forget everything. I have to look the other way. Even though the class president is haunted, I've ignored it for the past 6 months, haven't I? So, from now on, I will absolutely not meddle in other people's business. Suddenly, the ghost stared at him. It quickly used its hand to grab him and move closer to Hyun. And just like that, he saw its memories. The teacher saw Hyun spacing out and yelled at him. The student just said, I was just dozing off. The teacher reprimanded, just dozing off? You slept so soundly you fell on the floor. Go stand in the back to wake up. You in the front, you go too. I am Han Ye-jun. People usually call me class president. My existence is faint, and of course I have no friends. The bald-headed bully spoke up curtly. Go do my auto hunting for me, you dog. For 2 years and 2 months I've been beaten for no reason. And they didn't just bully me. Auto hunting is their garbage game. Literally, it's like this. Level 1 service worker Kim Seo-jun. Level 1 convenience store worker, Lee Ji-hoon. They're absolute scumbags to the core. Besides eating and sleeping, they spend their whole day tormenting others. Among them, the most vicious one is this son of a bitch Choi Tae-oh. Every day I pray to some god out there, who I'm not even sure exists. Please kill all these bastards, starting from the 8th grade. For no reason. Then 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. I couldn't take it anymore. I brought the evidence, wanting to open a school violence investigation. Photos of bruises, audio recordings, a diary from all this time. At this point, it should at least be assault with intent to cause bodily harm. The teacher was just indifferent. Well, let's see what we have here. Ye-jun realized, why is this reaction so superficial? Taeo's group was punished with only 3 days of community service. I bet Han Ye-jun reported it. Poor guy. Taeo's family is rich, they probably bribed the school. He witnessed their friendly conversation and got even more pissed. So that's how it is. He could only feel helpless, his eyes welling up with tears. Looking at their parents, they must be influential people. Meanwhile, the ringleader who held a grudge just smirked. They teased him. You even had the audio recording, that's insane, it gives me goosebumps. We almost made the 9 o'clock news. All right. Settle down now, let's take a picture. 1, 2, 3, say kimchi. After that incident, the violence became even more severe. 1 year, 2 years. It continued even into high school. I don't know when this hell will ever end. It's making me sick. As he walked, Jun thought to himself, why am I even the class president? Probably thought I could get into a good university, get a good job, and win at life. I purposely chose a school that takes an hour to get to. I thought it was over. Just 6 months ago, I was so hopeful. Now I don't want to do anything at all. I even want to quit being class president. I'm so tired. Will it be like this for the rest of my life? I'd rather end it here myself. He didn't hear the ghost wailing, telling him not to do that stupid thing. Just in time, Hyun managed to pull him back. His face still covered in sweat, he cried out, I'll help you. Turns out the ghost had directed Lee Hyun's attention to save the boy. If I don't help the class president, it'll haunt me for the rest of my life. Ye-jun asked confusedly, help with what? Did he see me getting beaten up? Then he quickly explained, I don't know what you saw, but it's not what you think. I was just standing there watching the cars go by. It's better if you don't misunderstand. He remained insistent. I will help you. Are you really okay living like this? The boy's face turned unpleasant. You think I'm pathetic? Who the hell are you? Don't go meddling in other people's business, it'll just backfire on you. Got it. Jun then turned and walked away. Just pretend you don't know anything. I can handle it myself tomorrow. The next day, Hyun found Jun and offered, I'll help you. But he still didn't respond. I told you to stay out of it. The day after that, he was still persistent but was always rejected by him. And the day after that, he yelled, I said I'll help. But Jun remained stubborn. And I said no. Why do you suddenly want to help me? We're not even close. What if you get dragged into this? I don't want to cause trouble for anyone. Yeah, I've got a plan. So what exactly is your plan? Just then the phone rang. It was the bully. He said, Ye-jun be in front of Boreo Mart before 5 o'clock. Got it, Jun's voice. Jun explained. If I skip evening classes again, I'll probably get disciplined. He brought up that auto hunting thing again. It seems pretty fun. I was thinking of raising one myself to see how it goes. Your little brother has gotten so big, huh? He's even wearing a uniform now. Hearing this, the boy's face darkened. Middle school students can get part-time jobs these days, right? If you're busy with your studies, what about your little brother Ye-jun? It's not that I haven't tried to escape. That's enough, you bastards! He recounted the time he tried to fight back. You guys have been tormenting me like this for over a year. Aren't you tired of it? Then you might as well kill me. Let's just die together. Just then, Jun's younger brother appeared. Jun was horrified while the bully flashed a sinister smile. From then on, that garbage group chose an easier way. They always used the kid to threaten him. This time was the same. Jun still obeyed him as usual. Just then, Hyun roared, Choi Tae-oh! You son of a bitch, come fight me one-on-one. Boreo Mart my ass, forget it. Bring all your dogs over to my place. Okay. Jun looked at him blankly. And then what? What are you going to do next? You go wait there too, I'll bring reinforcements. Time shifts to 5 p.m. Jun had arrived as promised. His face was pale. Sweat poured down his face from anxiety. I'm going crazy. A loud shout was heard. I'm really going crazy. My mood has been unstable lately and now I'm being this impulsive. No matter who provoked me, I shouldn't have done that. Why did I even trust Lee Hyun in the first place? I gotta run, this is insane. Jun was suddenly kicked by a guy as the bullies approached. Friend Han Ye-jun, did the heat get to you and make you go crazy? Want to fight one-on-one, huh? Ye-jun. He grabbed the boy's hair, then used a cigarette butt. Jun could only think to himself, Lee Hyun. That bastard screwed me over. Suddenly, there was a loud shout. Lee Hyun, I said I'd help. The bullies all turned to look at him confused. Jun's face lit up with joy on the verge of tears. You're here! But his expression quickly changed when he realized Lee Hyun came alone. The ringleader spoke up. Ye-jun, is this your friend? Is he strong? He looks pretty big, huh? Were you planning to go all out just by trusting him? Oh my god, Ye-jun, what are you going to do? Haha. Hyun, as usual, offered, I'll help. Jun thought to himself. He really is a psycho. A lunatic who only knows how to repeat one sentence. It's my fault for being stupid enough to trust him. What now? Hyun yelled even louder. I will help. This startled everyone. They were also confused. What's wrong with this guy? He must be crazy. Hyun's expression became confident as he looked behind them. What took you so long, mister? Out of nowhere, a nearly 3-meter-tall ghost had appeared there. I'll help. You promised, right? Its expression was cute as hell. Hyun gave an order. First, just give them a little scare, then let's get started. The bullies seemed to see something terrifying. Then came their blood-curdling screams. He threw a small stick towards Jun. Take this. You need a toy to fight. From now on, the two of us will beat the crap out of those dogs. Don't worry about the consequences. They won't remember anything about today. After they wake up, they'll only feel hatred and fear towards you. We can explain later. Right now, the two of us have to do this. So you have to. The state of the other guys was terrible. As if possessed, they were vomiting black mud. One guy was rolling on the ground in pain. Hyun quickly intervened. Mister, don't overdo it. If you do that, you'll really go to hell. Just then, another voice rang out. I'll help. You promised right. In front of him was a female ghost, also toweringly tall. Hyun was startled. Who is this? I can't sleep. Ever since the class president's ghost switched targets, I haven't been able to get a wink of sleep. Huh. This one is really annoying. He went to the bathroom, and the ghost still followed him. You want a peek? Please just get lost. For the past 6 months, it's been fine. Why is it suddenly paying attention to me now? People die if they don't sleep. I have to do something. Even if I want to switch to a less annoying ghost I have to get rid of. This one first. Back. Back to the battle. He replied to the ghost. I didn't promise anything. Go away. He quickly dragged a few bullies to safety. The bully felt it too. That thing is too dangerous. Gotta run now. What is this so dizzy? Where am I? Which way can we run now? He furiously turned to Jun. What the hell did you do? What are those monsters, huh? What? What are you talking about? Before he could finish his sentence, a fist came crashing down. Jun fell in pain, thinking to himself, monsters? What monsters? What's wrong with them suddenly going crazy like that? The ringleader didn't stop repeatedly stomping on him. You must have some backup to be acting so bold, right? What is it, huh? Did you drug me? While someone was taking the heat, he thought to himself, fight Han Ye-jun. Fight. Fight back. Even though I don't understand what's happening. But this must be my last chance. You can do it. You can fight back. You can win. You have to believe you can win. Jun remembered when his mother was still alive. When she saw her son being bullied, she immediately scolded Han Ye-jun. Fighting with your classmates again. He bullied Yujin first. Oh, so did you win? He answered confidently, I totally won. Good job, big brother. You're the best. Mom always had our backs. But Mom was still worried. What if you keep fighting all the time and get ostracized? Geez, Mom, you worry about everything. She was always sick like that. Yeah, Mom spent more time in the hospital than at home. Even so, she always reminded me, I love you so much. So don't get hurt, okay? Okay. That's probably all the memories I have of her. When I was with Mom, I was clearly a very strong person. But I just took it. Getting beaten up to protect Yujin. No, the truth is I was scared. The fear that's been building up for over 2 years. Whenever I tried to do something, that fear would stop me. Hey, hey, Hyun yelled loudly. Fight back. You've been getting your ass kicked for how long? Are you still scared of getting owned by him? I'm not free to help you a second time. The painful memories kept flooding back. This is the last chance to get away from these scumbags. So Jun threw the pile of cigarette butts right in his face. You bastard, have you lost your mind? You son of a bitch. Seizing the opportunity, he rushed forward and tackled him. Jun relentlessly pummeled his face, but his hand was blocked by him. He sent Jun flying with one blow, knocking him out cold. The ringleader turned back. He was confused, not seeing his lackeys anywhere. He didn't know that Jun was standing right behind him. He grabbed his hair tightly and pulled hard. You're a damn piece of trash. But that guy was bigger, so he quickly threw him off. Jun to the ground. Die, you bastard. This time Jun was truly unconscious. The whites of his eyes were showing. He heard his mother's words, Yet Jun, aren't you scared of fighting? Of course I'm scared. But if I just keep getting up when the big guys push me down, and keep fighting, I'll eventually win. He headbutted him straight on. The ghost, seeing this, cried nonstop. Mom doesn't like to see Yejun get hurt. If it weren't for Yujin, I wouldn't fight either. I'll definitely win. June and the other guy threw powerful punches at each other. Then they both hit the floor. But June was the one who got up last. He coldly walked over and kicked his family jewels, making him pass out. Happy memories flooded back. When I was with Mom, I was strong, because you were always by my side. Come home soon, okay? Mom has to come home. I miss you so much, Mom. Mom! At that moment, he vaguely saw his mother in front of him. Mom, why are you still here? Don't go. You can't just leave me and Eugen and go like this. We promised we'd go home together. Don't go. Don't go, I told you not to go. Please don't go. Have you been with me all this time? I'm so tired, Mom, but I made it through. I remember now. I am a very strong person. Now you can leave in peace. He felt as if he were lying in his mother's arms. I love you, Mom. You're the person I'll miss most until the day I die. Her spirit slowly faded away. June's negative emotions were gone too. He could feel it too. Waving goodbye to his mother one last time. The next day, the bully was really salty. I don't remember anything about yesterday. I clearly met Han Ye-jun, and then all 5 of us lost our memories. Han Ye-jun must have used drugs or something. But June went to school as usual. He sighed to himself. So you're here, Lee Hyun. What the hell, not worrying about the consequences? But it wasn't as scary as I imagined. Coming to the school gate at 9 p.m., what's up? Suddenly they heard the voice of someone named Kim. Why are you here? He immediately cowered. And just like that, they left, not daring to touch him again. A smile appeared on June's face, one not seen for a long time. Off to the side, Hyun stood there watching. So it's a happy ending, huh? But those 2 cowardly ghosts are still following me. I guess I'll have to get an exorcism. A few days later, he was struggling to trim the trees. Is this good enough? The male ghost still shook his head unsatisfied. He pointed to a nearby bush, signaling the grunt to pull it out. He had to do as he was told. The current temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. Hyun still had to toil away like a grunt. I thought it was just a simple deal. Who knew I'd have to clean a house? The old man really loved his first house. He swept the front gate every day, pruned the branches when the season came, picked fruit at harvest time, and regularly cleared the weeds. He kept doing that until he passed away suddenly. Perhaps he repeated those tasks every day. So he couldn't leave the house that was getting messier. After he died, he stayed. I know this because I pass by here every day. Actually, I had thought about helping him at some point. He sighed to himself, drenched in sweat. I didn't expect him to be so meticulous. He's a real neat freak. Just like that, he worked his butt off from night until the next morning. Is this good enough? It's done right. It's really done now, isn't it? Only when the house was sparkling clean could he finally stop. The old man observed for a while. Can't touch, can't feel. It's time to let go of the lingering emotions and leave this beloved house. He realized that. The negative emotions gradually faded away. Finally, he could move on. Before leaving, he didn't forget to thank him. Hyun also waved goodbye to him. He rubbed his tired shoulders. I'm dead tired. He looked behind him. The ghost woman in red was still there. Even though I'm tired, let's finish this last job and get some good sleep. That night, looking at what was in front of him, Hyun became worried. This is not good. There's definitely something inside. A human corpse. A ghost is a collection of dark masses. Because they can't let go of their emotions, they hold on to everything. They are those masses of emotion. He deduced there's a ghost and it's filled with these dark masses. That means there's a very, very high chance this was a gruesome murder. I should absolutely not get involved in this kind of thing. I don't see any cameras around here. The door is open, but if I'm careless, I'll become the #1 suspect. He immediately took out his burner phone and called the police officer. But the man snapped back. You damn kid, what is it now? Officer, I'm sorry. But at Bangdi Apartments Building 102, Room 103, I think there's a dead body. Is it a ghost pointing the way again? Yes. The officer warned Hyun, you stop snooping around there. Go home now. This is my business now. He hurried to the scene alone. His colleagues also noticed his expression. Officer Kim, where are you going? I'll call back later. They seem to see this happen often. Don't tell me a ghost told him again. That comment pissed off the guy with orange hair. I'll shut you up later. The new guy was still smiling. Probably. He pulls all these major cases out of nowhere. That's why there's a rumor he can see ghosts, right? What kind of case is it this time? When Officer Kim arrived at the room, inside was a refrigerator taped shut. It even made him break out in a cold sweat. He slowly peeled off the tape. When the door opened inside, it was really there. He bowed his head in silence, then took out his phone to call headquarters. Kyungsu Bangdi Apartments Building 102, Room 103. A body has been discovered. It's a homicide. Call the forensics team, too. While checking the rooms, Officer Kim forcefully broke down a door. Inside, he found a scrawny white dog. It must have been starved for a long time. The crime scene tape was put up. A member of the forensics team even had to vomit at the sight. Gags. Hyun stood there watching. It really is a major case. He noticed the ghost in the red dress. She was hugging the dog cage. He thought to himself, you had a dog. Augurium. The white dog seemed to be able to see its owner. Tears of joy streamed from its eyes. Thank goodness, that girl. Most of the dark masses have fallen off, not because of her own death, but because she was worried about her abandoned dog, her last lingering attachment. He turned and asked the girl. A grudge, she replied. I hope he finds a better family than me. Just let go and move on. I'll take responsibility for finding him a good home. Her beautiful face returned. Tears fell endlessly. Before she left, she said, Thank you. Then she left another huge dark mass in his hand. Hyun looked at it and sighed to himself, getting involved in other people's business again. Officer Kim saw him and jumped out of his skin. Why won't that kid just get lost already? 3 weeks passed. The dog, which had nearly died of exhaustion, recovered after 2 weeks. And until we find a new owner, he'll be staying at my house. Probably because our house only has one grumpy son. My mom agreed right away. And then Choi Jae-sung contacted me. Hey, it's me. It seemed like he had fully recovered. He yelled loudly. It's time for you to compensate me for my losses. Hyun was dumbfounded. I saved your life. After school, he went to the hospital to visit him. Choi Jae-sung's manager, Kim Jong-hun, 24 years old. We should discuss compensation for the damages. Shouldn't we? You've probably heard the audio file about the 20 million won camera, right? He was bewildered. No, wait a minute, that... Besides the 5 broken ribs, there's also evidence. Footage recorded by the camera. The scene of Hyun shadowboxing is pretty surreal. The police have arrived and filed a report. A minor entering an abandoned house to live stream is considered distribution of harmful content. What? A YouTube account with 400,000 followers, built over a year and a half, got deleted. Breach of contract with the company resulted in compensation fees. The school also found out, so he was disciplined. Physical injuries, channel deleted. Destruction of property. Career affected by the penalties. And he also has to be compensated for emotional distress. Hey, you son of a bitch! Hyun grabbed his collar. You getting punished is my fault. Your account getting deleted is my fault. I risked my life to save you. Jae-sung was still shameless. Help, someone's attacking me! The manager held up a camera that had been recording from start to finish. All it shows is you acting crazy by yourself. I don't know what you were freaking out about, but I am grateful you dragged me out. But the damages I've suffered are too great. Holy crap. It was a ghost. A ghost. You think a ghost shows up on camera? Here's the part where you threw the live stream cam and went inside. You don't remember anything from then, right? You weren't acting normal. You would have died without me. Died from a ghost. Are you serious? His face darkened. He told himself, I get it. You want to make me out to be the only crazy one, right? Hyun was so used to this it was boring. He'd just take responsibility for sticking his nose where it didn't belong. There's nothing to be bitter or disappointed about. Hyun spoke up. What do you want? Jae-sung cheerfully invited him to go to a haunted house with him. Hyun's face turned black like he wanted to kill someone. At least hear me out, just 3 times. If you go with me, then I'll pretend there were no damages. Hyun immediately gave him the finger. My life is more precious than money. I should have just let you die. From now on, you'd better watch it if you try talking to me. Yeah, 1 week later. Nice, isn't it? The contract was finalized. Hyun was crying a river inside. It always ends up like this. Why, oh God, how did it come to this? What sin did I commit, dear Lord? He remembered the monk at the temple who gave him a talisman. If you wear it around your neck, it can protect you from evil things. But when you grow up, you won't be protected anymore. You have to teach him not to meddle in other people's affairs. He asked curiously, what if they attack me directly? Bite the talisman. You have to bite hard until you hear it break. It will protect you for about 20 minutes. Remember, you have to hold the talisman in your mouth and inhale for it to work. After that, the talisman will lose its power forever. Consider this an extra life. Cherish it. The sound of his phone ringing snapped him out of it. Are you ready yet? We're going to the haunted house today. Get lost. A month passed since the contract was signed. Before stamping the seal, 3 billion what? That's the channel's value if converted to cash, even if it's just a rough estimate. A free legal advice forum for law students, 400,000 subscribers live streams 6 times a week, 2,000 to 3,000 live viewers. The fandom is strong, so views and donations are relatively high. Videos with over 1,000 views? He wondered. Is there no way to appeal to YouTube to restore the channel? There has never been a case where a deleted channel was restored. He explained. The fan club has already started writing a petition. It's a hot topic, you know. A legal guardian will be quite expensive, and this case will drag on for a long time. In addition, with the compensation for injuries and property damage, around 20 million won you'll most likely be forced to pay. Settling is still better. Now I'm more scared of money than ghosts. Their broadcast began. Jae-young's face was all smiles. Hello to all my beloved viewers. It's been a while. This is Jae-young. It took a bit longer because I have to be more careful about choosing locations now. I hope you all understand. For now, I'll be re-uploading old videos. Thank you for your patience. Since this is the first video on the new channel, we're going all out. In front of them was a large abandoned building. He sighed to himself. Is he really planning to go in there? Hyun tried to bail, but the other guy pulled him back. Newbies pay attention. Now for the equipment introduction. Today we even have new ghost hunting gear, an EMF meter and electromagnetic field detector. Everyone knows that when a supernatural phenomenon occurs, the electromagnetic field fluctuates abnormally, right? If you're in a deserted place with no electricity or devices, and the magnetic field spikes, that's a paranormal hotspot. There's no proof, but in reality, when the readings get high, devices tend to turn off or make strange noises. And this is the new ghost hunting gear I mentioned earlier. The principle is the same as the one above. We'll be playing with this today. He grabbed Hyun's backpack. Maybe we should also introduce the backpack of the coward next to me. I'll kill you! Inside it was actually full of heavy-duty gear. Whoa, not cool, not cool. Are you planning to go to war? I've been traumatized since that incident. Now even the sound of a falling leaf makes me jump. Come on, I already told you. It's nothing. Ghosts and ghouls. You think they'll show up again? Yeah, that last time was just a bad location. This time it's because you picked a tamer spot, right? Relax. He threw him a bottle of water. I've been telling you this for the past month. Do you even understand me? No. Guys like you are always the first to die in the movies. Thanks for the compliment. The two of them gradually moved inside. All right, let's go in. Jae-young was still rambling. It's been a while since I've smelled a real haunted house. I really missed it. This place was just recently reported. Other than being abandoned since the school closed, there's no other information. I had to choose it because it's a place the landowner gave us permission for. It might be tamer than the previous spots. I hope everyone understands. The atmosphere is kinda creepy, but the equipment isn't reacting at all. Hyun also looked around clearly. No, there's nothing. He secretly rejoiced. Choosing a clean spot was definitely the right move. There are no dark masses or spirits at all. A sly smile spread across his face. How is this so easy if we just wander around? We'll be done with one time, right? Suddenly they heard a noise behind them. It made both of them jump and turn around. Jae-young suggested, let's go check it out. If there's a noise, we have to check it immediately. Or we could just go home. Are you trying to back out today in your dreams? Jae-young gestured. Wait a minute, it could be a person or a wild animal. I know, but... Meanwhile, Hyun was still worried. But give me a second to prepare myself. They went inside. They accidentally discovered an ugly drawing in the middle of the room. What's that? Hyun turned to ask. It's just a piece of paper. Are you stupid? He replied. I can't see anything on the cam, so I'm just asking. Doesn't look like a ghost, huh? Is it a poltergeist, maybe? Poltergeist. A phenomenon where objects are moved or make sounds due to an invisible force. Sometimes ghosts also set traps for ordinary people to see. But if it's a trap, this place doesn't need one. This is already in the mountains. If you've wandered in here on your own, you don't need a trap. Or maybe it wants to say something. A small black shadow appeared behind the paper. It pointed at the paper as if signaling something. Hyun immediately recognized the warning. Jae-young run. He was startled. What's wrong? But it was too late. The door slammed shut. Jae-young screamed, What's happening? The door is stuck. Something's not right. When they turned back, they suddenly realized, this place didn't look like this a moment ago. That's not right. There was a staircase right in front of the door. Jae-young was still recording the video. Everyone, this is not staged. But since this is a pre-recorded video, I can't explain. The camera turned off. Hyun quickly told him to shut up. Something's coming. Fortunately, they both managed to hide to the side. Otherwise, they would have been toast. Jae-young turned and asked him, Is it gone? But Hyun didn't answer. He dashed to the door in a flash, but it wouldn't open. He tried using a hammer, but it couldn't break it. He turned to Jae-young. Don't just stand there like an idiot. Do something. What are you doing? I'm so scared I'm going crazy. What? No, I find it strange too. Every time I turn my head, the surroundings change. This is awesome. When I go alone, it's never... Hyun quickly grabbed him. Having fun, this is exciting, right? If you like it so much, you go first. I was just kidding. Hyun reminded him, snap out of it. Don't you see the situation where I'm trapped in a place with a monster roaming around? But I told you I've experienced something similar before, right? Back then, the environment didn't change like this. But the door disappeared too. You have to stab it in the heart. You have to stab it in the heart. For now, let's just back up a bit. Jae-young looked at his friend like he was crazy. What are you even talking about? Listen carefully. Right now, we don't know if there's one or how many monsters outside, whether it's hostile to humans and how to get out of here. Basically, we know nothing. We have to be extremely careful. I have no intention of making friends with those things. You can go explore on your own. If our goals aren't the same, let's part ways here. I will definitely find a way out. Jae-sung slowly stood up and asserted, "Of course, I dragged you into this mess, so I have to get you out safely. I promise you this. If you're in danger, I'll die for you. So don't worry too much." He didn't notice a giant arm right behind him. Thud. With a shocking sound, Jae-sung was sent flying. He yelled his name loudly, "Jae-sung." His body had been completely swallowed by the monster. Talked big and died instantly. After getting its meal, the monster immediately turned and ran. While Hyun screamed his friend's name, he quickly pulled out the hammer he had prepared and smashed it straight into its waist. He quickly chased after it. "I told you to spit him out." At this moment, Jae-sung cried out in fear, "Don't provoke it, dude. Are you still alive?" Inside its mouth, the other guy replied, "It hurts, but not enough to kill me. It's not trying to kill me. It's like it's carrying me somewhere. If that's the case." He pulled a large knife from his jacket pocket. He slashed repeatedly like Yasuo. Threatening it, he finally escaped from its mouth. However, they also succeeded in pissing it off. Hyun grabbed his friend. "Run, it's chasing us!" They both booked it. They saw a black shadow also running alongside them. "That dark thing is chasing us too. That eye keeps following me. I have a bad feeling about this. We'll deal with that later. Right now." Suddenly, the black shadow shouted a warning, "Duck!" They both turned around, quickly ducking their heads to avoid the wooden trap above. As a result, the monster was hit by the trap and screamed. The black shadow told them to run. "You two idiots." Jae-sung saw this and was happy. That kid, that must be on our side. While he didn't know which way to run, as they were running, they saw a doggy door. Crawling through it led to another space that looked like a room. There was a similar doggy door over there. If the monster chases us, we can run through to the other side. Did that kid create this? Now the scene of the abandoned school has completely disappeared. Jae-sung spoke up. "First of all, I'm sorry. I was too careless. I can handle ghosts, but the fact that I almost died and a monster appeared. Things like that. Even if it was real, I didn't think it would be the same this time. In the end, it's my fault you got dragged into this place. As I said, the first thing is to find the door, the exit." Speaking of exits, I remember now. Listen carefully. The door disappeared just like this before. At that time, there were many types of monsters, and it seems that when I stabbed the heart of the biggest one, the door appeared. So running around looking for an exit isn't necessarily the answer. I'm not sure if we have to kill it to open the door, or if just stabbing its heart is enough. And I'm not sure if that's the only monster here. All right, first we need information. That kid seems to be helping us, so it's best to find and meet him again. Before we go, we need to prepare some weapons for self-defense. He raised his hand, but there was nothing left. Hyun was shocked. "Where's my hammer?" He thought to himself, "I must have dropped it when I fell. What now? There's a mini-axe in the backpack. But how can I fight a monster with that?" At this moment, his friend called him. He pointed to a container of tools full of axes and shovels. "This is like someone gathered them for us. Borrowing them should be fine, right?" And so they each armed themselves with two. "First, let's check what we lost. I lost a stun gun, a knife, and a flashlight. I lost my hammer and a flashlight. My eyes have gotten used to the dark somewhat. There's one left. You should wear it too." They suddenly noticed a vibration. An eye was always following them. No wonder I keep feeling like something is following me. It's using a drone on us. At this moment, from behind the wall, the black shadow was thrown out, even though it was only its lower half. This terrified the blondie. From the dark room, the monster stared straight at them with its large eyes. Hyun immediately stabbed it, causing juices to spray everywhere. However, his entire body was sent flying across the floor with a single punch. In a flash, the blondie smashed his axe straight into the monster's head. Its painful scream echoed, until Jae-sung smashed it until it lay collapsed on the floor. His face was now covered in its juices. He quickly ran over to check on his friend. "Are you okay?" Hyun was shocked. "What was that? Did you just split a monster's head with an axe?" "Yeah, good thing I was behind you. First, let's get out of here. We stabbed the monster's heart, too. It should be over. Now let's find the door." They looked towards the previous black shadow. It was split in half, but could still run. Without noticing that the monster wasn't dead yet, it was staring at them. "You brats, that really hurt!" It really hurt. But it dashed towards them with lightning speed, a large axe in hand swinging at them. Luckily, the two of them dodged just in time. It aimed for Blondie, causing him to panic and slip, falling to the ground. "Well, I'm a goner this time." The monster with the axe leg swung straight for him, out for blood. Fortunately, he was quick enough to block its attack. He yelled, urging his friend on. "Go to the back door, Lee Hyun." While he was distracted, the monster sucker punched him hard. He was momentarily knocked unconscious. Blondie quickly grabbed the axe to fight it. He swung directly at the monster's leg, making it scream in pain. Elsewhere, the shadow figure prompted them, "This way, run." Blondie immediately helped Hyun run in that direction. He put him on a cart, but he wasn't so lucky himself. He was grabbed by the monster's giant hand. The shadow figure could only pull Hyun away first. A moment later, Blondie had been beaten to a pulp by the monster. It threw him hard onto the ground. Here's the fresh meat. Though severely injured, he was still breathing. "Lady Lisa, please keep your promise. How much longer do we have to be stuck? Trapped in this loop. Please turn me. Turn all of us back into living people. Those damn brats have already been tortured half to death." Back to Hyun, he had woken up. His head felt like it was about to split open. "My arm, it won't move. How's Choi Taeum?" He shot up. "He's probably not dead." The shadow figure sitting nearby spoke up. "Your buddy, that monster is obsessed with throwing more people in its prison. If he's alive, it definitely won't kill him. It'll just toss him in there." He heard that and was baffled. "A prison? What's going on? Did you save me?" "You can thank your buddy later. Wipe your face a little." He asked curiously, "You were cut in half. Are you okay?" "I'm already dead, so I can't die again. Although I can still feel pain. But it's probably nothing compared to your buddy." He began to introduce himself. "The name's Cheon. And this place is a hunting ground. You get hunted, killed, and then killed again endlessly." He's forgotten how long it's been since this all started. "There's no sun and no moon. The sense of time is completely gone." He wondered, no sun or moon? He turned off the light on his chest and looked around the place, silently assessing it. "Right, even if my eyes get used to the darkness, this place still feels bizarre. There's no light at all, but I can still make out objects to a certain degree. It's like adjusting the brightness in a video game. It's weird and unsettling." Suddenly, he felt something watching him. "It's that eye." The shadow figure yelled, "Get it! Crush it!" Hyun lunged for it, but it was too quick. It easily evaded him. The shadow figure then tossed him a frying pan. So random. This time, he swung directly at it. It recoiled. "But I'm supposed to crush it, right?" So he lunged again, using his body to pin the eye. But he was too aggressive and forgot his left arm was injured. As a result, he cried out in pain, "Ah, my arm!" When he sat up, he found himself in a strange forest. He looked around curiously. "Where on earth am I?" Suddenly, a young boy ran past, passing right through his body. "Is that Cheon? Is this a scene from this place's past?" He quietly observed the children. A boy in tattered clothes clutched his jar and thought to himself, "Today was a good haul. Going to the next village was the right call." He cheered, "Hey, you guys today!" But the other 3 children hadn't found anything to eat. Their faces were glum. That evening when they got home, the children were covering their ears to block out the sounds of yelling. A boy was sent flying. The one who hit him was an ugly fat man. He yelled, "Useless!" Before leaving, he didn't forget to threaten them. "You better get by without water for this entire week." The boy, who seemed all too used to this, struggled to get up, muttering, "Damn bastard. I can't even remember my parents' faces. This wretched ceiling is the first and last memory I have. Every day the food is one rotten potato. If you don't meet the quota, you don't even get that. A place with only violence, cold and hunger. And yet I still call this place home." Just then, from outside the dark room, several children asked after him. "Cheon, are you okay? Are you badly hurt?" "Cheon, you don't have to carry it all. Let me get some medicine from the village for you and bring it back." "Cheon here." The children tossed potatoes inside. The boy dragged his tired body over, asking, "Are you trying to make me choke to death? Give me some water. It's so quiet." "It's really quiet." A child outside said, crying, "Those managers sold to the kids from the next room. Now it's just us here. They'll probably just bring in other poor kids from somewhere. If this keeps up, we'll all be separated. Neither this place nor us belong to them." Meanwhile, he casually devoured the food. "You guys remember that junk collector I was following? I finally got it. It's a master key. I'm just borrowing it. I have to return it when I'm done. It should be able to open most basic locks. We can escape now. Hey, remember the way into that abandoned house from last time?" A boy outside exclaimed, "Ah, I'm the one who turned it into a paradise. Come to think of it, I chopped down so many trees." Cheon said irritably, "Are you planning on leading the managers there too?" "Keep your voice down, you idiot. They won't come into this room for a while, so I'll sneak out and see if there are any guards. Don't come out until the managers are fast asleep. Remember to keep your eyes on the window." The children dreamed together of a brighter future. "If we had our own house, what would you guys want to do?" "I want to decorate the house. I want to nap all day. We have to plant a garden first. We'll grow potatoes and eat as much as we want." Unlike the other kids, Cheon just wanted to get away from those bastards. "We'll definitely be happier than we are now. Definitely." The next night, they decided to act. But while running through the forest, Cheon spotted a guard. Oh no, why is he still here? This will probably take a while. At the same time, a large hand slammed down on a table. Are you kidding me? The fat manager yelled angrily. I told you their share was mine, but his brother just waved his hand dismissively. Why would it be your share? I'm busy, get lost. He slowly drank his soup. You little brat, you dare yell at your own brother, son of a bitch? Give me my money, my money. The argument made the two children outside tremble in fear. What do we do now? We've already unchained the youngest. It's dangerous. But can we go outside and wait for Cheon? If we're careful, it should be fine. The children slowly crept through the hallway. Inside the room, the younger manager was boiling with rage. He grabbed a piece of burning firewood and swung it at his brother, screaming, My money is my money. Just then there was another noise. He instinctively turned towards the hallway and discovered the children had unchained themselves and were escaping. He roared, Now even these brats look down on me. He threw the burning bucket of fire towards them. Meanwhile, Cheon was still in the forest, calculating in his head. Still, I should be careful. I can't let things go wrong at the last minute. They must have been waiting for a long time. I need to hurry. I have to call them. But when he turned back, the entire house was ablaze. A sea of fire everywhere. Cheon stood frozen, stunned. Water, the stream is over there. Is anyone there? Please, somebody. He realized with despair that it was too late. No, please no. He frantically tried to break down the door and rush inside. Crash, a loud impact. But before him was still a sea of flames. Wooden beams blocked the way. Cheon could only weep in hopeless agony. And Hyun, witnessing all of this, was also terrified. Why are you showing me this? He watched helplessly. There's nothing I can do. This tragedy happened a long time ago, in this space. I'm powerless. He returned to the forest after the fire. Only a pile of black charcoal remained. Suddenly, someone appeared holding that eye in their hand. Thank you for showing me. You've worked hard. Goodbye, lost souls. I am Lisa. Wasn't that the girl who appeared in the flooded cellar the other day? Underneath the charcoal were the souls that had been burned. She used her power with a wave of her hand. Their house from before was restored to its original state, miraculously. Then she said, I can bring you back to life. Layer by layer, the black soot vanished, revealing their faces. The two villains knelt and kowtowed endlessly. Amen no Amitabha, praise the Lord above. This made the girl smile happily. Then her expression hardened. But it's not for free. She pointed forward to where an iron cage stood. I need pure souls. Lock the children in here. If when I return, the children have grown to hate this world even more, I will make you living people once again, Cheon shouted resentfully. What are you talking about? Who gave you the right, you monster? She gently placed a hand on his head. Of course I'll give my little ones a chance too. She leaned close to his ear. Kill the managers, burn them. You must burn them so completely that not even ashes remain. If you can do that, I will resurrect you first and make you happy. Cheon asked doubtfully. Can you really do that? How can we trust you? She replied calmly. It will be very painful, but bear with it for just a little while. Wait until I return. Then she looked towards Hyun and smiled, which confused him. Is she looking at me? How is that possible? And from that day on, their battle continued like a game of cat and mouse. He remembered her from the flooded cellar. It's definitely the same woman. What on earth happened in that haunted house? Back in the present, the shadow Cheon was sitting on top of him, slapping him. This Lee. Hyun guy is huge, but it passes out so easily. Cheon, you're awake. If the monster finds you lying here like this, you're toast. Luckily, the eye has been destroyed. Let's continue what we were talking about. I want you to lend me a hand. I have a plan. Cheon, do you have another axe? I'll take care of that monster. His expression was terrifyingly grim as Cheon recounted. The one from earlier was the younger manager. The older brother will be much tougher. Meanwhile, with Blondie, he was utterly horrified by the scene before him. The manager. The brother had turned into a monster with a giant mouth. He remembered luring Hyun to the abandoned house with him. Back then, in the flooded cellar, when he was on the brink of death, he had vaguely seen the monster and that girl. And Lee Hyun was the key. The world hidden within the abandoned houses. By now, he had woken up, his body tired and in pain. He realized the prison cell didn't kill him, but trapped him. Why so dizzy? Ji-sung carefully checked his body. I've bled so much. The fact I'm not dead must be pure luck. Suddenly, a shadow. 4 children were also there. They stared at each other blankly. The children spoke up asking, Does it feel like you're still alive? Why do you keep showing up? How did you get in here? You're friends with that spiky-haired kid, right? Yeah? After a while, the children had told him their story. So that's it. There's one manager on the first floor, one in the basement, and we have to burn them to death, right? Yeah. If they're burning, but the fire gets put out halfway, their faces get all twisted, horrifying, and they get even stronger. So you have to burn them until not even ashes remain. Ji-sung suddenly spoke up. Hey kids, Do you know the name of the lady who said to burn the managers? I think it was Lisa. As soon as he heard that, the look in his eyes changed. His body trembled uncontrollably. They continued their conversation. My friend said you have to stab the heart. But has anyone ever tried stabbing it? I don't know, the managers are only afraid of fire. A quick-witted little girl replied. The heart. If we stab the heart, can we get out? I know where the heart is. When I was first trapped here while running from the managers, I saw that lady again, and she attached a huge heart to the wall. Jisung realized that was the way for them to escape. That's it, we have to stab that heart. But to do that, we have to get out of here first. The children from who knows where had gotten a key and held it out. This is the key to the door. This confused Blondie. You have the key, but you don't leave. You'll understand when you see. Jisung looked behind him and his face turned pale with horror. The monster's enormous mouth was wide open. The children introduced it. It's the manager, the brother. We failed to burn him completely. He turned into a giant monster. That monster can't see, but its hearing is incredible. So even if you get out, you'll just get eaten. After you get eaten, you open your eyes and you're right back here. The children warned. We're already dead, so it's fine for us, but you'll die for real. Blondie thought to himself, but I can't stay here forever. I don't know how much time has passed. I've lost a lot of blood and I'm getting thirsty. Staying here any longer will be life-threatening. Besides, I have a goal. Now that I've heard the name Lisa, I can't just sit here. He pulled out a flare gun from his backpack and asked the kids, Hey, if you want to get out, lead me to the heart. Leave that monster to me. At that moment, Cheon was explaining to him how to deal with the two managers. Remember this carefully. The important thing is to hold them down. If you don't pin them down before you burn them, the managers will struggle. The fire goes out quickly and their faces become even more horribly disfigured. Now I'm going to lure it into this circle here. Look up at the ceiling. It's covered by a black cloth, so it's hard to see, but there's a hole up there. You need to drop something heavy from the second floor. There's a second floor. The two of them started going up to the second floor to scout it out. The boy gave detailed instructions as they walked. Remember not to make a sound. If anything, I'll leave a mark to make it easier to navigate. Their weakness is their skin. So when you attack, slashing is better than stabbing. Wounds caused by slashing seem to heal very slowly. Has he fought many times before? They arrived at a small hole high up on the second floor. Cheon pointed and told him, We're here. Go on in. He used his light to illuminate the area. Sure enough, there was a trap up here. A large one full of sharp wooden fragments. Cheon produced a small whistle and explained the plan. I'll lure the manager up from downstairs and then blow the whistle. When that happens, cut this rope. You have to cut it in a single slice. Can you do it? Then immediately come down to where I am and hold him tight. Hold the manager? I can't hold him by myself. Now we really have to deal with the manager. Cheon, don't get hurt. He held out his fist, which confused the boy. A fist bump, what's that for? He explained, fist bump me back. This is special. Only people on the same team get to do it. Don't get hurt. Do your best. Yeah, as long as we do it right, we'll be fine. According to the plan, Cheon went to lure it. Hyun was waiting on the second floor, ready to cut the rope. He thought to himself, the whistle, cut it in one go, got it. He took a deep breath to calm himself. Just then the whistle blew. Hyun immediately cut the rope. Thud, a huge impact. The trap had been sprung. He happily grabbed his axe and charged forward. Now I have to hurry and pin it down tight. But the sight before him made him freeze. The monster, pierced like a pincushion, was completely unharmed and staring right at him. It looked like it wanted to swallow him whole right then and there. Hyun remembered the boy's instructions. Listen carefully. If I fail, you have to run immediately. Find the second circle. It charged at him at full speed, its face filled with rage. You little brat. Luckily, he was a fast runner. Otherwise, he would have been toast. Phase 2 begins. I'll lead it away. I have to find the second circle. The problem is I don't know where it is. I have to run all over this huge-ass place until I find it. And even if I find it, I still need someone to cut the rope. Otherwise, I'll have to take on this monster one-on-one. Almost there. It'll be tough, but just hang in there one more time, Cheon. Over on Cheon's side, he had just taken a painful beating but was forcing himself to stand. This is nothing. Even if it's 100 times or 1,000 times, I'll keep getting back up. Back to Hyun, he was being chased and running for his life. I must have been running for over 30 minutes. Where on earth is that circle? I'm starting to taste blood from the very beginning. My body was already in bad shape. Just then up ahead he saw the second circle. Found it. Up above, Cheon was holding an axe waiting for the signal to cut the rope. He worried to himself, why hasn't he arrived yet? Don't tell me he got caught. Just then a loud shout came, cut it, Cheon! He immediately swung the axe but without enough force. It didn't break in one go. Below, Hyun was confused, thinking as he ran, nothing's falling. Has he not fully recovered yet, or can he not cut the rope? He suddenly turned around. If that's the case, I'll have to take this monster on myself. Meanwhile, with Blondie, they had successfully opened the iron cage. The group tiptoed down the hallway to avoid making any noise. Jisung's shoes were getting stuck in the grime on the floor. A boy reminded him the manager brother usually just sleeps. He only goes down to the basement once in a while. He just went down once already, so he should be sleeping now. When the flashlight beam hit it, the manager's giant mouth was right in front of them. This time we're really screwed. They had to be as quiet as possible to avoid waking him. But his shoes made a noise as they stuck to the mud. The huge mouth opened right in front of them. Just then Blondie had a bright idea. He took out his remote-controlled car to distract it. He carefully maneuvered it, drifting constantly, watching through the camera. I don't know how long this can last. Just need to hold it off until we find the way to the Heart RC. But it wasn't long before his toy car was swallowed whole by the monster. Blondie froze, then immediately yelled to the kids, "Run, it's coming!" The little girl pointed to the room ahead. That's the place. But when they went inside, there was no heart to be found. The little girl quickly said, "You have to get it out of that wall. The lady hid it in there. Can't you do it?" "You can't do it." Blondie plopped down helpless. "I believed a bunch of kids and ran all the way here, and just to die." He thought to himself, "Get the heart out of the wall. How am I supposed to do that?" But as he looked in the wall, he noticed something. There were marks. He walked forward in a daze. "Lisa, the wall, so that's it." Blondie remembered when he was a child. On a stage, a man was giving a speech. "We are creating a god. A god will be born right here. The children with the purest souls." Jisung was crying as he was dragged up. He looked towards his mother. "Mom, do I have to do this?" But her expression remained blank. The ritual was performed. A blood-stained wooden sword was pressed against Jisung's hand. Then he had to place his hand on that wall. Back in the present, he stood before the wall. Blondie actually injured himself. His blood-soaked hand touched the wall. The room shook. The children cried out in worry. "It's coming in!" Somehow he had drawn strange symbols on the wall. And just like that, he had found the heart. It was calling his name. Jisung. Jisung. Outside, the monster had charged straight into the wall, but it was blocked. I thought there was a living person trapped in there. He yelled, "I'll pull you out!" But inside that heart was a monster with a human head and a snake's body. She opened her mouth full of sharp teeth. In one strike, she could pierce through the wide-mouthed manager. Outside, Hyun could also feel the tremors. What was that? It can't be an earthquake. He noticed. The monster was in the circle and shouted, "Cheon!" But nothing happened. Failed again. Above, Cheon was desperately trying to saw the rope, crying. "Why isn't it working? Why, I'm sorry, I'm just a kid. Because I'm too weak." The monster finally realized. "I see, you think I'm stupid? If I step in there, it'll be like before. That sharp thing will fall down again, right? You damn little brat!" It quickly punched at him but couldn't land a hit. As he moved, he calculated, "This guy's gotten slower. When it gets angry, it speeds up a little. But it has a stamina limit too. My stamina is a bit better. But the size difference is too big. I can't win. If I take one of those punches full on, I'll be knocked out. Not to mention it can regenerate. I have to lure it into the circle." And just like that, Hyun started running for his life again. Hyun charged straight at it. "I have to aim for the head." When Choi Ji-sung split the manager's head with the axe, even if just for a moment it was stunned. I don't have to aim for the head, but he was sent flying by a single punch. His whole body was dazed and his vision blurred. Wait a minute, why am I fighting this thing? My childhood memories are all of learning useless things, mainly to build up my physical strength and fighting skills. It's not like you can fight ghosts. Learning it was pointless. My mom just said it was because I was timid, so I had to. If you see someone in trouble, you have to help. And I always get involved in other people's business. Let me think this through carefully. What I have over this manager is speed and stamina. Once again, he charged at it with his axe. But once again, he was sent flying. Hyun realized something. It's not about thinking it through. Why do I want to kill this monster? If I want to leave this place, there might be other ways. So why do I have to go to this extent? At that moment, the monster was furious. Pure soul. What the hell, I'm going to kill you. But for what? I can't do anything. I can't save anyone either, that's what I thought. But he acted in the complete opposite way. The bandages are off now, come at me, you son of a bitch. He gripped the axe with both hands and charged. He aimed straight for its head and swung down. This is revenge. Revenge on those evil bastards. The monster screamed in pain. He took the opportunity to grab hold of it tightly. Using all his strength, he pushed it towards the circle. Then he yelled again, "Cheon, cut the rope!" Above, the boy was still frantically cutting the rope with his meager strength. Please, please work. Please work. Hyun even used his mouth to bite the monster to keep it inside the circle. Meanwhile, Cheon was also using his teeth to bite the rope. And finally, he succeeded. Hyun gave it a powerful kick, forcing the monster back right under the falling trap. Crunch. Its body was pinned, unable to move. It screamed in agony. Now they just needed to use the wooden planks to pin it down, not letting it escape. To be sure, he even jumped on top of the pile of wood and stomped down hard, making the monster cry out in pain. Cheon had also come down by now. He slowly opened a gas can and poured it over the monster. It pleaded desperately. Cheon, from now on, I won't hunt you anymore. Let's team up and take care of that Lisa person. Let's deal with that liar. The boy remained cold. Go to hell! The fire blazed fiercely. Just then, a tremor shook the entire place. What's happening? It feels like the space is shrinking. Blondie felt it too and yelled, Everyone over here, quick! The ceiling is collapsing. Cheon carelessly fell through the floor. He felt that the cellar below was very deep, like falling into a bottomless darkness. It's going to hurt a lot, but it's okay. Even if it hurts, I can't be scared. I'm already dead, so it doesn't matter. But just then, he lunged forward and grabbed him, shielding him. Cheon screamed in anger. Are you crazy? What are you doing? I'm already dead, so it's okay for me. But you're a person, you'll die for real. He just gently patted the boy's head. Pain is something adults are supposed to handle. Remember that. Does anyone remember? Does anyone know we've disappeared? We are smaller than grains of dust, more fragile than a candle in the wind. But those are the pitiful ones who have never been embraced by anyone. A sob caught in his throat. We used to be here. This feeling is a first, and it's truly so warm. The two of them just plunged towards the beam, but it landed right on the spot that would destroy the heart. The snake-headed person was also taken down instantly. The blonde one hurriedly asked about his mother's whereabouts, but she was already dead. Hyun, in disbelief, insisted she was still alive. He realized it was about to collapse. Which way do I go now? Hyun discovered a small passage nearby. He urged, let's try going over there. There's light in there. Hurry up! He carried all 5 children and ran. Everybody climb on, my luck is the worst. The light was right in front of them. They finally escaped that place. The kids shouted, We're out. We're really out. Their bodies began to transform, turning blue. They're not black anymore, look. They're flying up. They discovered there was another door. Let's go over there and check it out. But one of the kids couldn't fly, it was Treo. It turned out Treo's bag was still black, because he hadn't dealt with his grudge. Hyun bent down and offered, Give it to me, then go back to the others. Thanks, bro. He finally cast off his negative emotions. Goodbye. They touched hands one last time. As they stepped through the door, this place was like heaven, fresh and full of life. A place where they could play and enjoy themselves freely. They finally had a home of their own. Jisung's face showed clear confusion. He was silent at a loss for words. Hyun hesitated, then timidly asked, You can't see them. Jisung replied, bewildered. The moment you came out, they disappeared. You were just muttering to yourself. He recalled the sight of Hyun squatting, whispering to the air, under the night sky and the moonlight. Jisung asked him, Are the kids all okay? Hyun just gently replied, Yeah. Jisung continued, That's good then. The flame from the match flickered. Hyun and Jisung stood outside the cave entrance. He flicked his hand, tossing the match inside. The fire flared up for a moment. Right after it slowly died down and vanished. Jisung calmly watched the extinguished flame, then spoke hesitantly. It's gone. Hyun, standing beside him, also spoke thoughtfully and slowly. Not really surprising. Next to the blinding light from the equipment, Jisung looked at the dirt on his hand suspiciously. No wounds. He remembered the moments he had just experienced. His mind was a mess of thoughts. It's all incomprehensible. When I stood before that symbol, I did the only thing I could do. And the heart appeared. When I tore the heart, Hyunsuk showed up. Why did she turn into a snake? Jisung's hand clenched into a fist. He thought to himself, annoyed and frustrated. But I'm sure I found a way. Next time for sure. Hyun, stretching on the side, suddenly cut in, interrupting Jisung's thoughts. It's completely healed again, just like at the abandoned house last time. He looked up at him, thought for a moment, and asked, Come to think of it, last time you said you broke 5. Ribs right? Why were you the only one who didn't heal that time? Jisung quickly dodged the question. Where is it? It's definitely here. After searching for a moment, he held up a few crumpled food packages gleefully. Here it is, although it's all crushed, but Hyun watched his actions with suspicion. What are you doing? Jisung calmly answered his question. I often buy small offerings to bring to places like abandoned houses. He used a lighter to light the flickering tip of an incense stick, then explained, especially in places where terrible things like this happened. The food was unwrapped and placed on the ground. Jisung stuck the incense in the ground and continued speaking. It's just my own way of remembering them, hoping they've gone to a better place. Hearing Jisung's words, Hyun plopped onto the ground, sighing dejectedly. Right after he made a firm declaration. I'm never coming back to places like this again. Scene change. A little girl sits calmly on a monster much larger than her. Another monster is pinned under the foot of the monster she's sitting on. It fearfully begs the little girl to let it go. Please spare me, Lisa. Lisa coldly stared into the space before her, chewing gum and blowing a bubble. So they finally made it there, huh? I was planning on taking them myself. What a shame. Snatched away right from under my nose. Didn't even have time to do anything. Suddenly the bubble on her lips popped. The monster pinned underfoot also vanished along with it. Only its scream echoed in the space. Lisa smiled and started taunting the monsters. It's so easy with you guys. So why does it have no effect at all on Hyun? As soon as she finished, a monster cried out, pleading desperately. Lisa, please spare me. I'll do anything you say. She glanced towards the source of the voice. Lisa laughed sarcastically at those words. Filthy souls like you don't need to exist. In my world, scene change. A brightly colored playground, with Hyun's inner monologue. After that, it seems Choi Ji-sung went to the abandoned houses alone. Guess he didn't want to pressure me anymore. He's got a bit of a conscience, or does he? He bent down to adjust his shoes. Right after that, Hyun answered his phone. Yeah, Mom, I'm walking Guri right now. He walked while talking to his mother on the phone. I don't have class tonight, I know. Okay, I'll meet you there. The autumn weather made the trees wither and shed their leaves. Hyun walked calmly, but his mind was racing. The kids probably made it to a good place, right? Who is Lisa anyway? I don't know if she's a monster or a ghost. But she toyed with the kids' souls. She's a demon. Anyway, I'll never have to see her again. I just need to stop being so damn nosy. In front of Hyun was a man handing out flyers, but on either side of him were two bizarre-looking figures following closely. He wondered to himself, what the hell? Suddenly, the man walked up to him. The two bizarre-looking figures walking beside him weren't people but ghosts. They rushed towards Hyun, making him cry out. The man handed him a missing person flyer. The name was Lee Yeji. Outwardly, Hyun stammered, "This is..." Inwardly, suspicion arose. A missing person. Yeji's father, exhausted, smiled and spoke with a trembling voice. If you have any information, please call. Okay. Hyun, stunned by the man's words, hesitantly replied, okay. In his eyes, as the man walked away, the two ghosts followed him, trying to reason with him, although he couldn't hear them. Mister, that's not it, mister. Behind Hyun, a dark shadow faintly appeared. He thought to himself with unease, don't mind it. That meddling ghost is just standing still anyway. It only latches onto things I see with my own eyes, and that involve living people. Hyun's hand clenched the flyer, wrinkling it. I don't know what's going on, but it's none of my business. A dog's bark snapped him out of his thoughts. Along with it came a familiar voice. Oh my, what's wrong with him? Hyun hurried over to his mother and asked, Mom, what's wrong with Guriam? He looked up towards the other man and explained nervously, I'm sorry, my dog isn't usually like this. This man was as if shrouded in a slimy darkness. The dog. Guriam kept barking at the gloomy man in front of them. A cold wind blew past Hyun. He was lost in thought again, ignoring the noise outside. I'm a sensitive type, and I rarely forget a voice I've heard before. He reached out his hand and stepped towards the man, smiling and asking, Are you okay? His hand touched the dark aura around the man. In an instant, that shadow revealed different faces, and the words, Save me. Hyun's eyes widened. At the same time, he realized something. This voice, this spiritual mass, it's Guri's former owner. The gray-haired man in front of him returned to normal. He smiled cheerfully and answered Hyun's earlier question. I'm fine. Hyun glanced wearily at him and said, Nothing's wrong, that's a relief. Suddenly, two female students ran up, linking arms with the man and calling out loudly, Teacher. After that, the three of them cheerfully went into a nearby store. Hyun's mother looked worriedly at her son and asked him, Hyun, are you okay? Hyun gently replied to his mother's question. It's nothing. Let's go home. The two ghosts, following Yeji's father, stood by the roadside, having witnessed the scene. They just watched silently in that direction. Scene change. The gray-haired man is a teacher. The class ended and his voice rang out. That's all for today's lesson. A student called out to him. Teacher, let's go get a spicy rice cakes. The man smiled and told them, I can't. I still have to go feed the cats. Hearing that the student laughed and teased him, feeding cats. How cute. Scene change. The sound of traffic filled the ears of the man driving the car. He was quiet, focusing on what he was doing. Then, as if something amused him, a strange smile appeared on his face. The door to the room slowly opened. The gray-haired man stood at the door. He wore that same strange smile as he looked at the female student he had imprisoned in the room. A desperate plea echoed in the air. Please. The two ghosts following Yeji's father stood on the balcony of Hyun's house pleading with him as he ate inside. Please save Yeji. Hearing the pleas from the two ghosts, Hyun paused, speculating Yeji. I've definitely heard that name somewhere. The face of Yeji's father appeared in his memory, followed by the text on the flyer, missing Lee Yeji, age 17. Hyun hurriedly reached for the piece of paper stuffed in his bag. He held the paper up in front of the two ghosts and asked, Are you talking about this person? The female ghost exclaimed joyfully, See? Following this student was the right move. In contrast, the male ghost was surprised and quickly asked, You can see us? Hyun rested his forehead in his hand, sighed, and said, What on earth is happening? I don't even know who's talking to who. Suddenly, he remembered something, and quickly asked the two ghosts, This person named Lee Yeji, what's her situation now? And who are you? The two ghosts quickly composed themselves. The male ghost then spoke up. Remember the gray-haired guy you met this afternoon? We were killed by him. In the male ghost's memory, he was tortured to the point of constantly begging, Please let me go. The gray-haired man who had tortured them was now holding a camera filming. He cheerfully commented, Good expression. He bent down to pick up a syrup-drenched wrench from the floor and spoke with excitement over the moans and pleas of the victim. Let's continue one more time. The male ghost continued his story. When the feeling of pain almost disappeared, and then I suddenly saw myself in that guy. The gray-haired man looked at the corpse before him with disappointment. He's dead. The two ghosts finally made eye contact. The female ghost covered her face and started crying. I'm sorry I couldn't do anything. According to the male ghost's account, images corresponding to his words also appeared, so we just kept following him. Then we witnessed another murder. The new victim was dragged into what he calls his basement. The basement is a place you have to pass through before reaching the warehouse. Not a single sound can escape. A desperate Yeji tied to a chair coughed continuously. She looked at herself in the mirror and wondered. How many days has it been? That despair made... Yeji burst into tears. She stammered out the words, Please somebody save me. Suddenly she heard a wiping sound. She wondered. The wiping sound came again. The writing on the mirror had changed. Don't be afraid, we were once people like you. Yeji was so scared her voice trembled. Does that mean I'm going to die here too? The writing in the mirror changed again. Your father is looking for you. Seeing those words, Yeji broke down completely sobbing. Dad, please tell my dad I'm here. The male and female ghosts looked at each other uneasily. The male ghost once again continued the story. For some reason outside the basement and the warehouse, we can't do anything. Following you was our last glimmer of hope, because you made eye contact with me once. Hearing the story from the male ghost, Hyun quickly said, I can't do anything. I'll call the police. The female ghost hopelessly expressed her feelings. I've been following that guy for a whole year. My body still hasn't been found. She continued to explain to Hyun. He's a very cautious person. Even if the police investigate, they won't find any clues. If an investigation starts, he'll eliminate the only witness, Yeji. Hyun bluntly asked the female ghost, What if I get killed by him too? Realizing the impossibility, the female ghost tearfully replied to him, I'm sorry, but I really have no other choice. Hyun gritted his teeth in frustration and glanced aside. Only one image swirled in his mind, Yeji's father. Hyun lamented silently to himself. Why does that man's face keep popping into my head? After a moment of internal struggle, Hyun made a decision and asked, Where is the location? The female ghost answered, flustered. I don't remember the address, but I can lead the way. The male ghost beside her also advised, You have to be careful. Hyun quickly put on his jacket and said, I know a police officer. As soon as I know the address, I'll pass it to him and stay out of it. Let's go. He pedaled his bike as fast as he could. While doing so, he managed to call Officer Dong-suk. The officer yelled annoyedly into the phone, making Hyun flinch. What trouble did you get into now? Hyun didn't back down and shouted back, Officer, do you remember the missing student case, Lee Yeji? Dong-suk replied, loudly confused. How many missing person cases are there every day? How am I supposed to remember them all, you punk? Hyun lost his cool and yelled into the phone, Her name is Lee Yeji, a 17-year-old female student. She's currently being held hostage by some psycho. If we're late, she'll die. I'll find the address and send it to you. Dong-suk got angry. He yelled, calling for Hyun. Hey kid, if you get involved, you could really die. His voice boomed through the phone. If the suspect realizes he's been exposed, the first thing he'll do is destroy the evidence. That'll put the girl in even more danger. Hyun spoke urgently into the phone. I know that's why I'm calling you. Officer, please catch him soon. He's already killed 3 people. Those words stunned Dong-suk. What? Hyun's voice came through the officer's phone. I'll tell you the exact locations of the victims. Dong-suk quickly asked his colleagues, Can someone get me a piece of paper and a pen? On Hyun's end, he listened to the female ghost. and relayed the information to Dong-sok. The first person is a woman named Lim Yi-young, buried on the mountain near Gangbo Bar. I think it's Gangbo Port. The second person is a man named Kim Min-seok. There are 2 suitcases between the large rocks. It's a dry stream that used to be called Gangsu Stream. The third person you've met before? It's Gurium's former owner. The victim was dismembered. Hearing this, Dong-sok's face froze in shock. He quickly composed himself and shouted to his colleagues, "Get ready for a long night." Someone quickly acknowledged the order, "Roger." After that, he immediately yelled into the phone, warning Hyun, "Kid, you stay put. Don't do anything." His footsteps stopped at the location in front of him. The female ghost's voice rang out, pointing to the house in his line of sight. "It's over there." Hyun raised his phone and took a picture of the house. He calculated in his head, "Of course it's locked, isn't it?" He looked worriedly at his phone. "Just need to send the address to him, then figure out the next step." While Hyun was reading the address 11 Lane 130 Bupyeong-daro, the gray curly-haired man stood behind him. He raised a brick high. The sound of the shattering brick echoed. Scene change. Hyun slowly opened his eyes. In the man's basement, there was now one more person. Hyun was restrained, sitting opposite Yeji. This caused him to panic. In that silent moment, the man's voice rang out, "Awake, are you?" The gray, curly-haired man leaned back in his chair. He cheerfully held a camera in his hand and smiled. This pervert even put his hand on her shoulder and asked admiringly, "Yeji, is this your precious boyfriend?" causing her to shake her head violently. Returning to the unwilling victim, Curly Hair laughed in astonishment. Full of pleasure, he raised the camera and praised intently, "Wow, great expression." He captured the woman's moment of fear, describing it with glee. Eyes filled with fear, heavy breathing, a trembling body. The photo that Curly Hair had just taken of him. He quickly pinned it to his board of achievements. His mouth uttered disgusting praise. Everything that appears through the lens is drop-dead gorgeous. A wall full of such photos. He spread his arms wide as if showing off his trophies. "This is why I do this." Without further hesitation, he used his strong arm to cover Yeji's mouth with a cloth soaked in a drug, making her struggle. Witnessing that scene made Hyun's eyes widen in horror. Curly Hair emphasized, "Yeji will become a beautiful work of art." Taking the cloth from his prey's mouth, he dangerously stressed, "A photo more beautiful than anyone else's." And not only that, this sick pervert grabbed Hyun's hair tightly, revealing, "Oh, by the way, I didn't originally plan to kill Yeji this quickly. This is all your fault." Then without any difficulty, Curly Hair casually carried her unconscious body away. Seeing her being taken somewhere else, Hyun struggled to lift his body off the chair. Refusing to give up, "I have to save her no matter what." Finally, the chair leg glued down stronger than steel broke free. Due to the immense force, Hyun was thrown to the floor, sliding a long way, his whole body face down on the ground. Quickly, he forced air from his throat, pushing off the tape. Breathing heavily exhausted, Hyun managed to shout, "Yeji is in danger! Please think of a way to get out of here." However, the male and female ghosts were helpless. "This place is locked from the outside. There are no windows, and sound can't get out. It's a completely sealed room." Receiving this information, Hyun closed his eyes, calmly assessing, "I have to think of a way. No matter what, I have to do it." The female ghost, feeling useless, whimpered an apology. "I couldn't even call out to you before that guy surprised you." And the male ghost, flustered, didn't know what to do. "What do we do?" In his urgency, Hyun's eyes widened as if he remembered something. When he was alone, Hyun remembered some information. After that, it seems, Choi Ji-sung continued to go to abandoned houses alone. He raised the camera high and waved, "Say hi." "Welcome, viewers. Today I'll be visiting the abandoned church in Bokya district." Watching Ji-sung's antics, Hyun could only rest his chin on his hand, exasperated. After going through something like that, however, Ji-sung was oblivious, casually interacting with the camera. "All the ghost hunting equipment is live. Too bad this is just a recording." Therefore, Hyun could only rely on him. "This time you have to save me." And then he took a deep breath and yelled loudly, "Please find someone to get me out of here." His only hope was Choi Ji-sung. His hands and feet were tied, his body stuck to the chair. So he asked the two ghosts for help. "Find the abandoned church in Bokya district. There will be a guy with brown hair, tall, holding a flashlight and walking around." The two ghosts flew through the night sky, spinning, endlessly searching. It was hard to see in broad daylight. The male ghost urged, "Let's go to more deserted places." Following Hyun's description of him, "He has some weird gadgets, just tell him everything. Tell him that Lee Hyun is in danger, that someone needs to rescue him." As the instructions ran through their minds, they suddenly stopped. Squinting down below, they shouted in unison, "There he is, that's definitely him." Ji-sung was fumbling to turn on the flash on his camera, tapping the camera lens, confused. "Even though I've turned on the ghost bait, The devices still aren't reacting at all. Suddenly, a deafening static sound came from his backpack. It blared for a moment, then gradually faded, leaving only a beeping sound. Yisung stood there stunned. He took out the only device from his backpack, holding it in his hand in disbelief. Only the ghost radio is still on. "Is there something you want to tell me?" The radio crackled, emitting a faint whisper. "Lee Hyun." At first, that was all he could make out. Hearing his friend's name, Yisung was very confused. After Lee Hyun, he quickly took out his phone and dialed him. Only the automated message, "The subscriber you have dialed is not available." At that moment, the voice from the radio continued to speak. "Come, save." With just that much information, he jumped on his motorcycle and sped off, thinking to himself, "This must be a message from Lee Hyun." He plugged an earphone into the device. While Jisung was going full throttle, he shouted loudly, "Where is it?" They also tried to guide him. "Turn right," and Jisung quickly turned, riding with a worried heart. "I don't know what's going on, but I hope you're safe." Arriving at the dark alley where his friend was ambushed earlier, he wasn't sure. "Is it here?" However, looking around, the place was quiet, nothing there. Jisung exclaimed in confusion, "It's locked." He took a deep breath. He twisted the doorknob hard, then gunned the engine. Jisung energetically shouted, "Whatever. My friend is calling for help, so here I come," not afraid of paying damages or anything else. He recklessly revved the engine and crashed through the door, smashing it to pieces, appearing inside with a smooth drift. Hyun had been lying there for a long time, his eyes serious, wondering, "How long has it been?" At that moment, he was shocked, completely his eyes wide from the extremely loud noise. Jisung took off his helmet and breathed in the air. His face quite cheerful, he exclaimed, "Good thing I wore a jacket." However, as he looked around, there was no one. "Where's Lee Hyun?" The voices of the male and female ghosts were transmitted to the box. Following the signal, Jisung looked at the corner of the wall. He approached and kicked it hard before asking, "You mean get rid of this?" After the impact, the pile of styrofoam boxes tumbled everywhere, revealing a door behind them. "Just as I thought." Back to Hyun. He heard the loud noise and stirred for a moment. Jisung, holding a brick, charged down. Finally, the two of them were reunited. Lee Hyun, despite being injured without any hesitation, Jisung quickly untied his friend and asked, "Are you okay? You probably need to go to the hospital." But Hyun ignored it, wiping his face hastily and insisting, "First, let's get out of here. We have to catch that psycho." The only way in and out was a single wooden plank leading up. The situation made Hyun freeze in his tracks. He muttered to himself, "You completely destroyed it." Jisung, not knowing any better, laughed it off. "Well, I didn't have a key?" When they entered that passage, it led to a completely strange place. Hyun checked his surroundings, surprised. "What is this?" "There's a basement under the basement. Let's go up." "What kind of weird structure is this?" But his friend was very chill. He casually said, "Let's go up," pausing for about 5 seconds. Before Hyun could recover from his shock, he was startled again. "This place is also a wreck." In Jisung's sheepish excuse, "Well, I didn't have a key," as if that was just the demo. All the way at the top, the part of the wall he had rammed his bike into had a huge black hole in it. Pieces of wood were scattered everywhere. "The repair cost is going to be more than the insurance payout." Hyun was aghast. "What did you destroy so badly?" Calm down, calm down." He laughed it off with just one reason. "Well, I didn't have a key." While in his head he was cursing, "He really is a psycho." Jisung tossed the phone to Hyun and said, "What are you spacings out for? Helmet on?" He was ready, calling him to get on the bike. "Let's go catch that psycho." Not only that, the male and female ghosts helped, immediately revealing the location. "We have to go to Guden Village. Go to Guden Village now." Rushing off before Hyun even had a chance to put on his helmet, Jisung revved the engine, ready to go. Full of adrenaline, Hyun roared with gusto. "Let's go to Guden Village." And he chimed in, "Okay, Guden Village." He had been fuming about the curly-haired guy cursing him non-stop. "That son of a bitch, I'm going to smash his skull in." Hyun, sitting behind, just kept pointing and yelling, "Straight ahead!" in a hurry, but one misfortune led to another, annoying him. "Don't you know how to charge your phone?" "At least I have one," Jisung retorted. "You're the one who lost yours." Dialing the number and holding it to his ear, Hyun tried his best to make the call before it was too late. "Hello, hello," before the phone dies. "Will they even believe me?" The moment the persons on the other end picked up, he started yelling. "Hello, is this the police? I found the missing person. Lee Yeji has been kidnapped by a serial killer. Yes, I'm the one reporting it. If you hesitate, she's going to be killed. If you find this hard to believe, go check the Dongnam restaurant in the Dongyun district." At this point, Hyun spoke rapidly. "Guden Village, from the big ginkgo tree there. If you go up the North Mountain, you'll see an abandoned warehouse. The serial killer is holding the missing person there. Come immediately." This shocked the police officer. "Caller, please calm down and speak slowly." He heard that, but he was in a hurry. The battery was draining incredibly fast, forcing him to say, "My name is Lee Hyun. Report all of this to investigator Kim Dong-sok at the central station. Someone is going to die. This isn't a joke." Then the phone abruptly died. Exhausted, his body was drenched in sweat as he thought to himself, "Please let them understand, it's urgent." Now Ji-sung finally had a moment to piece things together. If what I heard is true, you got kidnapped while trying to save a missing person. And now we're both heading to a place the ghosts pointed out, where the missing person and some psycho are. At this, he just had to ask, "And that psycho is a serial killer?" But Hyun wasn't scared. He glared and replied, "Yeah." Hearing that, Ji-sung panicked and blurted out, "Are you crazy? Why the hell are we going there?" However, it was a person's life at stake, so he couldn't just turn a blind eye. If the police don't believe me, she'll die. That thought gnawed at Hyun's conscience. I know I'm risking my life, I know, but I also feel responsible. It made him grit his teeth, unable to let it go. There must be some reason for this. He asked another question. "Do you know the missing person?" And the answer he got was a firm no. Ji-sung could only feel helpless. He really is crazy. They arrived at the designated tree under the bright moonlight. They got out of the car. He was the first to ask for confirmation. "That big ginkgo tree over there, that's it, right? From here we climbed the North Mountain." But Hyun couldn't stay calm. He rushed ahead without a word, forcing Ji-sung to call out, "Hey, Lee Hyun." He had to stop him. "Dude, don't overdo it. It's obvious you got hit in the head." However, he stubbornly sped up, replying, "I'm still fine." He paused for a moment to ask for directions. "We just go straight up from here, right?" Both the male and female ghosts confirmed, adding a warning. "You have to be careful." Witnessing that, Ji-sung couldn't believe it. "The ghosts are still following us." Meanwhile, that pervert with the curly hair was putting on gloves, preparing to get to work. Cameras, video recorders, all the tools were ready. Shockingly, next to them was a car repair toolkit, hammers, screwdrivers, and so on. Without a shred of mercy, Curly Hair violently ripped the tape from Yeji's mouth, causing her immense pain. Helpless and in despair, she could only sob and whimper. He leaned in close to Yeji's face, asking perversely, "Your lip is torn. Does it hurt a lot?" He smiled while saying sorry about that. However, Curly Hair already had a wrench ready in his hand. Seeing it made her scream and beg, Mister, my dad raised me all by himself. My dad can't live without me. Somebody please save me." Her pleading screams only seemed to delight the sicko. "Please, please." He slightly opened his palm, letting the wrench almost fall. Yeji's screams grew louder and more desperate. "Please save me." Just as he was about to strike, a shout, "Hey you," made Curly Hair turn around. Hyun leaped up and delivered a kick, cursing inwardly. Before we knew what happened, the scene cut back to a bewildered Ji-sung. "Why are we the ones chasing after a murderer before the police? We're just a couple of high school students." Seeing his friend rush into danger, he was worried but couldn't stop Lee Hyun. "You really are incurably insane. When I almost died, you probably risked your life and charged in just like this, huh?" Knowing he was no match with his bare hands, Ji-sung yelled in utter fear, "Don't go!" What gives that guy the right to do this? With just a rock in his hand. He's planning to take on a murderer like that. I seriously don't get it. Back to the moment he was kicked, Curly Hair fell to the ground in agony, just to save a complete stranger who was kidnapped. However, this had provoked his rage. He flicked open a switchblade hidden in his hand. What was the difference between this situation and a moth flying into a flame? When Hyun rushed in, he hadn't considered this. His face went pale with shock. Wait a minute. It happened so suddenly, he couldn't react, frozen to the spot. At that moment, Curly Hair laughed maniacally and raised the knife. But Ji-sung lunged forward. "But hey, Lee Hyun, I think I'm starting to get it." Before I could even think, my body just moved on its own. A slash went straight across his face. Hyun could only stand there trembling, calling out, "Choi Ji-sung!" His initial reaction was just to cover his face with his hand. When he removed it, a slash had cut through flesh and skin. A deep gash on his face dripped with blood. Chapter 21. The ghosts, having experienced horrific things themselves, feared the girl would suffer the same pain. So they had pushed aside Lee Hyun's own life and death. And Lee Hyun, in turn, was afraid that someone else would die because of him. The curly-haired guy looked towards him and let out a bizarre and casual laugh. "This is all your fault." Lee Hyun could no longer keep his composure. Meanwhile, Ji-sung had charged into the middle of the chaos. Everyone had been careless, and this was the result. Seeing Ji-sung get a long gash across his face from the curly-haired guy, Hyun stood there stunned, his face. But in contrast to his horror, Ji-sung seemed numb to the pain on his face. He just covered the wound with his hand and said coldly, "First we have to deal with that guy." The curly-haired guy suddenly threw away the knife he was holding, smiled, and turned his back. Jisung shouted at Hyun when he saw him quickly bend down to pick up the knife. "What are you planning to do?" He didn't say much, just placed the knife in his hand. "Take it." Then he turned away, saw the toolbox, approached it, and picked up a hammer, thinking the weapons are on our side. With this, before he could finish the thought, both he and Hyun were stunned by the sight before them, because the curly-haired guy just casually hummed while his hands were holding a chainsaw. Then he smiled again like an innocent child. "Which one of you is first?" As soon as he said it, he started up the machine like a madman. He swung the chainsaw towards Hyun. Luckily, he managed to dodge in time. He also turned back to Jisung, urgently telling him to get the girl out of there. But Curly Hair wasn't about to let him get away so easily. He spun around cold and furious, staring at him. "In your dreams." His face suddenly tensed up as he caught a strange sound from behind him. Then he let out a piercing scream. At the same time, Jisung had already run over to the girl who was tied up. She nervously waited for him to cut the rope, stammering, "I'm sorry, it's because of me." But he instead didn't blame her at all and was very understanding of the situation. "It's not your fault." He used the knife that Hyun had picked up and given to him to free Yeji from her bonds and instructed her, "Listen carefully. The police might already be at the foot of the mountain. Go down. And let them know there's danger up here. Can you do that?" Yeji's eyes welled up and tears streamed down. She tried to be strong and replied to his instructions. "I can do it. Run!" Jisung yelled at her, as if to give her more strength, so she could run down to the foot of the mountain safely and quickly get help from the police. Curly Hair laughed at her again. At the same time, he sneered, asking, "Yeji, where are you going?" But his attention had to shift to the person closer to him, which was Hyun, as he had yelled in his face, "Shut your mouth and focus on me." He had only just turned to look, and Hyun had to quickly dodge, backing away from the chainsaw blade. Hyun cursed in his mind, horrified. That was almost it. I was almost in two pieces. The guy saw the fear on his face and smirked contemptuously. "Just a little bit further and you would have been split in two." Over on this side, Jisung was also thinking of a strategy to resolve this situation. "We can't hold out against a chainsaw. We'll both die. What should I do?" He had just come up with an idea in his head, when on the other side, Hyun had dropped his weapon. It was the hammer, and he had to clutch his left arm. It seemed the curly-haired guy had hit him. This only made him more excited, and he laughed demonically at him. "You've lost your weapon now. Try blocking this with your forearm." Even though Hyun was panting from his injured arm, he still scoffed and gritted his teeth. "I'm not stupid." It seemed his response only fueled the excitement in him even more, so his smile grew wider and more insane than before. He continued to swing the chainsaw in his hand, aiming towards him. But then suddenly a long chain with a rock tied to it flew from Jisung's direction and wrapped tightly around the chainsaw blade, leaving him stunned. This fleeting moment was the time for Hyun to step up and fight. He stepped forward aggressively right next to him. "Had enough, you son of a bitch!" As he spoke, he swung his clenched fist towards the curly-haired guy's face. And as for Yeji, her face was stained with tears as she tried to run down the mountain as fast as possible. But she tripped and fell face first onto the ground. She cried out in pain, calling for help. "Someone help me! Somebody please!" The pain made her unconsciously think of Hyun. Who is he? Who is he to save me? But it doesn't matter who he is. Now I want to be the one to save them. Just thinking that, she seemed to be filled with an invisible source of strength. She immediately screamed, just hoping that someone would hear her cries for help. "Please, police, find me quickly." With the police team, Dong-sok was also extremely anxious and impatient. "That ginkgo tree, right?" The way up the north mountain, then the call dropped. Immediately after, Yeji had found her way to where he was standing and collapsed to the ground. Even though both her knees were bleeding, she still managed to weakly speak up. "Officer, please save us." Dong-sok hadn't even hung up the phone yet when he saw her pitiful and pathetic state. He was stunned and bewildered, asking, "You're Lee Yeji?" "Right." With tears still streaming down her face, she replied haltingly, "Yes, there are some boys still up there. Save them, they're going to die." After hearing her words, he became even more alarmed than before. But up on the mountain, it seemed Hyun and Jisung had defeated the curly-haired guy. He was curled up on the ground like an ant. Although Hyun was slightly injured, he still had plenty of strength left to say to Jisung, "That should do it right." Jisung suggested finding a rope to tie him up. While searching for a rope to tie him up, they exchanged a few words. "Let's use the rope that was used to tie up the girl. There's a lot of rope here." "Is this guy a rope smuggler?" When they found the rope, they decided to tie his hands and feet separately. "Hey, you tie his feet, I'll tie his hands." Suddenly, the curly-haired guy spat some kind of liquid into their eyes. They felt their strength drain away, nervously asking each other, "What is this? Don't tell me the guy wasn't done yet." He poured more of the liquid onto a cloth, then pressed the cloth firmly over Hyun's nose. This made him feel extremely scared and stunned, and the guy he just lay down, cackling at them. "You idiots! Once you get a whiff of this, you're paralyzed for sure." He grabbed the wrench next to him and slowly got up, staggering. "I'll gouge out both your eyes first. Oh, wait. You two are so disrespectful I should pull out your tongues first." This guy probably hated Hyun more, so he approached him to deal with him first. And Hyun at this point seemed to have lost all ability to perceive his surroundings, so he just stayed there dazed as the guy shoved the wrench into his mouth. Fresh blood drop by drop fell. The wrench fell along with it instantly. That wasn't Hyun's blood, but the curly-haired guy's. His eye sockets, nose, and mouth were all bleeding nonstop. His body and his face were both frozen stiff. At the same moment, the faces of the ghosts appeared in the same state, blood dripping just like the curly-haired guy whispering, "I'll kill you." Those ghosts had their hands tightly clasped around the curly-haired guy's neck, causing him to only be able to let out a few weak moans. The other ghost incessantly whispered in his face, "I'll kill you." Hyun saw this scene and slowly came to his senses, struggling to get out a few words to the ghosts. "Don't do it, you'll go to hell." But the other guy couldn't see the ghosts, couldn't open his mouth to call for help. He could only cry and lament in his heart, "It's so hard to breathe. Help me, where am I? Help me, help me!" He just kept clutching his neck and running around frantically. Then, when he saw Dong-suk, he stopped and looked at him as if terrified. He saw Dong-suk as a demon, with large horns and deep-set eyes. His mouth was full of sharp-pointed teeth. That demon even spoke to him. "Found you." Faced with this terrifying sight, he could only let out a loud scream, then clutched his neck and ran again. But Dong-suk chased after him, shouting, "Stop you!" And then, he really did stop running and was grabbed by the shirt by Dong-suk, who angrily shouted, "That place is dangerous." Suddenly, whether out of extreme fear or something else, he lifted his leg and kicked, Dong-suk causing him to fall off the cliff, having pushed him away from his protection. At the hospital, Dong-suk was waiting, solemn and serious. A person next to him spoke up. "Mr. Kim, we're screwed this time, aren't we?" Dong-suk bowed his head in thought, indifferent. "Shut up. The fall wasn't fatal." A moment later, the emergency doctor came out. With a calm expression, he announced, "It's not life-threatening. But due to a cervical spine injury, he's completely paralyzed." The person next to him, once again disappointed, lamented, "We're so screwed." The doctor continued discussing Curly Hair's condition. "He just came out of emergency surgery, but he's reacting to pain, which means there's nerve damage. We've given him painkillers, but it seems the patient is still in pain." He was in his hospital bed. Although his body had been stabilized, his eyes were wide open, trembling due to the fact that right now he was seeing the ghosts surrounding his bed. His bed. Those ghosts were smiling bizarrely at him, and each one was holding a knife in their hand, stabbing it into his body. Tears streamed down his face. Though he couldn't speak in his heart, he was trying to say, "Kill me, please kill me." In Hyun's hospital room, the voice of Dong-suk was ringing out steadily. "Hello, ma'am, I'm Police Officer Kim Dong-suk." "You're the one who called, right?" "Yes, you're Hyun's mother, correct? You must have been very worried. If anything happens in the future, just call this number." Saying that, he took out his business card. Hyun had also woken up and was sitting up. His face was pale and weak as he called out to the two people talking. "Mom? Officer?" The woman heard him call and immediately turned around, both surprised and worried. "Hyun!" At that moment, Ji-sung was also in the hospital bed next to him, absent-mindedly staring up at the ceiling, but not making a single sound. As for Hyun's mother, her worry from before had turned more into anger. "What on earth is wrong with you? Are you trying to worry me to death?" Because his mother suddenly got angry and yelled at him like that, he could only timidly stammer, whispering to his mother, "I'm sorry." She helplessly turned her face away, holding her forehead. "We'll talk later. Let the officer speak freely first." At that, he didn't hesitate, and immediately looked straight at him, shouting, "This brat, really? That was seriously dangerous, you know, this isn't a joke." Then he let go of his earlier anger and, with a grim expression, closed his eyes and said slowly, "Me, you, that girl, and your friend, all of us almost died. You need to realize that. And be careful. Don't ever let this happen again." Hyun, as if suddenly remembering something, shot up and asked Dong-suk, "How is that girl?" "Lee Yeji." Dong-suk, after hearing the question, put his hands on his hips and looked at him helplessly, yelling, "This brat!" Then he reluctantly recounted her situation to him. The girl was malnourished, scraped her knee a little, but she safely reunited with her father. Thanks to you, Yeji was saved. Yeji's mother, sitting dazedly on the hospital bed, suddenly broke down and sobbed like a child in the warm embrace of her father. Both she and her father were crying their eyes out. Perhaps it was out of fear, or perhaps it was out of happiness that she had been saved and returned. As Dong-suk recounted this, he lowered his head and blamed himself. "I'm sorry for being late. Hyun was a little stunned by his act of taking responsibility, and then refuted. "It's okay, sir, I was the one who didn't explain clearly." Then he hesitantly asked another question, but this time it wasn't about Yeji. And the culprit? Dong-sok didn't want to leave him curious, nor did he intend to hide it from him. According to regulations, I shouldn't say, but he's completely paralyzed. This answer didn't surprise him, but he felt a bit conflicted thinking to himself. So he's not dead, then the ghosts. He turned towards the window and saw two ghosts waving at him. The ghost in yellow, knowing he had seen her, motioned by pointing her finger upwards, as if to say go up to the rooftop. Hyun didn't say anything, just smiled slightly. Then he was about to get out of bed to go to the meeting point with the two ghosts. But Dong-sok, not knowing this, was a bit worried, and warned him, "If your friend wakes up, you'll both be investigated. So just stay in the hospital room, don't try to sneak out." Then he also turned around and left the hospital room. He obediently agreed quickly so Dong-sok would leave. "Yes, goodbye, sir." Then he got out of bed and walked over to Ji-sung's bed, looked at him and said sternly, "Let's go outside. For some fresh air, I know you're awake." Hearing that, Ji-sung opened his eyes and looked at him. His face was somewhat pale along with the wound from the slash caused by the curly-haired guy's knife. It was bandaged up, which made his face look even paler and weaker. "Can't you get up?" Then the two of them went up to the rooftop together, where the two ghosts were waiting for Hyun. As soon as he got there, Hyun rushed forward and exclaimed, "Good thing you're both okay. Are you ready to go?" The male ghost smiled and replied, "Yeah, that guy has probably suffered enough punishment." But the female ghost in yellow next to him couldn't be serious, like the male ghost. She burst out laughing and started to mock. "That curly-haired guy looks like he's hallucinating. He looks so stupid." The male ghost also smiled more brightly after the female ghost's action and words. "Thanks to you, I feel much more at ease." After saying that, darkness enveloped them. Their souls gradually faded away. The female ghost became more serious this time, no longer laughing out loud but just smiling gently. "I'll let go of everything and leave. I'm sorry and thank you." After that, the two ghosts also faded into a brilliant light and vanished into thin air. Ji-sung, sitting on a bench, looked up at Hyun's hand, waving goodbye to the two ghosts, and asked doubtfully, "Is it over? Were those the ghosts that showed me the way back then?" He replied very gently, "Yeah, they're all gone now." Ji-sung sighed and walked over to the railing, where he was standing. He continued, "The world you see must be very confusing, huh?" Then he nonchalantly asked him again, "Did you drag me all the way up here just to see this?" Hyun glanced at him, his voice grim and tinged with regret. "I wanted to apologize." "I'm sorry, your face is probably going to be scarred." Ji-sung turned to smile at him, saying nothing for a moment. Then suddenly he grinned brightly, his eyes crinkling. "If you feel guilty, then come with me to the abandoned house." Hearing that, he cursed at him, "You psycho." Hyun was extremely confused by Ji-sung's request. "I'm really curious about one thing. Why are you so obsessed with those places?" He didn't answer right away, but gave a faint smile first, then looked straight into his eyes. "My mom is trapped in there." His expression was still incredibly calm, as if his answer just now was just a joke. But Hyun was the complete opposite. He was extremely startled and turned completely to look at him. "What trapped where?" "At the abandoned house." Ji-sung, not looking at him, but straight ahead at the blue sky full of white clouds, calmly recounted a story. "When I was little, I went into a place, like that abandoned school we went to. A place where the space changes and my mom couldn't get out. I was too young back then, so I don't remember clearly. So now I can only search blindly in abandoned houses. I've been to so many haunted places before, but nothing ever happened." Then he remembered his strange ability and everything that had happened to them. He turned to look at the pensive Hyun and continued, "But since I've been with you, everything has been different. Spaces changing, monsters appearing. I think there are probably many more strange places like that. My mom could be trapped in one of them. Because I thought you were the key. That makes those places change. This is the last time. Just come with me to the outside of that place. When we get inside, I'll go by myself. I need to try something." At this, he tilted his head back, closed his eyes, and let out a deep sigh. The two of them stood there in silence. After a while, Hyun spoke up helplessly, "You got your way again." That night, while he was sleeping, suddenly on Hyun's sleeping face, a hand appeared caressing his cheek. It was a girl. It was Lisa. She gazed lovingly at his peacefully sleeping face, then smiled and whispered, "Hyun, come with me." Chapter 23. Under the tall green trees, Hyun slowly woke up as the rays of sunlight flickered into his eyes. Lisa was also here right in front of him. As soon as she saw Hyun wake up, she smiled happily at him. "You're awake." She was sitting under a large tree, letting him sleep on her lap. Realizing this awkward situation, Hyun was momentarily stunned and fully awake. He immediately sat bolt upright, his eyes wide, staring at the girl, and exclaimed in alarm, No, what is this? Lisa seemed to have expected this, and wasn't surprised by his reaction at all. So she remained very calm and gently replied to him, "Hyun, it's me. Don't you recognize me?" Hyun's earlier panic was no longer present, replaced only by a dazed, sleepy expression. "How did I get here? And where is this a dream?" Then his expression shifted to one of annoyance and anger. His gaze became sharper than before. "Is this another one of your tricks? Don't act so familiar." Hyun stood up, his bare feet stepping away from where Lisa was sitting with him earlier, decisively. "Coldly, I know everything you did to those kids." Now Lisa was no longer smiling as before. Instead, there was an urgency, panic, and a hint of remorse. "No, that's a misunderstanding. I had my reasons." Her explanation only fueled his outrage further. Fiercely, and he showed it clearly, without any attempt to hide it. He turned and glared at her with disgust, saying, "Whatever it is, you're still a demon. I don't care what you have to say, but don't say it, and don't appear in my dreams anymore. I don't want anything to do with you anymore." After saying that, Hyun immediately turned away, wondering to himself, "Where on earth is this? I keep having such weird dreams." Before he could think, for long his arm was grabbed by a hand, tightly. Lisa tried to plead with him to convince him. "Please just listen to me for a moment." Her face looked like it was about to burst into tears, anxious and a little panicked. "Hyun, come with me. If you don't, you'll be in real danger." But he didn't hesitate for a moment, yanking his arm out of her hand coldly, his murderous glare fixed on her. "Let go. Go where? I'm not even sure if you're human." At this, Lisa's eyes could no longer hold back the reservoir of her tears. 2 streams of tears flowed down in her sorrow and hurt. She stood there stunned and then in a very small voice said, "Hyun, how could you say that? You won't listen to a word I say." Although the tears wouldn't stop, she still tried to scream at him full of helplessness, frustration, and resentment. "If you don't come with me, then you'll have to fend for yourself this time and you'll regret it." After Lisa's angry scream, Hyun also woke up with a start, panting. He looked around, bewildered, at the room he was in. It was also a hospital room, but this room looked very strange. In his heart, he probably already guessed what was happening to him. The hospital has changed. "This isn't the hospital I was in. Where am I?" Suddenly, Hyun felt a sharp pain in his right arm. He pulled up his sleeve and saw something carved into his arm. Something. And he was extremely confused, wondering in his own thoughts, "What's this number 3? The pain is too real. It's not a dream. Could it be?" He turned his head to the left and suddenly saw an eye staring intently at him. Immediately, he was shocked and looked at it, then shot up from the bed, chasing after it, yelling. The eye, Hyun remembered he had encountered it before. It's that thing from last time. He chased after it, but couldn't catch it because the eye had slipped through the window pane and flown away very quickly. He looked out, wanting to know which way it had flown, but he fell into a state of, "You're terrifyingly quiet, because what you see outside isn't the direction that eye was moving, but a pitch-black space. You can't see anything else. Inside, you're a terrified, jumbled mess. It's all just black. Back inside the room, you close your eyes and think, how did things end up like this? It's definitely that bitch Lisa's fault." Hyun calms himself down. "Even without light, I can still more or less see ahead, just like at the abandoned school. That means monsters might appear again. I need to find a weapon." He opens a cabinet in the hospital room, looking for necessary supplies. While in this space, he sees an axe and a flashlight. He's a little stunned, shocked like he can't believe his eyes, and thinks to himself, shaken, "Damn, what a starter pack." Besides the axe and flashlight, there's also a coin in the cabinet. Hyun isn't too interested in this coin, but reluctantly, "A coin who knows might need it, I'll just take it." He shoves the coin into his pocket. He gently cracks open the door, peeking out of the hospital room to check his surroundings. He doesn't see any danger, so he pokes his head out to get a better look at the hallway. Then he mutters to himself, "This hallway is creepy long. I've got to be careful from here on out." Hyun steps out of the room and turns on his flashlight, starting to walk slowly down the hall. Who knows what's going to pop out? I need to find the exit. After walking a little, he's horrified once again. Shock fills his mind. Is the exit this way? He reaches for the door, but it won't open. No matter how hard he tries to turn the handle, the door won't budge, so he gives up and turns away from it. He seems a little frustrated, but mostly he's deep in thought, trying to figure out a solution for this door. It's locked. I need to find a key or a crowbar or something. First, I'll check the opposite direction, the emergency exit. He thinks he should check the nurse's station first. This room is dark, messy, and old, and notably it isn't small. And he's all alone searching the entire room. After rummaging for a while, he only finds 1 battery and 2 coins. This is really weird to him, but he isn't mad about it. Just 1 battery and 2 coins. I've changed the battery. The flashlight is working fine for now, but these batteries... Hey, maybe there's a door that opens with a coin. I picked one up earlier, so that should be fine. Leaving the nurse's station, he continues down the long, dark hallway. Next is the left hallway. Most of the patient rooms won't open. On the floor on the waiting chairs, he occasionally finds coins and batteries, which is starting to get a little boring. There are batteries and coins scattered around the hallway. In total, I've gathered 3 batteries and 11 coins. Reaching the end of the hall, his expression changes slightly. It's surprise and astonishment when he sees a vending machine there, emitting a very enticing light. This machine has a key, but that expression doesn't last long, because in a very short time he goes from baffled confusion to a state of indifference and disappointment when the vending machine displays a message stating that he needs 10 coins to get what he wants. Hyun's face is emotionless. He doesn't say a word, just sinks into his own thoughts. So I have to put coins in to get the key. But then he raises the axe in his hand, his eyes glued to it. Then, as if having an epiphany, he smashes it hard, right into the vending machine. Since the surface isn't made of bulletproof glass, that vending machine couldn't possibly withstand such a powerful blow from Hyun. The glass shatters into pieces, so he can easily take the key from inside. Holding the key in his hand, Hyun is both relieved and a little suspicious. Got the key! What that easy? Now I can just open the door and leave. And of course, it's not as easy as he thought. The moment he turns around, Hyun jumps back in fear. A moment ago, before him was just a dark screen, but the light from the vending machine illuminates. A large monster crawling towards him on 8 legs. It has no face, but on its head, there's just a mouth as big as a small pit sticking out a long-ass tongue. Though panicking inside, Hyun still maintains the instinct to protect himself. He yells loudly, letting out a long scream, and holding the axe in his hand, he charges intending to attack the monster. But before he even gets close to it, the long tongue, shooting out of its large mouth, impales him, lifting his body high into the air. The axe falls from his hand, and Hyun is instantly in agony, spitting out a mouthful of fresh blood before waking up again, just like when he first entered this space. Even though there are no wounds, his body still feels a sharp pain, making Hyun pant in fear and panic. His face looks much more haggard. He lets out a soft moan, because on his right arm he feels the same sensation as last time. When he pulls up his sleeve, the number 3 is gone, replaced by the number 2. Hyun is shocked when he sees the number on his arm has changed. The number changed. Don't tell me this is my number of lives. He touches the spot where the monster impaled him before and doesn't feel any sense of relief. In fact, he feels even more bewildered. The wound has healed. This isn't a dream. This pain is definitely not a dream. What the hell is this? There's a real monster roaming free out there. His hand starts to tremble slightly. He realizes he no longer has his previous equipment. He can only feel the battery and coin in his pocket. Hyun feels completely lost and can't understand. Where's the axe? The flashlight is gone, the key too. Only the battery and coin are in my pocket. Only the things that fell from my hands are gone. Or maybe they're still where I died. He grows more and more pensive, and perhaps fear is starting to invade his mind. This uneasy feeling, it's like I'm in a game. Hyun feels completely unsafe and imagines that Lisa is the one controlling everything that's happening to him. He thinks she set everything up, and that she's enjoying seeing his current situation. Lisa, that bitch is playing with me. At this thought, the previous fear is overshadowed by his anger and hatred for Lisa. The cold, murderous intent is now crystal clear. If that's the case, I'll make this game boring as hell. He says to himself, 2 lives left, no. From now on, I won't die again and I'll get out of this place. You just sit there and yawn. He stands there like that, silent for a long time, until he hears a noise from outside. His resolve wavers for a moment. I'm not scared. It just hurts a little from getting my stomach pierced earlier. Then the clattering sound gets closer. A glass cup on the cabinet shelf suddenly falls, shattering into pieces right before his eyes. And at the same time, the monster bursts into the room. Hyun quickly ducks down to hide, covering his mouth tightly to avoid making a sound. The monster crawls back and forth, then stops right in front of him. And the large mouth that could swallow a whole human head is facing Hyun's eyes. At this sight, he can only widen, his eyes silent and motionless. One person, one monster, they hold that pose for a long time, like a paused movie scene. Suddenly, the long, dangling tongue shoots out towards Hyun's head, but luckily it only brushes past his hair, not hitting his face. Since it has no eyes, the monster thinks there's no one in the room. Then it turns and leaves the room, leaving Hyun gasping in panic, feeling lucky to have survived. That was insane. He curses angrily in his mind. This is crazy. Is it trying to force me out of this room? Hyun clenches his fists to pull himself together to try and survive. Get a grip. At least I've figured a few things out. That thing has no sight or sense of smell. He stands up and continues to analyze the monster's abilities and weaknesses. But it's extremely sensitive to sound and pretty fast. As long as I don't make any noise, I should be fine. Guess that's a silver lining, huh? Then he slowly and quietly steps out of the room, gradually approaching the vending machine again. Then, he doesn't feel very surprised. When he sees the equipment he had before scattered around this place. So those things are still here. Looking at the still wet bloodstain on the floor, an unpleasant feeling rises within him. It's weird to see the place where you died. But he still turns away as if it's nothing, approaching the door that needs the key to open. The door actually opens when he puts the key in, which makes him extremely happy. Hyun turns his head back, a wicked smile on his face as he silently curses. It's open! See ya, you stinking roach! But when he pushes the door open to leave this place, he can't. No matter how much strength he uses to push this door, it only opens a tiny crack, just enough to peek through. He's a bit shocked, then urgently and anxiously wants to push the door open. This door is so heavy and it's loud too. Come on, open! The noise from this heavy door is too loud, so it has attracted the monster, which is now charging towards him. He's trying his best to push the door open. Come on, open up, hurry! He realizes it's almost at his position. Hyun abandons the door and runs into the nurse's station, hiding under a table, to escape the monster's hunt. Sitting still hiding from the monster, he doesn't forget to clench his teeth, cursing angrily in his mind. Damn it, what kind of door is this loud and heavy? How are you supposed to escape? Then Hyun thinks of another way to escape. Do I have to find another exit? The monster is heading towards the left hallway. If I want to check the right hallway, now's my chance. No sooner said than done, Hyun immediately stands up, shines the light, and is about to move, when he sees a few test tubes on the table next to him. So he grabs all the tubes, thinking as he does, I should pick up a few things I can throw to make noise just in case. Telling himself to hurry in a situation like this, Hyun forgets one thing, his own shitty luck. Because of that, he trips over a wheel that was just lying on the floor. Then he falls flat on his face and all the tubes follow suit, hitting the hard tiled floor and making quite a loud noise, along with his now uncontrollable mouth. Damn it, the monster must have heard the noise here and is about to charge over very quickly. Hyun is in a complete panic. He hastily grabs the axe and flashlight, stands up and runs. Oh crap, I need to hide somewhere quick. Every room is locked, forget it. I'll just pretend to be a statue. But it's too late. He stands still, clutching the axe. His body is drenched in sweat and tears also start to fall, drop by drop. He tries not to let it notice his presence, but now it's standing right in front of him. The long tongue shoots out towards Hyun very quickly, but is blocked by the axe in his hand. Otherwise, his face would have been smacked, clean off. Seeing its prey fight back, it attacks even more fiercely. But this time, it mistakenly stabs its long tongue into the wall. Hyun seizes the opportunity, immediately grabbing the tongue and yelling, "You think you can get me again? Without this tongue, you're nothing." Then he mercilessly chops off the tongue. Once it's done, he gasps for breath, screaming in his mind, "Run!" Witnessing the sight of the tongue slowly growing back to its original state sends Hyun into a complete panic. He quickly gets up and runs backwards. It's regenerating. Oh my god, why the hell am I even fighting it? Running to the end of the hallway, he sees a gurney and feels like he's been saved. He runs even faster towards it, and with all his strength, he kicks the gurney hard towards the monster, still cursing in his mind, "Fuck off." Then he starts running again, while also looking around to see if there's anything that can help him right now. Is there nothing I can use? He suddenly realizes, now that I think about it, even though the ceiling lights are broken, these places are still lit up, which means there's still electricity running. After thinking, Hyun doesn't hesitate and slams the fire alarm, causing the entire hallway to echo with the sound of the alarm. Immediately, this loud noise makes the monster clutch its head in pain. Hyun breathes a small sigh of relief. It's agitated. Now's my chance. It worked. He quickly drops low and slides straight towards the monster, past it, and heads for the door to get out of here. But the door is still very heavy, making it a real struggle for him to open. While trying to push the door open, he complains in his mind, "So heavy." The fire alarm has stopped. Faster, even faster. The monster immediately charges straight towards him. There's no other way. Hyun can only swing the axe up and throw it hard at the monster, yelling, "Die!" The axe manages to slice a gash in that pit-like mouth. Hyun also succeeds in pushing the door open for him to run through. He lets out a breath and then has to use all his strength one more time to close it. Got it closed, but the tongue has very quickly slipped inside to where he is. Seeing this, Hyun gets even more panicked, opening his mouth to scream as loud as he can, using even more force to push the door shut. "Close it! Slam!" A loud bang as the door closes, leaving half the tongue on his side. He locks the door, then slumps down, panting with regret. "It's over. I lost the axe. Is that okay?" After sitting there for a moment, Hyun grabs his flashlight to light the way down the stairs, where another door is located. Looking at the symbol on the door, this must really be the end. Now I'll probably be sent back to the original hospital. Right, Lisa? He opens the door very easily, not heavy and difficult like the previous one. Then he freezes at the sight before him, thinking to himself, the main lobby, so I've made it to the first floor. Then he can't help but curse out loud. This is so fucked up. This is probably the lobby of this hospital, but everything is a complete devastated mess. Papers and objects are scattered everywhere. Hyun turns to another spot to survey the place. Then suddenly stammers, shouting very loudly, "What is that?" In front of him is a man? No, it's a dried-up skeleton. Its two eye sockets are pitch black and bottomless, and its fingernails are freakishly long. He's quite startled, then tries to test it by lowering his flashlight, no longer shining it on it. Then, it suddenly lunges, raising its claws to attack him. He tries shining the light on it again, and it stops its movement, standing perfectly still. He thinks doubtfully, wondering, that monster stops when it's lit up. Then he gets quite annoyed. There's a limit to how fucked up things can be. As he finishes speaking, the skeleton's head falls to the ground from Hyun's punch. He's amazed. He gasps in admiration, then turns away and mumbles, "Sorry, didn't mean to knock your head off." After that, he shines the light and continues forward, completely unaware that, behind him are two other skeletons, charging quickly towards him. The flashlight beam cuts through the ruined hallway. Hyun, wearing a patient's gown, is exploring this dark corridor. Suddenly from behind, there's a sound like someone running. Turning his head, he spots two figures rushing towards him. They don't look human. They look more like monsters, deformed things. When the flashlight hits them, they freeze as if sealed by the light. They're identical, and there are two of them. The moment the flashlight's light goes out, the two monsters are as if unsealed, about to charge and tear him to pieces. Damn it! No time to run. Hyun delivers a swift kick straight to the monster's stomach, sending it flying. Before he can even breathe a sigh of relief, the second one quickly charges. But Hyun manages to dodge and counterattack immediately after. He fumbles in his pocket for the flashlight. When the light shines, the monsters freeze again. At this point, Hyun discovers that they recover very quickly, and can even clone themselves into other monsters, from the parts that fall off their bodies. No wonder they're so easy to take down. It's too dangerous to keep fighting. Horrified, Hyun decides to run from there, hiding in an empty room. The door's unlocked. These things probably don't know how to open doors, right? He closes the door. Hyun scans the room and an idea sparks. What if I give it a try? The door opens. The pitch-black room creates an opportunity for the monsters to hunt. At this moment, Hyun runs quickly to the middle of the room and turns on his flashlight. Seeing the monsters standing still, he breathes a sigh of relief, then quickly runs out and closes the door. Now I can explore in peace. After walking a bit, Hyun opens a door to a room wanting to check it, but he runs into another monster. Startled, he closes the door. Guess I'll check later. Continuing on, Hyun sees two doors. He guesses that one of these two doors must be an exit. He grabs an old chair and throws it at the glass door. It doesn't even make a dent. Just as I expected, can't break it. He notices a keypad and a note on the door. Friendship anniversary? If it's friendship anniversary, is it talking about the first day I met that bitch Lisa? Hyun thinks for a moment, then enters a password. It seems the password was wrong. The lock emits a piercing sound. That was startling. At that time, we met in the basement of that haunted house. What was the date? The loud noise seems to have woken up these monsters. They furiously charge towards Hyun, terrified. Hyun yells, "Oh crap, stay back," and shines the light on them. The light from the flashlight can only cover a certain distance and area, so he can't get all of them. Hyun charges forward, knocking away a few monsters to clear a path. Suddenly, from behind, a monster attacks, scratching his back. Quick as a flash, he runs into a nearby room. Closing the door, Hyun leans against it and slumps to the floor. He sees a long streak of blood on the spot he just leaned against. Terrified, Hyun lets out a curse. Hyun, wearing a patient's gown, panicked, presses himself against the door, a shining flashlight clenched between his teeth. His face is covered in sweat, looking exhausted. His mouth is slightly open as if about to mumble something. Suddenly, Hyun's whole body slides down the door. His hair flies up in a streak along with him. A streak of blood is left on the door. Hyun sits there completely exhausted. The flashlight in his hand is still brightly lit. His voice trembles. He regains his composure, his eyes flashing as he whispers, "The wound is too deep." Hyun forces himself to reassure himself, his hand holding the flashlight trembling slightly. "It's not fatal, but I've lost too much blood." His face is pale, his body drenched in sweat. His gaze is a little hazy. He thinks, "I'm starting to get dizzy. If this keeps up in a few hours..." Suddenly, the number 5 appears on the wall, catching his attention. Hyun is confused, his eyes fixed as he wonders. "The number 5 in red." As he says this, he seems to recall the details. 2 red arrows pointing to the door make him think. Now that I think about it, all the red text and red marks from before. On the note, there are 2 lines reminding him of the friendship anniversary. "Don't enter it wrong." He exclaims in his head, "They're all hints." Though in pain and soaked in sweat, Hyun remains calm and exclaims, "If friendship anniversary is a date, and if those red numbers are the 4 digits, the long-haired ghosts with sharp hands are wreaking havoc outside the door." He thinks urgently, then I have to find the room with the number written on the wall. There's nothing in the hallway. Hyun's memory starts to replay recent events. A chaotic scene. He analyzes it himself. When I ran in earlier, I already looked. The door to the room next door was open, and the back of his shirt is soaked in red blood. His whole body slumps as he reassures himself. Anyway, staying in here is just waiting to die, so I might as well take a risk. As soon as he finishes speaking, the door is kicked open. The ghosts from outside swarm in. Hyun raises his foot straight up, and with a powerful kick, he sends them flying out. He quickly moves on. Some of the small ghosts are lying sprawled out. Others are standing frozen, creating a chaotic scene. But on the wall, the number 0 appears priceless. He's made a suspicious discovery. It really is the code. Before he can rejoice, the ghosts behind him swarm to attack, making him scream in pain. Hyun's face contorts in pain, his veins popping as he grits out each word. "All right, you bastards." The ghosts are still clinging to him like leeches. He angrily yells with all his might, "Come and get me!" Hyun builds momentum from below, placing one foot on the table. He uses his foot to pivot and launches himself powerfully in the opposite direction, away from the ghosts. Unfortunately, as he lands, Hyun's foot twists to one side. He falls to the ground motionless. Hyun struggles to lift his sweat-drenched face, his voice trembling, so dizzy. "Even if I die, I have to close the door." A long-haired ghost in a pink outfit stands silently in front of the door. Watching him, he still trembles and whispers, "Lucky, why didn't it come in?" It stands silently looking at the door that remains still before it. Hyun is suddenly terrified, his eyes widening, dark circles under them soaked in sweat. He raises his hand and discovers a still red scratch on it. He forces himself to regain his composure reassuringly. "One life left, I have to stay focused." He sits up on a black bed in a room that's not very clean. Confused, he asks softly, "Where am I?" "The emergency room." Before him is a gloomy, empty scene. The glaring number 8 on the wall catches his attention. Hyun raises his gaze, shining his flashlight in that direction with a pensive look. "I found the numbers 50 and 8. The first number must be 0. He gets out of bed, looking up and speculating, it could be 5-something-8 or 8-something-5. I can't just guess. His hand is still gripping the flashlight, his face a little hazy. If I get it wrong, those monsters will be released again like before. The only way is to find the remaining number. Hyun turns his head to the other side, his eyes scanning as he reminds himself, there are still a few rooms in the opposite hallway I haven't checked. The ghost in the pink dress from before is slowly stepping out of the darkness. He stops behind it, about a foot away, silent. It's best not to fight. Instantly he dashes forward, yelling, "Run!" He runs through the hallway, turning his head to look at the reception desk. No number. Hyun continues running to a messy, blood-splattered area. The blood lab. Nothing here either. Suddenly his attention is caught by the sign for the internal medicine department. Then the neurology department. Finally his hand rests on the doorknob of a room. His face is drenched in sweat as he urgently prays, "Please, just one more number." A ghost appears in the crack of the door, looking out coldly. He stammers, "Could it be in that room?" Hyun suddenly spots the number 2 in the top right corner of the door. He walks over, flings the door open, and shines the light inside. The number 2 is shining brightly on the wall, making him exclaim in joy. There it is. So it's either 0528 or 0825. His pupils constrict, his expression changing as he hesitates. Between these two, from a distance, the ghost from before runs menacingly towards him. He yells, "I have to try." It seems the ghost is completely unaware that he's standing behind it. The doors lie still, unmoving. He frowns slightly, pointing there, his voice a little hesitant. He reads out each number, 0528. A long beep alarm sounds. Hyun's face changes and he curses in despair. Damn it, it's 0825. The door creaks open. The ghost raises its sharp hand and steps inside. Loud noises echo from inside the room, causing his whole body to stiffen. Hyun deftly dodges the attack from the icy claws of the ghost. The ghost presses its terrifying face against him. He roars angrily, his eyes sharp, all this time. As he speaks, he strikes, both defending and attacking the ghost, screaming, "Why do you—" With one powerful blow, he knocks the ghost to the ground and asks, "Keep haunting me." His trembling hand rests on the keypad, pressing each number 0, 8. Suddenly, Hyun's whole body shakes. His face contorts in pain as he cries out. A long, sharp hand is digging into his back. Despite the pain, he manages to press the rest of the numbers. 2, 5. The moment the door opens is also the moment he goes limp. On Hyun's back are deep gashes that have torn through his shirt. His whole body collapses towards the dark figure. Lisa walks over and catches him. Just as he falls, gently comforting him, "You worked hard." She smiles brightly, holding his hand, and asks, "Was the game fun?" He stirs wearily, whispering a cursed psycho. Lisa maintains that smile on her lips and says softly, "Now I'll let Hyun know who I am bit by bit. Remember it well, friendship anniversary." Those words make Hyun startle, his eyes widening in disbelief. A brightly smiling face flashes in his memory, along with a reminder, "Don't you forget, okay? Friendship anniversary." His eyes slowly close as he drifts into unconsciousness. He jolts awake, breathing heavily, his whole body drenched in sweat. His frightened eyes dart around, scanning the area, afraid of what he might see. Ji-sung is sitting comfortably on the next bed, eating a tangerine. Seeing him looking around, he asks, "Want a piece of tangerine, man?" Seeing Hyun's panicked state, drenched in sweat, Ji-sung asks worriedly, "Did you have a nightmare?" His body aches. He discovers a wound on his arm, just like in the dream. He mutters vaguely, "That dream, damn it." Ji-sung grins and says, "Let's go buy something from the vending machine." Hyun replies grimly, "No, I hate vending machines with a passion." August 28th. An image of a young Hyun with a sweet smile appears. Beside him is a smiling girl, but her eyes are missing. Two hands wearing flower bracelets are holding each other. Hyun glares forward. "Since then, I often dream about childhood memories that I don't clearly remember." As he speaks, he thinks of Lisa's figure, who often appears, asking Hyun, "Oh, it's me. You don't recognize me?" The more he thinks about those memories, the more his head throbs. Under the clear sky, a cheerful voice rings out, "I'm off to school, and it's been a week since I was discharged from the hospital." On the way to school, he thinks the midterm exams are coming up. I'm probably screwed for this one. Just as he finishes his thought, a girl's figure rushes towards him from ahead, startling him. The collision sends them both tumbling to the ground. Minji, her face scrunched up and her hair a mess, quickly apologizes. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Hyun struggles to sit up and replies softly, "It's okay." As he says that, something seems to catch his attention. Hyun's eyes were drawn to him. He saw a ghost clinging to Minji's back. The girl kept saying, "I'm sorry." Minji frantically looked around. "Huh, the doll." Hearing her voice, Hyun whipped his head around, confused. The ghost doll was lying naked on the floor. A confused thought rang in his head. Could it be that a hand pulled it up? Minji ran off with the doll, leaving behind a single sentence, "I'm really sorry." Hyun tried to call after her, "Hey, that thing." Then he slapped himself in the face as a reminder. "I told myself not to get involved." His face contorted as he stared into the distance. "But it feels too dangerous to just leave it." The image of the doll kept circling his mind as he muttered, "If that doll..." He finally followed his whole body drenched in sweat, saying, "Disappears." Suddenly, he saw half the body sticking out from a doorway. "It should be fine, right?" Hyun walked over and looked through the window, seeing someone called President. Minji, holding the ghost doll, spoke timidly to the person in front of her. "Last weekend, I went to an abandoned house and..." Hyun looked suspiciously at the person's back and asked, "Choi Ji-sung?" A blood-curdling scream erupted. "Hey!" Hyun burst through the door in a panic, shouting aggressively, "Don't touch it." The loud noise startled Minji, who turned to look. Daesun turned with a blank face and asked, "Hyun, what are you doing here?" He was momentarily stunned, frozen in place. "Where is this?" As he spoke, Hyun's eyes darted around suspiciously. "How does he know my name?" A bright banner caught his eye. GG Jung YouTube channel, 400,000 subscribers. On the shelf was a skull-shaped talisman, along with other deeply occult items scattered about. Daesun's lips curved into a slight smirk as he said, "Ah, you must find this strange, right? We get it." Instantly, they both extended their hands in welcome. On the table was a picture frame of Ji-sung. Daesun introduced the occult club. "We greatly admire Lord Ji-sung." Hyun was surprised. "For real?" Daesun, full of excitement, grinned. His courageous spirit is extraordinary. His captivating way of speaking, his professional equipment. He rambled on without stopping. "He's my role model." Hyun, looking displeased and stunned, just went along with it. "You really look like him." Daesun, delighted by the compliment, replied, "Of course, the hairstyle alone cost 300,000 won." Hyun stood silently by the door, squinting as he listened to Daesun's rambling. "By the way, I already know all about you." Junior Hyun, the only person Lord Ji-sung ever invited to explore an abandoned house with him. Before he could finish, Hyun rushed in, causing Daesun to stammer. He yelled, "What are you trying to do?" Hyun coldly pointed at the ghost doll on the table and asked, "Where did you get this doll?" Minji trembled momentarily, too panicked to speak. Hyun looked at her with pleading eyes. "Tell me everything that happened. You're in trouble because of this doll, aren't you?" Minji became even more flustered, thinking fearfully. Then her gaze flickered slightly as she stammered, "Actually..." Minji faintly recalled the old dark building from the other night. She said, "Last weekend I went to a small abandoned house." Before she could finish, Daesun pressed on, "Was it that place? The mysterious building that Jisung visited in Stream 25? That night, Minji, drenched in sweat and tears, whispered, "The place famous for its unknown construction purpose." Her small feet walked through the darkness. A dark, gloomy room that gave people goosebumps. There were patchy stains in the hallway. The messy furniture confirmed it was an abandoned house. The scene was dead silent. Suddenly a noise rang out, making her scream in terror. Minji put her phone to her ear. Her face pale with fear, she asked with a trembling voice, "President, what's wrong?" The voice on the other end of the phone rang out. "Minji, any progress?" The person on the other end said, "As you know, Vice President Park Daeun's grandmother is a shaman. So it's easy for her to get talismans. And member Jung Eunji has a cousin who's a YouTuber who specializes in horror stories, so she has a lot of information." After hearing that, she felt a heavy weight on her shoulders. That person's voice didn't stop. "What about you, Minji? Did you join this occult club just to stand out? To escape from the pressure of studying? Is that all?" Minji's face was full of exhaustion. Minji lowered her phone. The person's voice grew fainter. "You need to get results this semester. Even just recording a poltergeist phenomenon would be fine." A bizarre doll sat in front of the door. Minji slowly approached, shining her flashlight on that ghost doll. Her face was emotionless. She slowly sat down, thinking to herself, "You can tell this is extremely bad luck." Instantly, she raised her phone, her eyes showing determination. "President, I think I can make a contribution this time." With that, Minji picked up the ghost doll. The ghost doll's face pressed close to Minji's. She felt it startled and screamed, falling to the ground. She frantically looked around. The voice on the phone rang out. "Minji, why did you suddenly scream so loud?" Before Minji could calm down, the ghost doll pressed close again. Minji screamed her lungs out and scrambled to get out of that hellish place. She ran for her life outside. But her rational mind urged her she'd forgotten the doll. It seemed she was running for her life. Her face contorted as she said, "Forget it, I'm just running." A voice echoed in the house. "I'm home." Minji, panting heavily, opened the door, thinking, "I really saw a ghost." Just as expected from a place Jisung chose, even though I only caught a glimpse of it out of the corner of my eye. I should have brought an EMF meter to record it. The ghost doll sat neatly on her bed, making her freeze. Minji's face was terrified, drenched in sweat. It was thrown forcefully into the trash can. Minji's whole body was still trembling with fear as she stared. Even if I threw it away again and again. Minji's bedroom door was slightly ajar. That ghost doll was sitting neatly on her bed again. That doll would still return to my room, its face coldly pressed against her back. A terrified Minji screamed, covering her ears and face with her hands. She was so scared she started crying, tears streaming down her face. But the ghost doll didn't leave her alone. "It's over. I'm really done for." Minji sat on the chair, trembling with fear as she recounted the story. "I kept seeing ghosts even if it was just a glimpse out of the corner of my eye. Of course I couldn't sleep, and just a few minutes ago, as she was walking down the street, the doll appeared and slowly walked towards Minji, causing her to run away in fear. So that's why I bumped into you." She sat there, covering her face and trembling as she spoke. "I thought if I brought it to the club, maybe there would be a way to solve this, because everyone here is an expert." Hearing this, Hyun could only scratch his head helplessly. Suddenly, he squeezed the ghost doll's face and held it in front of Minji, asking, "Hey, can you still see the ghost now?" Suddenly, it appeared behind her, causing her to jump and scream. "I still see it," Hyun asked helplessly. "You still see it?" Hyun held the ghost doll, thinking, "I'm not sure. But if the doll's owner changes, then the ghost's target will also shift. But this might be a cursed doll. That curse is the first person to own it." Minji quickly ran outside and said loudly, "Or maybe we should get a talisman from Vice President Daeun." Seeing this, the ghost laughed and pushed a large styrofoam box from above. Hyun suddenly shouted, "Wait!" The styrofoam box was about to fall on Minji, but Hyun quickly ran and shielded her, causing the box to fall on his head. But he still worriedly asked Minji, "Are you okay?" She stared wide-eyed, stammering, "Thank you, I'm sorry." Hyun glanced at the ghost doll standing there and thought, "This ghost is an evil spirit, a wraith containing only malice. With no purpose or consciousness, the curse has already begun." She continued to run, but it pulled Minji's leg, making her almost fall down the stairs. Seeing this, he ran over and grabbed Minji's hand to keep her from falling. Suddenly, the window behind Minji shattered as if hit by a strong force, frightening her. She turned back to look. People around were whispering, "Did you see that? The window just broke by itself. Is she hurt?" Later, during lunch break, the two of them took the ghost doll to burn it, but it was still standing behind them. Hyun looked at her worriedly and asked, "It's useless, huh?" Minji hopelessly hugged her knees and cried, "Yeah." To suddenly run into something this weird, I'm so screwed. He comforted her, get up. Crying won't solve anything. The bell rang, we have to go to class. She lowered her head and said, just leave the doll there. She looked at Hyun thoughtfully. He's so strange. He's cold and looks scary, but he's protecting me. If it weren't for Hyun, I would have been in danger several times today. Since he's Jisung's friend, he might be able to see ghosts too. Maybe I should invite him to join the club. When the two returned to the classroom, the doll was still on the desk. She looked at it and stammered, it came back again. I really can't take it anymore. Minji screamed and threw the ghost doll forcefully to the ground. Just then, Hana walked in and saw it on the floor. She asked curiously, what's this? The ghost doll suddenly lunged at Hana's face. Unafraid, she glanced at it, causing the doll to retreat to the back of the classroom. Hyun couldn't believe his eyes and looked towards it. Just then, the teacher and other students walked in curiously. Who's that? He's not a student in our class. You boy get out. The teacher spoke up, breaking the classroom's noise. All right. Everyone pay attention. It's a bit sudden, but this is a transfer student. What? A boy, why is he in here? Go back to your class. Who let you into the girls' wing? In a little while, when class starts, I'll introduce her properly. Before she could finish her sentence, Hana walked to her seat. The teacher was confused as Hyun stood there. Hey, where are you going? She walked over and slapped him, leaving Hyun confused. She said coldly, this is revenge for that time. Everyone around was shocked. Two female students couldn't believe it and said, she's insane. Unable to bear it, they continued, go on, keep going. Suddenly, the teacher angrily yelled, you boy, get out now. What did you do? Hyun held the side of his face that had just been slapped angry. Teacher, I'm innocent. I've never met her before. Hana grabbed his shirt and whispered in his ear, you really don't remember. You used to torture us. Hearing that, Hyun couldn't believe his ears. I'm the type who never forgets a voice after hearing it once. A memory flashed in his mind. Back then, a small ghost had begged him, please stop torturing us. But Hyun didn't listen and hit it with an iron bar. When he remembered, he grabbed Hana and pulled her away. Seeing this, the teacher angrily yelled, hey, where are you two going? The other students whispered among themselves, there's definitely something going on. Minji saw this and was bewildered. What did I just see? Suddenly, two hands placed themselves on her shoulders, causing her to lose consciousness from fear. A moment later, Hyun dragged her to the school's backyard and yelled angrily, what the hell are you? A monster or a human? What are you doing here? In contrast to his tone, Hana replied calmly, I'm human, and the bell rang, we have to go to class. I came here because of a request from my mother. He said worriedly, your mother? Are you talking about Lisa? I don't know what she's planning this time. But please leave me alone. I have nothing to do with you people. Hana looked at him and said, my mother told me to keep an eye on you. Hearing that, Hyun clutched his head and said angrily, I'm going to lose my mind. Suddenly behind him appeared a ghost that said, when you see someone in trouble, you should help. He looked at the ghost and yelled, who here is in danger? The ghost said nothing and just pointed towards the rooftop. Hyun looked up and saw Minji and the ghost doll standing there. Hyun looked closely at Minji and saw that she seemed to be possessed. Hyun frantically thought, she's really possessed. What should I do? If I run up, I won't make it in time. She'll die right in front of me. No. He suddenly remembered what happened in class. When Hana approached the ghost doll, it immediately retreated to the back of the class. Hyun immediately turned to ask Hana, please help me. She replied coldly, why should I? He tried to persuade Hana, someone is about to die. You're human too, you're a person. But you're even stronger than that ghost. I saw it. That ghost actively avoided you. Hearing that, she proposed a deal. Quid pro quo. If I help you, you have to give me what I want. At that moment above them, Minji was unconsciously stepping forward. Hyun looked up and saw it, shouting in panic. I'll do anything. Please, Hana. She said coldly, what I want are your emotions. She observed him thinking, humans are so strange. They scream and get angry, then immediately beg as if they're about to cry. Is this natural shift in emotions an innate instinct? Why am I not like that? Because I was never born. Nor did I go through the process of growing up. I'm just a created being, an empty soul. I don't know human emotions. I want to know about it. This thing called emotion that makes you people act this way. Hyun, extremely anxious, said, I told you I get it. Hana looked up with gloomy eyes and commanded, don't move. Everything seemed to freeze. She held up 2 fingers towards Hyun and said, you have 2 minutes. During that time, run up and save her. After saying that, she threw him a talisman. Hyun looked at the talisman in his hand, surprised. This talisman is mine. It's the one I dropped in the basement that time. She said, you know how to use it, right? It'll be useful. It's a gift from my mother. Hyun ran looking at the talisman and thinking, how to use it? I don't know how, but I'll give it a try. He bit down on the talisman. When he ran up to the top, the 2 minutes were up. Minji and the ghost doll were about to fall. Seeing this, Hyun yelled, "No!" He quickly ran and grabbed her shirt, pulling her up, causing the three of them to fall backward. Hyun looked at the ghost doll standing there and thought to himself, why was this guy pulled back too? Without much thought, he walked over and slapped it hard, causing the ghost doll to hold its face in confusion. He immediately realized that biting the talisman allows for physical interaction with ghosts. Hyun said excitedly, "So that's how it is." He immediately chased after the ghost doll. "Your dead meat time to ascend." After dealing with the ghost doll, he took the talisman out of his mouth and thought, "Originally, when I bit this talisman, I could be protected from evil spirits. But now, if I bite it, I can make physical contact with ghosts. Did Lisa modify it? Why did she give this to me?" At that moment, she came up and asked. That ended quickly. Hyun looked at it and assessed. It wasn't very strong physically to begin with. She walked over to the ghost doll. "Now time to eat." He heard that and asked, "What eat? Wait a minute." She replied calmly, "Anyway, that thing is broken. It's already killed someone. I'm giving it a chance at rebirth." After saying that, she opened her mouth and sucked the black air in. Suddenly, a sound transmitted to her ear, "Die. Die, D. Die, all of you." She thought to herself, this emotion must be resentment. Such an unpleasant emotion. I have to spit it out. She then spat out a dull-colored marble. Seeing this, Hyun asked, "What is that?" Hana said angrily, "Why do you have to know everything?" She looked up at the sky. "Mother will be so happy when she finds out." At that moment in the classroom, the teacher was lecturing at the board. And what James wants is, at the back corner of the class, the doll lying there disintegrated into ash. On the rooftop, Minji woke up thinking with admiration, "I saw everything." As soon as I regained consciousness, the first thing I saw was Hyun with a talisman in his mouth wrestling the ghost into the ground. If only I had my phone. I would have recorded that scene as a memento. Then when Hyun removed the talisman from his mouth, the ghost also disappeared. He exercised it with brute force. He's even more amazing than Jisung. Sometime later, everything about the ghost doll had settled down. "Here," Daesan instructed, "a little more to this side." "This side? No, to the right, is that right?" "Good." He was directing the other person to hang up a picture of Hyun. Daesan asked Minji cheerfully, "You didn't record anything, the part where Hyun fought hand-to-hand with the ghost?" She said regretfully, "I couldn't record anything, but it was real. Hyun beat it to a pulp. Otherwise, how else would the ghost that was following me have disappeared?" Hearing that, Daesan nodded and said, "That's true, but I wish I could have seen it with my own eyes." "Minji, are you going on a trip after the first-year exams?" Meanwhile, Hyun was having trouble with his own exam. As expected, my midterm exam results were a total mess. Lately, I've been running into all sorts of weird, horrifying things. I don't have the time or mental capacity to focus. And then there's this uneasy feeling, like I've forgotten something important that keeps nagging at me. And so that unbelievable trip began. On the day of the trip's departure, Hana said in a cold voice, "Give it to me." Hyun was a bit surprised. "What?" She replied calmly, "You promised to give me your emotions." He said immediately, "I thought you'd let it go." "Why are you asking for it now?" Hana explained, "At that time I swallowed something. Spoiled, so I didn't have any appetite. I'm better now, so give it to me. Your emotions." Hyun asked first, just asking, "If I give it to you, will I turn into a robot? Or something?" She questioned him confused. "What nonsense are you talking about?" Then without another word, Hana raised her hand and touched him. She asked, "What made you save Minji?" Hana's sudden question surprised Hyun. Before he could react, Suddenly an unpleasant image reappeared. A boy with a terrified face. His eyes were welling up and one cheek was stained with blood. A strange voice rang out, "I'm so scared." Hana suddenly shuddered. She thought to herself, "Fear. I hate this feeling." After that, Hana immediately pulled her hand away from Hyun. She muttered, "I accidentally absorbed a little." Hana suddenly turned and walked away without saying a word to him. Hyun lamented to himself, "I really don't get what's up with this girl." Suddenly, Daesan ran up from somewhere chirping, "Hey!" Even his suitcase had a picture of Jisung printed on it. Seeing this, Hyun just gave a non-committal "yeah." Then he turned and walked away. Another person approached the class president named Han Ye-jun. He looked helplessly at his classmate and thought, "I still don't get it. How can people so different be friends with each other?" A friend ran up and said to Ye-jun, "Han Ye-jun, hurry and find a seat on the bus." After that were images of the whole class on their trip taken by Daesan, like a picture of their group lunch, a picture of them at the top of Seolsan in Ulsan, then an image at the blue sea of Jeju, and a picture of where they stayed for 3 days and 2 nights. After being followed all day, Hyun angrily yelled at Hana, "You can go back to your class now." She replied nonchalantly, "All right, I can't follow you at night." Then Hana added, "There's something strange about this place." Hyun asked back, "What?" She said slowly, thinking, "It feels familiar." Suddenly, she turned away, leaving him with a single sentence. I'll tell you when I'm sure. His friends nearby shouted, teasing him, Hyun, what's up with you? He snapped back, it's not like that. After that, a friend from inside the room called out, hey, come on in, everything's ready. Inside the room, food and drinks were all laid out. Hyun said lazily, you guys have fun, I'm going to bed. I'm dead tired. The other friend put his arm around his shoulder and said, hey, come hang out. Before we switch classes, we have to hang out at least once. Hyun said, I don't have any money to chip in. The friend who was already sitting on the floor looked up and said, you're always with Jisung, so we haven't really gotten that close. The friend sitting next to him added, just join us. We'll cover you. He split a pair of chopsticks. Come on, relax. Sit down. Hyun retorted, you didn't chip in a single damn cent either. Finally, shouts of cheers, cheers rang out from their room. When is that shoulder dance going to stop? A young man stood outside the door, listening clearly to the sounds coming from inside, and commented, they're really wild. Drinking out in the open? Yejun chuckled. The teachers are busy partying too, so no one will probably notice. The other friend replied, we'll be fine with just cola. By the way, where's Hyunwoo? Yejun replied, he said he was going for a walk around the resort. The friend asked curiously, alone, an image of Hyunwoo standing in front of a room at the end of a hallway. Some dark night. Yejun replied to the other friend, yeah, he'll probably be back soon. Scene changed to Hyun in his friend's room. Everyone was probably completely wasted. He sat up, mumbling, my head hurts like hell. Hyun looked over at Jisung and thought to himself, he's sleeping so peacefully. After that, a piercing whistle sound rang out. Then the other person shouted loudly, all right, morning roll call. Assemble and sit properly in the room. Hearing that shout, the people in the room immediately scrambled to hide the damn evidence. We have to get rid of the smell. Hide the drinks. Wake up the guy in the bathroom quick. A moment later, the person opened the door, standing with his hands on his hips in front of Hyun and his friend's room. Everyone started the roll call. 1, 2, 3, all present. 1, 2, 3, 4, all present. Hyun sighed listlessly amidst the surrounding shouts. When it was his turn, he shouted loudly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 all present. The person who had woken them up wondered, that's weird. Isn't this the last room? This room should have 10 people. Yeah, I know you all switched rooms to party all night. I'll let it slide that each room has a different number of people. But right now, 3 kids are missing. After talking for a while, he picked up a call from someone. Yes, teacher, what 4 kids are missing? On my side, the boys' side, only 3 are missing. Hyun and Jisung instinctively looked at each other when they heard that. Someone thought to themselves, I have a bad feeling about this. Scene changed to a terrified young man. He said in a trembling voice, no, that's not right. I already escaped from you guys. I'm a high school student now. Yeah, I have friends now. Right now, Bright red distorted figures rushed to attack him with terrifying sounds. Friends for someone like you go to hell. On the floor below, large and small black blocks appeared. Then it turned into a hole, causing the person to fall down. He thought to himself, it's me. Scene changed to someone with a terrified face, surrounded by the sound of arguing. Come at me, you bitch, go die! In front of the person was a scene of a violent fight, and the person, sitting there, could only sit stunned, tears falling. Finally, a sea of red blood flowed, flooding up to the person's neck. In the end, the image reappeared, in front of a door in a dark hallway. Someone asked, the entire schedule is canceled. The students started gossiping. The teachers are really stressed out right now. Up to 7 students have disappeared. I heard they're preparing to file a missing persons report. They're probably just close friends who skipped out to have fun. I heard they weren't even close at all, for real. Someone said rule number 1 of the resort. Do not enter rooms that are not on the guide map. The girls heard that and burst out laughing. That ghost story stuff is so old, sweetie. Spoken like a true member of the occult club. The other friend got angry. I'm being serious, listen. Hana, standing in a corner, said, see? I told you something was strange. Hyun confronted her. Tell me the truth, what's going on? You know something, don't you? Hana hesitated. I don't know the details. It just seems like it was caused by my family. He panicked a little and exclaimed, what then, you're directly involved, aren't you? Can't you stop it? She replied flatly. Why should I? Scene changed to another place. An adult was shouting, leading the students into their rooms. All right, everyone, back to your rooms. Absolutely no switching rooms this time. You must stay in your assigned rooms and wait for orders until lunchtime. Absolutely do not leave your post. Suddenly, someone grabbed another person's hand. Jisung, leaning against the wall, asked Hyun, this place is like that abandoned house from before, isn't it? He hesitated and replied, probably, but I'm not entirely sure. Hana spoke in a calm voice. There will be strange rooms, the kind of room you can enter but can't leave. Rooms like that are usually located in places that can't exist, or are completely isolated. Jisung wondered, But who is she and why does she keep following you? Hyun replied, it's a long story. And even if I told you, you wouldn't understand. To put it simply, remember that monster? Did you see anything in the abandoned school? It was kind of like that. She's not human. Jisung was shocked. How can a monster be wandering around outside? Hana angrily kicked Hyun in the shin. I'm a real person. He stood there like a statue and said, whoa, a bit violent, aren't you? Jisung asked in surprise. So if you get hurt, does it heal right away? Hana replied, I've never been hurt, so I don't know. But Hyun's punch didn't heal. I think my body wasn't complete back then. Hearing that, he covered his mouth and exclaimed, holy crap, this son of a bitch. Hyun yelled, I told you she's a monster. She turned and asked Hyun, you're going to end up trying to save someone again, aren't you? Your fear isn't normal at all. Why are you planning to interfere with this? Jisung thought to himself, she clearly knows Hyun very well. Suddenly Hana said again, I'm not backing out. Enough. You gave and I received. He thought, what is this? What's with this monster girl? With that, she turned away coldly, leaving behind one last sentence. I have my own investigation to do. I'm leaving first, take care of yourselves. Jisung watched her go and said, what an attitude on that monster girl. Hyun grumbled irritably, so damn annoying. Later, Jisung slammed a piece of paper down and said, here, this is the layout of the resort. Hyun wondered, where'd you get this stuff? Jisung continued, the school rented out this entire complex, so it's a bit on the large side. It has 2 floors and it's pretty long horizontally. Following him, Hyun asked, what's your plan? As for me, I'm used to sticking my nose into this kind of stuff, but you don't have any reason to look for them. He kept talking, not noticing, something appearing from behind him. Jisung immediately said, of course I do. If this place is like that abandoned house from before, then I might find a clue. About my mom. His face darkened as he thought, you have your purpose, and I have mine. Jisung spoke again, come on. Let's go find that weird room. This floor goes up to room 110. There's also a plaza, a service room, and a convenience store. The second floor goes up to room 213. This is the first floor, the last room 110. Hyun wondered, this is the last room. He pointed ahead and asked, then what's that? A door just like any other room door. Hyun looked up at the number plate and read room 111. Jisung immediately said, no matter how you look at it, this is weird. Hyun turned and suggested, if they went in here and couldn't get out, why don't we try opening the door for them? Jisung questioned, what if you get sucked in too? Hyun calmly replied, then just hold on to me. He then placed his hand on the doorknob and said, okay, I'm opening it. Suddenly a voice rang out, Hyun Dad's home. He lost his composure and cried out, Dad! Jisung grabbed Hyun's wrist and pulled him back out. Both of them tumbled onto the floor. The door suddenly slammed shut. Then it vanished, leaving behind an intact wall. Jisung yelled, what was in there that made you charge in like that? Hyun's voice trembled as he replied, I don't know. I don't understand either. My mind suddenly went blank. On the second floor, their 2 arms were tied together. Jisung complained, this is really uncomfortable. Hyun also said, I'm not exactly comfortable either. Jisung continued, our job is to open the doors of those weird rooms and wait for the people trapped inside to get out on their own. If we find the suspect behind this, we have to catch them immediately. Hyun replied, leave catching them to me. Suddenly all the lights in the hallway went out. He cried out in surprise, power's out. What are we supposed to do now that we've found those rooms? If I'd known, I would have asked that girl for more detailed instructions. Regular people like you and me can barely do anything. Hey, answer me! Jeon, for some reason, had been transported elsewhere. Before him was a dark corridor, and at the end was a strange door. A strange sound echoed from the darkness, reverberating a name, Oksa, become one with our breath. Jisung's face changed. The sound came again. Though without root nor bone, you are the light-born. From our belief, Oksa, Oksa, please see us with faith. We light this lamp. Oksa, Oksa, please hear us. Please erect a monument in your name. The world is a lie. You are the sacred dream, Oksa. Please reveal the truth amid this stream of illusions. Please let us see your form. With the flow of blood, with our hearts we engrave you, O light, O Oksa, the great one who ascends at dawn within us. You will live forever. Hyun yelled loudly, hey, answer me! He turned to see only a long, dark, and empty corridor. His friend's arm had slipped from his grasp. He called out in alarm for Jisung. Panicked Hyun ran down the hallway, shining his light and shouting, Choi Jisung! Hyun thought to himself, what is this place? The hallway just keeps going. He was shocked when he saw something on the blank wall. Another door appeared just like the one before. Hyun thought in confusion, the room only appears when I shine the flashlight on it. He turned away thinking again. I can't go in alone, it's too dangerous. First I have to find Jisung. He's definitely up to something stupid. I'm sure of it. Suddenly a small ghost appeared. It walked gently past Hyun. A hint of fear crossed his face. The ghost walked into the strange door that had just appeared. An image of young Hyun suddenly appeared inside the door. It transformed from blackness into an amusement park. Chapter 33. Black smoke billowed from inside the building. A rescuer in a full face mask ran over. He looked at the hallway before him and thought, just one last person. Suddenly something appeared that caught the rescuer's attention. A strange wisp of black smoke appeared. It looked like the shadow of a person pointing at a room as if guiding him. The rescuer didn't hesitate and quickly ran in. The first thing he saw was a small cloth draped over a small child. The rescuer ran over and scooped the child up. He turned and nodded at the shadow, saying, "Thanks." It nodded back at him. The scene changes. A cry of pain echoes. Hyun's mother irritably patted his father on the shoulder and said loudly, "I told you not to get hurt." He turned to her and said, "But honey, today, I saved a child about Hyun's age. When you see someone in trouble, you have to help, right? Right, Hyun?" Little Hyun looked up with sparkling eyes and replied, "Yeah, Dad's the coolest. I want to save people too." His mother immediately shouted, "I will not allow it." A small thought appeared in Hyun's mind. My dad is the most wonderful person in the world. His dad reminded him, but don't go into dangerous places. Understand? Hyun's thoughts appeared again. When I grow up, I'll be just like Dad. Then I guess I should start by helping that friend over there. In this park, there was always a child who only appeared in one single spot, every day, even on snowy days, on days when flowers bloomed, and even now when the cicadas buzz. It's definitely a ghost. No, I haven't checked yet. Hyun remembered his dad's words, when you see someone in trouble. Finally, Hyun made up his mind, thinking, I can help if she's a person. He walked over to the little girl sitting under the tree. Hyun thought, I should at least check once. He dropped a leaf onto the little girl's head. It fell and landed on her head. Hyun beamed, thinking, she's real. He friendly greeted her, hey. The little girl, her face hidden by her gloomy hair, looked up. Hyun held out his hand and asked, do you want to play together? The other girl was suddenly taken aback by the strange boy's invitation. Suddenly, the little girl stood up. Hyun was a little surprised, thinking, this is the first time I've ever seen her stand up. The other girl put her hands to her hair and suddenly coughed dryly. Seeing that, he said awkwardly, you don't have to force yourself to talk. The other girl still cried out. The little girl hesitantly said two words, hello. Hyun was suddenly surprised that his friend could talk. Then he held out his hand and said, let's go on the swings. I'll push you. The little girl's eyes suddenly filled with tears. She took Hyun's hand. After that, he led the little girl to play on the swings. Then the two of them ran to play on the merry-go-round. After a while, they were both so dizzy they couldn't even stand straight. Later, Hyun took out scissors and trimmed the little girl's hair. He happily exclaimed, done. The girl's hair had been cut short into a shoulder-length bob, with some wispy bangs that looked very cute. A cup of hot, spicy rice cakes was brought out. The little girl put a piece in her mouth. Her eyes immediately sparkled. Hyun asked happily, is it good? Scene change. The two children led each other somewhere else, looking at strange things like a dragonfly caught in a spider web. One of them reached out, grabbed its wing, and pulled it free. The children let the dragonfly go. A few lines were carved on a stone to commemorate their friendship. 825. Hyun smiled brightly, his eyes full of joy. His friend also smiled happily back at him. The two children wearing friendship bracelets held hands intimately. Scene changed to one day under the cool shade of a tree. The two young friends were happily eating ice cream together. Two women were gossiping nearby. The kids nearby were a little scared when they saw Hyun sitting on a bench smiling to himself. Scene change, little Hyun suddenly got a nosebleed. He put on gloves and wiped away the blood. A snowman was fully decorated with a nose and mouth, wearing a hat and a red scarf. His friend had a scarf wrapped around her neck. The little girl said happily, thank you. Hyun looked excitedly at his friend. Suddenly, his hand was grabbed by someone. Hey, Hyun, come play with us. Hyun called out in confusion. His friend said loudly, you used to play with us. Stop playing with that ghost. Another kid, his voice trembling, said, don't, you'll get possessed. She's not a ghost. Hyun pulled his hand away and shouted, that's not true. She's not a ghost. The other kids looked at the empty bench, their faces dark. Hyun, seeing this, looked at them quizzically. His friend decisively pulled his hand and said as they walked, who are you talking to? Let's go to the playground. Hyun cried out, wait a minute. The little girl stood in the cold snow watching her friend. Then she suddenly lost control and charged forward. The little girl grabbed Hyun's hand and pulled him towards her. Then she lunged forward and pulled him behind her. The little girl kicked the other boy in the stomach. The boy was kicked off the sidewalk, just as a large vehicle was approaching. Chapter 34. Hyun's friend fell into the street. Just then the bus was approaching. Seeing someone fall into the road, the driver slammed on the brakes. The vehicle managed to swerve in time and avoid the boy. The driver, alarmed, looked out and asked, "Oh my God, are you okay, son? You're not hurt, are you?" The boy, terrified, looked at the person crying. Hyun stood stunned, watching the scene unfold. The demon turned and looked at him. It smiled brightly as if nothing had happened. The demon grabbed Hyun's hand and said as it pulled him along, "Let's go on the swings." He was pulled along, still unable to process what had just happened. Suddenly, Hyun spoke up, "I think you were wrong. He's my friend. He almost died. You have to apologize later, okay?" The demon turned and replied carelessly, "Okay, I'll apologize." Hyun asked again, "Didn't you see the bus coming?" The light in its eyes went out. The demon answered, "Yeah, I didn't see it." Hyun didn't dwell on it and got off the swing. Then he invited it, "Let's go get some fish cakes." The demon happily accepted. The two of them walked along the sidewalk, talking cheerfully. Suddenly, an old man walking by warned them, "Hey kid, you'll get into trouble if you mess with strange things." Hyun heard that and asked, "Excuse me." The man uttered more strange words. "You can't exactly see it, but it's clearly there. Carrying things with evil energy on you will only bring misfortune." Hyun immediately clarified, "She's not a ghost." As he said that, he turned to look at the demon. It maintained a normal expression, showing no reaction. The man walked past, leaving Hyun with a few words. "I never said it was a ghost. But you should stay away anyway, whether it's a good or bad omen. If you get too close to those things, your life force will be drained." The demon didn't turn to look, but just followed with its eyes. On the snow, a sharp piece of glass appeared. Hyun frowned slightly and said to it, "Don't worry about it. He's just a weird old man." Suddenly, tears started to fall from the demon's eyes. It cried as it wiped its tears, choking out, "Lee Hyun, are you not going to play with me anymore? Because I'm a strange thing." Seeing his friend cry, he exclaimed in alarm, "That's not it. That old man is the weird one." Hyun held out his pinky finger and said, "I promise. We'll be friends forever." The demon paused and asked, "Really?" It held out its hand to make a pinky promise with him. "You promised." Scene changed to winter. The green leaves returned. Flowers also bloomed under the sunlight. In a room, there was a withered potted plant, and a dry cough echoed constantly. Hyun lay in his room with a high fever, sweating profusely. His mother looked at her sick child with worry, letting out a long sigh. His father entered the room from outside carrying a basin of water and asked about his condition. "Is Hyun any better?" she replied. "His fever hasn't gone down at all. Even after going to so many hospitals, they don't know the cause of the fever, even though his condition is getting worse." Do you know what the other mothers are saying? That Hyun is playing with a ghost, not playing with kids his own age, but his father immediately refuted. Even if Hyun can see special things, there's nothing around Hyun that resembles a ghost. Scene changed to some time later. His father was smiling and calling his son. Hyun saw his father and replied, "Dad?" His father asked, "Playing by yourself?" Hyun replied, "Yes, I was just observing some insects for a bit." He looked down at where Hyun had just been observing. A thought crossed his father's mind. "I just thought that Hyun wasn't good at getting along with kids his own age." Back to when Hyun had a fever, he suddenly said, "A ghost friend. I have to investigate this." "Scene change!" the demon cried out petulantly. "I want to come over to your house." "But you keep saying no." Hyun thought helplessly, "But other people can't see her." One thing was clear. She wasn't a ghost, nor was she human. She was an invisible person. It wouldn't be right to call her a ghost because Dad can't see her. And besides, we can hold hands and even kick the foot of the slope. But it's weird to just keep having a secret friend forever. It's Dad's day off today, right? Thinking this, Hyun agreed. "Okay, then I'll ask Dad if you can come over to play." The demon asked excitedly, "Really?" Hyun took its hand and reminded it, "You have to stand behind me." The demon nodded and replied, Okay. Hyun was certain that his dad would definitely understand. Arriving at the front door of his house, he entered the password to open it. Hyun spoke up to ask for permission. "Dad, can I bring a friend over to play?" His father came out and asked, "Hyun, you brought a friend over. Come on in." Suddenly, behind his son appeared, not a lovely little girl, but something that looked like a strange, human-shaped object. His father was a bit stunned and froze when he saw that thing. Then everything returned to normal. That thing had disappeared. He thought in amazement, "Just now for a split second, I felt a bad omen." Hyun entered the house, bringing a strange black aura with him past his father. His father froze again, his eyes wide, standing frozen in place, thinking, "Something just came in. Something my eyes can't see." "Hyun, what on earth did you bring home?" Suddenly, the phone screen in his hand lit up. On the screen appeared a contact named Wolsodang Unsong. The old woman, the demon, smiled mysteriously and said, "Hyun, we're going to be even closer. Closer than family." Chapter 35. Hyun raised his hand and waved goodbye. The demon also raised its hand and waved goodbye. After that, it returned to the tree where they first met. Hyun turned his head to look at his friend and thought, "My friend has no home to return to." It doesn't feel the cold, the heat, or hunger. One day, Hyun asked the demon curiously, "What's your name?" It smiled and replied, "I forgot." The thought echoed again, it doesn't even remember its own name. The friend that only I can see is always at that spot. The demon in Hyun's eyes was a pure and lovely little girl. When she saw him, she would shout, "Lee Hyun!" The thought appeared again. The child who is always waiting for me. She only has me. Therefore, I must stay by her side. When the scene changes to another place, a hand was holding a plastic toy sword, stabbing into a plastic barrel. Immediately after, the pirate from inside the barrel shot up. The demon immediately shouted, and Hyun laughed happily watching it and saying loudly, "What was that? Do it again, do it again." Hyun immediately replied, Okay. His mother put her hand to her head and said, "My ears have been ringing this whole time, something strange, like someone's whispering." "There's something in front of Hyun right now, isn't there?" His father replied, "I don't see anything either, my ears are just ringing." He thought to himself, if Hyun's mom is also hearing that voice like a buzzing sound, it means it really exists, and things keep getting moved around. That means there's physical interaction. What on earth is this? Can that Wolzo Dang Unseong do anything? The demon whined irritably, "Let's play one more round." Hyun's voice trembled, "One more round." Then he got a nosebleed and collapsed. Seeing her son fall to the floor, his mother shouted his name. Hyun heard his mother's voice. He immediately propped himself up, pretending to be fine, and replied, "Mom, I'm okay, I just felt a little dizzy for a second." His mother said worriedly, "Hyun." His father, also concerned, said, "Let's take him to the hospital." He asked, "Can I go with my friend?" His father patted Hyun's head and said, "Go to the hospital with Mom. Hurry up now. Listen to Dad, okay? Your friend will stay home and play with me. Waiting for you." He sat cross-legged on the floor and began to ask, "I'm Lee Hyun's dad. Do you know how to write?" A pen had been placed on the floor with a piece of paper. His father stared intently down at the floor. The pen suddenly disappeared. On the paper, a large X appeared. He was a little surprised, but calmly asked, "Then let's use O and X to answer okay." His father began the story, "Since Lee Hyun became friends with you. He's been getting sick a lot. Even taking him to the hospital is no use. I think it's because you're a ghost being friends with a living person like Lee Hyun that this happened. For Lee Hyun's sake, can you leave him?" The paper still had the letter X on it, but suddenly it was torn in half. Then overlapping slashes, crisscrossing each other, appeared on the wall, on the room door. Large and small marks gradually appeared all over the room. His father didn't escalate the situation, but spoke gently to the demon. "All right, if that's your answer." Suddenly a bell rang from outside the house. An old woman, perhaps the astrologer, and a young girl arrived at Hyun's front door. She and the girl walked past his father and said, "Consider this my repayment for saving my son." He immediately replied, "Yes, please help me. It's like a child. Is it possible to send it to a better place?" The old woman held up a mirror and asked him, "Is it like a soul?" She clicked her tongue. "It's the kind that has lost its soul. Only a hollow shell remains. Since it has no soul, it can't be sent there. We can only chase it away with strong measures. Once it's been chased away, unless it holds malice, it won't dare to come back." After a while, the old woman said, "It's done." Hyun also returned from the hospital. As soon as he got home, he excitedly asked about the demon, "Dad, my friend." Unexpectedly, what hit the boy's eyes was a house stained with red blood, from the walls to the floor. Hyun's face darkened as he said, "What is this?" His father came out and asked, "Hyun, you're back." He wondered, turning to ask his dad, "What is this, Dad? Where's my friend?" Hyun suddenly said that, which made him suddenly look around his house. But his father couldn't see anything strange. He was also sure of himself and thought, "Sure enough, Hyun can see something." Then his father said to him, "Lee Hyun, listen to Dad. Your friend went home." He was surprised and fiercely, with tears in his eyes, shouted, "That's not true. How could she have gone home? Where is my friend?" He said loudly, placing his hands on his son's shoulders. "Hey, little one, Lee Hyun, listen to Dad. You can't play with that friend anymore." Hyun cried and said shakily, "Dad, you said that when you see someone in trouble, you have to help." His father suddenly found it hard to explain Lee Hyun. Then Hyun struggled and ran out shouting, "Let go! I have to find my friend." He shouted his son's name loudly, "Lee Hyun!" He kept running and running to that tree, but he saw nothing. Hyun panted and looked around. Day after day he searched for the one he considered his friend, but was met only with helplessness and cried out in despair. Nature continued its course. That branch was slowly sprouting, budding under the sunlight and blue sky. Hyun's mother looked at her husband and said, "You're off today. Can you pick up Hyun for me? He's been so distant ever since that incident. You can do it, Dad." He replied helplessly, I know, I'm going." Scene change. Hyun was walking down a road with his backpack on. A girl at a food stall, seeing a regular customer, called out curiously, "Hey kid, you're not buying 2 servings of rice cakes anymore." Hyun replied sadly, "Yeah, my friend disappeared." The girl called out, "Oh dear, maybe she transferred schools?" He bowed his head and replied, "Goodbye, ma'am." Hyun continued walking, his eyes on the ground. He kicked a small stone on the ground. Suddenly, it rolled up to a pair of bare, muddy feet. Hyun looked up, puzzled. He saw a little girl with short, shaggy hair, her whole body as if stained with red blood. It suddenly spun around and walked away. Hyun thought he had found his friend. He immediately ran after her and called, "Wait a minute, wait for me." The girl selling food saw him running into the construction site, which was under construction, and panicked. She ran out, "Oh, my kid, you can't go in there." But Hyun just kept chasing her, not paying attention to his surroundings. He ran panting. Finally, after a long time, Hyun stopped. The demon stopped, a single tear falling as it said joyfully, "Lee Hyun, I missed you so much." With that, it opened its arms and smiled at Hyun. Chapter 36. The confused woman muttered, oh my God, what do I do?" Call 911. Just then, Hyun's father arrived. He asked her quizzically, "What's going on?" She replied, "It's a huge problem. A child ran inside. That's a construction site. It's in danger of collapsing." His father suddenly froze for a moment because he saw his son's backpack lying on the ground. Scene changed to Hyun's location. He was standing panting somewhere inside the construction site. A single tear fell from the demon's eye. With a smile that was familiar to Hyun, it happily opened its arms and said, "Lee Hyun, I missed you so much." It held out its hand and said, "Come here, Lee Hyun." He eagerly ran over and asked Shiso, so you were hurt back then?" The demon didn't answer but hugged him tightly. It sobbed, "Lee Hyun, they said I can't be friends with you anymore." Hyun raised his voice and cried, "What are you talking about? Who said that?" "We're friends." The demon tightened its grip, hugging Hyun closer and saying, "Yeah, we're friends, real friends. But for that to happen, you have to die." With that, it stepped back and threw itself downwards, holding on tightly and pulling Hyun down with it. He screamed in fear. Looking down, it was a very long fall. Falling would mean certain death. But Hyun quickly grabbed onto a rebar that was set up nearby. He asked fearfully in a loud voice, "What are you doing?" "We're about to fall." The demon replied, "Yeah, we're falling, together." Hyun still tried to hold on to that thing and cried, "What are you talking about?" "We'll die," Hyun thought to himself. "It's too heavy." The place where he was hanging was the highest floor of this construction site. His father ran in from outside, was utterly horrified seeing her child. Suddenly, Hyun's hand slipped from the steel pole. His mind went blank as he let out a dazed cry. Hyun was terrified as he was in free fall towards the ground. The quick-thinking father leaped up, reaching out his hand to save his son. With his experience as a rescue worker, he of course caught Hyun without fail. But he also slid across the ground, crashing into a steel pole. The boy opened his eyes in fear, his voice trembling. "Dad!" The man panted, asking Hyun, "Are you okay, Lee Hyun?" Suddenly, a steel bar fell from above. It even hit another steel bar. Seeing the situation was not good, the father shouted loudly, "First, we have to get out of here quickly." Hyun's gaze then shifted elsewhere. He saw the demon rushing madly towards them. Hyun cried out in panic, "No!" The falling demon hit a falling steel bar. Hyun and his father were also startled when they saw that steel bar. Finally, it seemed that many more steel bars fell, turning the entire construction site into a cloud of dust. A moment later, when the steel bars lay still, Hyun was too scared to even open his eyes a tiny bit, but his father seemed to be in worse shape, because he had coughed up blood. But he still tried to push through and ask Lee Hyun, "Are you okay?" The boy turned to look at his father. Hyun was so scared that tears couldn't even fall. The father, in shielding him, had been impaled by a small steel bar. Hyun screamed, "Dad, the steel bar!" Even then, the father was still worried about his son's safety and yelled, "Don't move!" The air around them suddenly became dead silent. He reminded him, "Just a little longer. Just a little longer, Dad's friends will come to save us. Lee Hyun is strong and resilient. You can handle this, right?" He cried, "Dad, I'm sorry." The father smiled warmly, "I'm right here. It's okay, it's not your fault, Lee Hyun." A short while later, the rescue team arrived. That sound kept echoing, "It's not your fault." The mother also received the news and rushed over. Knowing that both her husband and son were buried under tons of construction steel, she cried in agony. She couldn't even stand and had to be supported by others. That sound echoed again, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault." After some time searching, the rescue team finally found them, thanks to a professional search dog. One of the rescuers shouted, "Over here, 2 buried individuals found." Hyun, with a completely pale face and wide, lifeless eyes, was brought out. He was still in a daze, completely motionless after what he had just experienced. Hyun saw the demon still standing a few steps away. He immediately ran towards it, yelling, "Why on earth did you do it? Why did you do it?" A shackle suddenly appeared out of nowhere. It locked around the demon's neck. Hyun ran to the demon and screamed, "Because of you, my dad." The people there started whispering. "Oh my God, what do we do? The boy is in too much shock." The pitiful demon said, "Now no one will stand in our way. From now on, we'll be best friends forever. Right, Lee Hyun?" He angrily screamed, "Give me back my dad." The mother rushed to hug her son, her voice loud. "Lee Hyun, it's not like that." "Look over here, Lee Hyun. Let's go to the hospital, okay?" A pale white hand attached to a chain appeared. A somewhat horrifying sound echoed. "It's too late." That hand clenched the chain tightly. A strange sound was heard. This world was never perfect to begin with. A demon with a human form was using a chain to restrain the smaller demon. It said, "Accept it, little child. Its existence will be erased from this moment on, both in this world and in your memory." As soon as the other finished speaking, Hyun suddenly collapsed. Seeing this, the mother cried out, "Lee Hyun!" The small demon had been pulled through a spatial gate, out of his sight. Afterward, Hyun was taken to the hospital. After observation, the doctor said diagnosis short-term memory loss. The mother wondered to herself, why does he remember the accident so clearly, but can't remember anything from the year before? Outside in the hospital hallway, the mother cried, thinking to herself, "My husband is gone. My son has amnesia, but as a mother I have to keep living." Scene changed to another day at Hyun's house. The mother gently spoke, coaxing her son to take his medicine. "Lee Hyun, time for your medicine." Suddenly she saw her son sitting in a chair and talking to the empty air. With her son and his father's spirit walking alongside, suddenly Hyun's voice broke her train of thought. "Yes, Dad?" The mother, confused, asked Hyun, "What, Dad?" Then tears fell from her eyes. Her voice choked. Is your dad there?" Hearing his mother's question, he turned and replied, "Yes, Dad is here." Tears also welled up in Hyun's eyes as he innocently asked his mother, "Mom, is it okay if we live with Dad like this? Even if you can't see him, I can, so it'll be okay." The three of us together again. Scene change, Hyun is walking, glancing to his right side. Then he turns to his left and smiles brightly. On one side, his mother is holding his hand. On the other side, his father's spirit is walking in stride with them. They go camping together, just like other families. Sometimes it's just the two of them, his father and mother sitting together on a bench. Hyun was playing in the yard when his nose started bleeding. He staggered to his feet, hesitating. "Mom, my nose is bleeding." Seeing this, the mother immediately ran over worriedly. Hyun, she worried in her heart. Could it be like last time? Suddenly someone walked up and said, "That's how spirits are. Whether good or evil, they shouldn't be around the living. The deceased should leave the mortal realm. That is the natural order." She looked up at the man who had just appeared and thought, "This man is very famous around here." The father's expression became pensive for a long while. The other man looked at his spirit and thought, "That illusion finally left its mark on the mortal world and fell, didn't it?" An image of Hyun at a different time suddenly flashed by. The strange man handed over a piece of paper with a phone number and said, "But there is someone more suitable than me to handle this. On the 49th day after the child's father's passing, come to this place. Even if they want to leave, old emotions are too heavy, making it impossible for them to let go. They need to be sent off properly, right?" Time passed until one day, Hyun was now sleeping soundly in his mother's arms. But his mother was the opposite. Her face was covered in sweat, and she panted, saying, "Hello, Master Monk." A novice monk was sweeping the courtyard. Seeing someone arrive, he looked up and replied, "Yes." He remembered his master's instructions. "This afternoon, a guest will arrive with a child on her back. Receive them in my stead." Right after, the novice monk led the way for the mother carrying Hyun on her back. "Yes, I have been instructed. Please come inside." She replied, "Ah, yes. Thank you very much." The leaves here were thriving green under the sunlight. In a serene place within the temple, a monk was sitting inside the main hall. In his hands were 2 pieces of paper and some kind of seeds. He mixed them back and forth. Hyun and his mother sat solemnly waiting for the monk to finish. "Yes." Afterward, he put a necklace on the boy and said, "Wear this around your neck. It will protect the child from evil things." Hyun obediently replied, "Yes." The monk continued, "When he reaches a certain age, he will no longer be protected. You must teach him not to meddle in others' affairs." The mother replied, "Thank you, master." He instructed Hyun, "If they deliberately try to harm you directly, bite this talisman. You must bite until you hear a cracking sound. It will protect you for about 20 minutes. Remember, its effect only activates when you hold it in your mouth and take a deep breath. After that, the talisman will lose its power forever. It's like a second life. Use it wisely." Today is exactly 49 days since the child's father passed away, isn't it? The mother quickly replied, "Yes, it is." The monk turned and said, "Then I will prepare the ceremony to guide the spirit." Hearing this, she immediately said, "Thank you so much, master." Time passed again. Still somewhere in that temple, the sound of chanting echoed, "Nameless obstacles are resolved." The karma of wandering spirits now dissolves. Light shines a path through the darkness. A way appears out of the abyss. Sins are washed clean, step onto the path of life and death. Cross the sea of suffering to the pure world. Seated on a lotus throne basking in the radiant light of compassion, Hyun saw the dark masses inside his father's body escaping. His thoughts appeared. The first time I met you, I was still in shock. This child is mine, really. At that time, Hyun's mother saw her husband in a daze and reminded him, "Come on, honey, snap out of it. We have to record a video, too. It's a boy." 1, 2, 3 fingers. The father's stream of thoughts continued to appear, joy and relief. Respect for my wife and the burden of responsibility. Piled up, it made me unable to calm down. How can I raise you well? My world has become brighter because of you. Also wider and more frightening. What if I can't protect you? That fear changed the rest of my life. I used to dare to rush into a sea of fire. When the couple had no experience taking care of a baby, they could only look at their little boy and discuss. The father spoke up saying, "The blanket only covers his belly." The mother replied, "That's not good." He answered, "No, not good at all." The stream of thoughts appeared, "But I was scared to think of you with a fever," shivering under that thin blanket. "Thank you, Hyun, for letting me live as a father. I was truly happy. I'm sorry for not being able to be with you for the rest of your life. Sorry for leaving you with only painful memories. But just the fact that you're alive is enough. Dad, I'm sorry, but that's enough." Hyun reached out to touch the blackness, escaping from his father's spirit. He burst into tears. "Dad, Dad." The father's spirit spoke. "In this cruel world, how could I bear to leave you behind? What should I do?" Hyun started to bleed again, along with his long streams of tears. He paid it no mind and cried out chokingly, "Dad, don't go!" The father silently looked at his young son, tears falling. He stood up, walking away from Hyun, and said, "I have to go now. We will meet again someday. We will be a family again, definitely. I love you so much, Hyun." He still wanted to hold on, calling out, "Dad." Suddenly, someone's loud voice cut him off. "Don't." The monk explained to him, calling back the deceased, "Will cause them to never leave the mortal world. You cannot call him anymore." Hyun silently turned to look at him. Then he quickly ran out to the courtyard. Someone shouted again, "Hyun." He reached his hand out, thinking to himself, "Dad, don't go, please." Finally, he stopped on the stone steps, knelt down and bowed his head. The father's spirit completely vanished. Although the mother couldn't see, seeing her son's expression, she also covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face endlessly. The monk spoke up. "The call of a life has been heard, so please follow that path." Suddenly, a certain sound echoed repeatedly. "It's my fault. It's 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 my fault." A strange black shadow suddenly appeared. It coalesced and formed a definite shape. That pitch-black figure, along with its bizarre voice, echoed, "When you see someone in trouble, you have to help." Hyun was a bit stunned. Then he shakily reached out his hand, about to touch the black shadow. Suddenly, Hana appeared out of nowhere, grabbing Hyun's hand and saying, "Snap out of it." "Lee Hyun, what are you doing here?" Chapter 38. Hana looked down at her hand and said, "I was going to give this to my mom." The seeds of some sort in her hand had shattered. The surrounding scenery suddenly split into black lines. Hyun, stunned, let out a "huh." Fragments of Hyun's memories from childhood to adulthood appeared. Suddenly, those things appeared, startling him for a moment. Hana turned and walked towards a black hole that appeared in space, leaving behind a single sentence. "Get out quickly!" Hyun followed her into a dark dimension. As he walked, he asked, "Why are you helping me?" Hana replied, "At first I was going to ignore you." Then she honestly thought to herself, "I really was going to ignore him." An image of Hana touching Hyun reappeared. Along with it was an image of her looking stunned, frozen. Suddenly she turned and kicked Hyun's leg, thinking to herself, "It's all because I absorbed those terrible emotions." He flinched and demanded, "Why did you kick me?" Hyun then asked, "The person you call Mom is Lisa." "Right. When the field trip is over, take me to Lisa." Hana refused. "Why should I do that? Mom is sleeping now, she can't be called." After that, they teleported out of that dark dimension. Hyun thought for a moment and then said, "The memory is still there, so the others also entered that room." Hana told him, "That is a room that makes people get stuck forever in their trauma. It's absolutely impossible to escape on your own. Only when someone else breaks it can you get out. And when you escape like that, the memory is retained. But if the room disappears completely, who knows what will happen to the memory and the soul? That room is filled with the emotions of the person who enters. There must be another emotion strong enough to break that emotion for the room to collapse. In your case, the gem of resentment shattered that room. Since this was caused by my family, I will handle it. While Mom was sleeping, things got out of control. I don't agree with this. You should find the brown-haired guy first, before his soul shatters." Hearing this, Hyun immediately thought of his friend Choi Ji-sung. Then he immediately turned and said, "Then I'll go ahead. Thanks for saving me." Hana maintained her expressionless face, waited for him to leave for a moment, then said, "Don't let yourself get trapped in the past anymore. I won't help you again." Now scene changed to somewhere else. Someone is taking a wooden stick, dipping it into a red liquid Then the tip of the wooden stick is pressed into the boy Ji-sung's hand. The music around them echoes, "No one hears in the dark night." The singing voice, "We are the seeds. Your name echoes in the tear-soaked land of Okra." Ji-sung's hand was now stained with that red liquid. The music continues, "We praise the divine." The boy Ji-sung was using his hand stained with the red liquid to make a print on the wall. After he finished, someone took a cloth and wiped it for him. The person asked kindly, "It hurts a lot, doesn't it?" The music still played. "Okra, a child is born near us from an unknown place, a human-like figure in the dark night." The woman lowered her gaze and said to him, "I'm sorry, but I'm truly proud of you." Ji-sung replied, "Right now, I just want all of this to stop." The music continued to play. "Please embrace the despair abandoned by the dawn." Time passed to another occasion. It seems there was a prayer service there. The person on the stage turned their back to the audience and said, "The faith we have built, now there is no room for doubt. No matter the suffering, that faith remains unshaken. And now his breath is drawing near. Before long, those footsteps will take form and come to this world." He finished speaking. A door suddenly opened. A footprint appeared on the wooden floor. The man watched in silence. The people who came to pray were too astonished to speak. The boy Ji-sung looked up. A small shadow appeared in front of a strange drawing on the wall. The people sitting below looked up and just stared wide-eyed. Someone tremblingly cried out, "Oh, Okra has descended." "He has descended." The people sitting below began to clasp their hands and cry. That gentle music played again. "We will walk together towards the source, where our sincere faith is illuminated." Ji-sung sat in the courtyard, playing with a leaf and thinking all adults are stupid. Suddenly something caught his attention and made him look. A strange round shadow appeared on the ground. Ji-sung, without a hint of fear, said bluntly, "You're a wandering ghost, right? I already know everything. That thing called Okra doesn't exist. It's just foolish adults." As he finished speaking, the air suddenly became unusually gloomy. Ji-sung stood up, dusted off his hands, and continued. "Anyway, the adults can't hear what you're saying. They can't see your form either. If you're a ghost, then go to heaven. Stop deceiving the adults." Suddenly, a pile of leaves flew at him. Ji-sung angrily growled, "What was that?" A thought appeared. That ghost pretending to be Okra. From that day on, it took up residence in this place. The morning began with a prayer ceremony. The evening ended with a hymn. No one doubted its existence anymore. Calling that God's name became as natural as breathing. Then one day, the entity's voice began to be heard. And not long after, its form was also revealed. It was a child a little younger than me. Less than a year later, that child had completely transformed. Strange, so strange. So strange. Don't the adults realize? Do they really believe she is a god? Perhaps from the beginning it wasn't an ordinary ghost. Or maybe because the foolish adults kept worshipping her, that the ghost grew stronger. But whether it's a real Okra or something else, I will definitely not believe it. Lisa spoke gently to everyone like this. Thanks to everyone's prayers and praises, I have grown as I am today. I truly feel like I have been reborn, because I am so grateful for that kindness. I have opened this door for everyone. Now let's leave together, to a place of true rest beyond the pain of this mortal world. The followers immediately cried out, "Oh, Lisa!" She smiled gently and said, "I did not create this door. The one I want to thank is the follower Ji-sung. You have performed countless rituals to bring me to this place." The mother, crying with happiness, looked at him and said, "Ji-sung, let's go together, to a place where there is no more pain or sorrow." Ji-sung stood outside, reaching out and calling, "Mom." "This is strange. Don't go in there, Mom." But his mother had already gone in, so he had to run in after her. When he arrived, the boy was a little worried. He looked around. Ji-sung saw everyone. Everyone was enjoying themselves, or expressing their gratitude in their own way. Everyone had a smile on their face. They spread their arms happily to welcome the sunlight. In the lush green meadow, the flowers were moving. Ji-sung was captivated and moved his eyes to look at them. What caught his eye was that the flowers had no pistils, but instead large round eyes. Chapter 39. Ji-sung, shocked, cried out, "Mom, this place is so weird." It seemed his mother couldn't hear him as she was too happy. He turned and called to the others, "Uncle, Auntie." An eye suddenly burst, splattering juice everywhere. Then countless horrifying insects crawled out from it. Ji-sung was even more terrified, crying out, "Mom!" He looked up and suddenly froze, staring at his mother. The mother's gentle, smiling face had become deformed. At some unknown point, all the other people had turned into the same thing. Then red raindrops began to fall, hitting Ji-sung's face. The entire sky turned red. He turned his dazed face to the side. Lisa scratched her face and asked, "Is this not good?" She said casually, "You all are spirits from the other world. So in this world you will be seen as foreign objects. So what do we have to do to settle down? Why is it raining? Why do insects keep appearing? Sorry, I'm still lacking in many ways." Jisung shouted, "Give me back my mom!" "Give me back my mom." Lisa drew out a long breath as if thinking, but it seemed more like she was mocking him. Then she bowed slightly and said to the little boy, "I still don't know how to do it, so I'm sorry. But as long as I make it beautiful again, it'll be okay, right?" Suddenly, someone's ribs were pulled up, and a flower grew on top of the long bone. From the other person's ear, something like a tree trunk grew out. Finally, a flower bloomed. The others started to experience the same thing. Flowers could grow from anywhere, on the body. Where there are flowers, there will be insects. Butterflies started to swarm people. This place is called paradise, filled with joy and happiness. Someone hummed, "Okra's paradise has finally arrived. O chosen one, revere and praise. The great Okra will save us forever." Closer, more unified. Boundaries no longer have meaning. Jisung watched the horrifying scene before him. Everyone gradually softened like dough, then stuck together into a mass. He screamed, "No!" Jisung ran and hugged his mother, pleading desperately. "Mom, no! Don't die." A voice from somewhere continued to sound, "Sing and dance. The paradise of joy and rest. Only joy remains? Forever." Jisung shouted helplessly, "I won't call you a ghost anymore. I won't call you that anymore." His voice trembled as he begged, "Please turn everyone back to normal." Everyone might seem foolish, but they are people who have been through suffering. They've just become foolish from too much sorrow. Isn't that pitiful? Lisa immediately replied, "Sorry, this time I'll do it properly." She looked at the mess in front of her, sighed, and thought. Lisa fumbled to fix her creation. The more she fixed, the worse it got. She looked at the pile on the ground, which was now even more deformed, and muttered, "This won't do." On the other side, suddenly Jisung coughed up something from his mouth. What he had just coughed up were 2 flowers. Jisung looked up miserable and said, "This is all your fault." He screamed, "It's your fault ever since you came." Hearing that, Lisa immediately conjured a black door and said softly, "Then leave, from the very beginning, right? You've always hated me, haven't you? Those who deny me have no reason to stay here. Leave." Hearing these words, Jisung was stunned for a moment. Then he turned around and loudly called for his mother. Before he could do anything, a hand pushed Jisung into the black gate. The mother, although deformed, still had thoughts for her son. "Son, go outside and forget everything." Then a large bouquet of flowers grew from the mother's mouth. Jisung screamed in terror, "No, Mom!" Finally, he was pushed out of that dimension and returned to where he was. Jisung looked up at the wall with the strange print that he himself had made. He stood up and repeatedly punched the wall hard, screaming, "Why only me?" Jisung knelt down helplessly, whispering, "Why just me?" Afterward, the news reported on the incident at Jisung's location. Breaking news, 43. Followers of a religious facility are missing. The cause is unknown. His inner voice echoed, "After that, I was placed under protection in many places. Before my grandmother came to adopt me, I had nightmares every night. An image of the boy with a terrified face and his body covered in a red liquid, falling from the sky." Jisung's inner voice echoed again, "The sounds, the smells, the temperature of that place appeared vividly in my dreams." When all of those things started to fade, scene changed to a long time later. At this time, he was playing with his classmates. A chorus of voices shouted, "Rock, paper, scissors." Jisung's 2 friends yelled, "I won." That was close. The boy laughed and said, "You coward." This is Choi Jisung, currently an 8th grade student. They looked at the seemingly abandoned building in front of them. His 2 friends joked, "Scaredy cat. If you're scared, just say so. I'm not going in there. Forget it. If we lose the ball, we can just buy a new one." Jisung walked off laughing and replying, "I'm going to go play soccer with the ghosts." Wait a minute. He went inside holding a flashlight, walking and thinking. It's not that scary, really. Where the heck did that ball roll off to? After walking for a while, Jisung found the ball. Oh, there it is. He got closer and reached out to pick up the ball. But suddenly it fell slipping from Jisung's hand. He looked up bewildered. A faded old strange drawing on the wall appeared in front of Jisung. Chapter 40. Jisung slowly opened his eyes in confusion. The man was lecturing enthusiastically on the stage. No, he himself was having an existential crisis. Why is that symbol here? The painful memories of Jisung's mother reappeared. No, no! He was so stressed that he broke out in a sweat. I have to get out of here quickly. However, Jisung had another thought. No. Couldn't I find my mother here? He imagined himself rushing towards the symbol. But Jisung knew well that this was not an easy task. Of course it's a fantasy. He couldn't stop wondering about it. I have to find out. Why is this symbol here? It's here, but could it be different in other places? Ji-sung kept moving forward. He was panting from exhaustion. Ji-sung was determined to find the special symbol. From then on, I started wandering, through abandoned buildings all over the country, in an old warehouse filled with shipping containers, a tunnel that had been sealed off by the authorities. Finally, he found it. Out of about 100 places, only one had the symbol. Ji-sung's face was downcast. The travel expenses were insane. He closed his eyes tightly and thought, should I try the method he talked about? The young man criticized Ji-sung for his sloppy work. I know you're a weirdo, but why are you going around to all these abandoned places? It's not like you're a YouTuber. For some reason, he was being harsh with Ji-sung. It's not like you're making money to help anyone. That's why he switched his focus to live streaming. Hello, I'm Ji-sung. Today I'm at Dusang Girls High School, famous for its ceiling ghost. 1:35 hours, 5 minutes, 38 seconds into the live stream. This was the result of Ji-sung's many attempts. 280K followers, 42 videos. He explored with his own knowledge. Today I'll be using the M1300 meter. Chart 41. Ji-sung stood still in front of the wall with the symbol. 390K followers. He couldn't bring himself to be happy. In total, I found 5 symbols, but I can't do anything. Ji-sung tried other methods to see if they would work. He had invited a shaman to perform an exorcism. He prayed sincerely and even sang hymns. Ji-sung refused to give up, easily trying all sorts of summoning rituals. But they were all useless. He fell back into a state of despair. I really don't know what to do. I'm on the verge of giving up. Ji-sung happened to catch an image of Hyun in his camera. He figured he'd thought about it enough this time. Just one last time. Ji-sung leaned in close to his face and asked, You can see ghosts, can't you? He suddenly remembered a moment from the past. Even if I go with someone who can see ghosts like him, if the situation doesn't change, Hyun angrily shooed Ji-sung away. Get lost, even though he brought food to appease him. Go away. But Hyun was adamant and refused. Ji-sung accepted the truth. In that case, I'll really give up. He lingered around Hyun. Come on, please. But he couldn't soften Hyun's heart. I swear to God I'll kill you, I swear. Ji-sung's eyes showed his tension. It was as if water was flowing over his face. Ji-sung's past memories were washed away by the water. Lisa appeared in the bizarre space. Her face was as bright as ever. Ji-sung reached out his hand wanting to touch Lisa. Mom. He presented the images. All right, pick from these. Hyun hesitated, not knowing what to do. He pointed to a picture. Choose this one. Ji-sung was a little surprised. You chose the abandoned school? He didn't really care, and it didn't matter, because all 5 of these places have the symbol. Ji-sung must have been really confused. How high do I have to climb? Lee Hyun, if you really are the key to this place, then I'll have to get on my knees and beg for your forgiveness. He resolutely made a vow, no matter what happens. I won't let you die, even if I have to sacrifice my own life. Ji-sung smiled brightly despite the hardships he had been through. He was caught by a large hand. Ji-sung seemed to have noticed something. That wall. He walked hunched over in the darkness. He reached the wall. So that's it. So Ji-sung finally understood. Everything he had seen so far was a completed symbol. But this wall was different. He had no doubt anymore. This is an incomplete symbol. Ji-sung actually cut his own hand. In other words, only when I complete it myself will the mechanism be activated. He placed his hand on the wall. When the symbol is completed, the door will open. Ji-sung was certain of one thing in this case. That must be the exit. He was aware of his next task. What I have to find outside are the incomplete symbols. If I complete them, the gate to Lisa's paradise will open. Many insects were crawling on Ji-sung's face. He quickly brushed them off. The space here surprised Ji-sung. There were hands reaching out from the ground trying to touch him. Ji-sung, Ji-sung. The interconnected hands touched Ji-sung's face. You're back. I've been waiting for you. It was as if it wanted to embrace his entire body. I missed you so much, Mom. Lisa's face beamed as she saw Ji-sung. My son. He paused for a few seconds. Ji-sung threw himself into the hands. Mom! He sobbed uncontrollably upon seeing Lisa again. Mom, I'm sorry I was the only one who escaped, but I tried my best. Ji-sung would do his best to save her. Now let's leave this place together. Come with me. Lisa explained the unavoidable reason. I can't, my dear. I died a long time ago. If I really leave this place, I'll disappear completely. She asked for Ji-sung's opinion. Do you really want me to disappear completely? You'll never get to see me again in this lifetime. Lisa didn't want him to sink into sadness. Ji-sung, we've been through so much, suffered so much. She gently advised Ji-sung, now we just need to go back. Lisa had only one wish, to return to a place with no pain, no sadness, to the happy home of the past. A place with a father and mother. She was so happy. Now we can be together in peace. Lisa extended her hand towards her son. Come here, my boy. He raised his hand to follow Lisa home. Let's go back together. Someone suddenly grabbed Ji-sung's wrist tightly. Hyun scolded Ji-sung as if splashing water on his face to stop him from doing something foolish. Snap out of it, you idiot, Chapter 42. A bizarre scene unfolded before them. The sky was a gloomy, fiery red. A girl with long black hair appeared, her face hidden, and she was tied with a ribbon. Hyun and Ji-sung both turned to see the sight. They both rushed over in alarm to check the situation. Hyun screamed at the top of his lungs as he ran, "Hana!" The girl remained motionless, making Hyun think she was dead. As he got closer suddenly, the girl lifted her head and replied, "Sorry, I was brought here too." Seeing this, Hyun shouted at her worriedly, "Get down! What are you doing up there?" With a calm expression, Hana continued, "My body can't move." As she finished speaking, she called someone's name, hoping he would stop this ridiculous charade. "Appa, stop it, this isn't Mom's way, you'll get scolded." Suddenly, he appeared out of nowhere. "Mom's way is wrong now." "I disagree." Then he arrogantly challenged, "Just you wait, my way will be much more effective." Suddenly, Hyun lunged, throwing a punch intending to give him a beating, but he missed. After the missed punch, he found himself transported to a strange new space. It was pitch black all around. A mix of surprise and anger, Hyun gritted his teeth. What now? It was pitch black and the space was silent. Right now, even the smallest sound could attract a lot of attention. A sound was made. Hyun turned to investigate. Before him, an incredibly brutal scene unfolded. A boy about 6 or 7 years old was holding a fruit knife, repeatedly stabbing a man lying on a bed. Suddenly, the boy turned his head and stared at Hyun, then smiled and said something horrifying. "Killing this way or that way, it's all the same. Dad was killed by you. That truth can't be changed." The boy's words were like a fatal knife, twisting into Hyun's mind. His psychological defense was broken. He seemed to fall into a state of hypnosis, constantly tormented by self-blame, feeling miserable and bewildered, overwhelmed by fear. Like a madman, he felt he was no longer himself. While still lost in this chaotic state, Hyun had to witness his 4 most beloved friends being killed. Pools of blood spread across the ground, creating a terrifyingly haunting image. On the other side, Ji-sung had been turned into a child and was being held by a long-haired monster that claimed to be his mother. It always acted concerned and used seductive words to hold on to Ji-sung. "Don't leave me, I can replace her." Terrified, Ji-sung struggled free and ran from the monster. On his way, he encountered demonic flowers. They looked bizarre and could talk. They called Ji-sung a traitor. "Why did you just run away on your own? You can't protect anyone. Why did you even come back here? What kind of mother did you expect? Why did you run away?" The barrage of questions made Ji-sung freeze. Then from behind, the monster's voice rang out, "Do you hate me because I've turned into a dried-up corpse? Why didn't you save me?" "You bastard!" the monster roared. Then hands reached out from its eyes and mouth, pushing Ji-sung. The surroundings collapsed. Ji-sung fell freely into a pit. There, a giant mouth was open, waiting to swallow him whole. At that moment, his feelings of shame and despair erupted. Ji-sung cried as he thought, "I didn't run away. Mom clearly pushed me out at that moment." His despair was amplified to the max. He started to stutter and blame himself. Was I relieved to be alive at that moment? While that thought repeated endlessly, a voice from nowhere kept echoing in Ji-sung's ear, trying to tempt him to commit suicide. A pair of thin, pale hands took Ji-sung's hand, grabbed a knife, and held it to his throat. Ji-sung had taken his own life? Outside, Hana could see the souls of the other 2 about to shatter. She thought to herself, why do people have to suffer so much? As she finished speaking, a stream of black gas escaped from their bodies. Their emotions are escaping from their bodies. The only thing I can do now is eat them. Looking at that awful emotion, I don't want any of it. I'll help them a little. The rest is up to them. When their excessive negative emotions were eaten by Hana, Hyun and Ji-sung, in another space, felt their minds become clearer and more lucid. The pent-up negative emotions that were about to explode suddenly vanished in an instant. Now only a feeling of emptiness remained. Fear, guilt, helplessness, loss. Those things were incredibly painful, but it's okay now. Recalling the stream of memories, Hyun had accepted his past and was more honest with himself. He himself now. It's okay if they come back to me, because I've grown enough to embrace them. As for Ji-sung, he charged forward, knocked away the monster, and plucked all the demonic flowers. As he fought, Ji-sung said, I just want to live. Why have I become a sinner? Because I'm still alive. I will open a way out of that hell. A sliver of light appeared from the darkness, like a hope to live, to be happy after the painful days of the past. Chapter 43. Cut to Hyun and Ji-sung looking down bewildered, sleeping. They saw Hana looking pale. Seeing this, Ji-sung thought to himself, looks like she's having a nightmare. Why is there only one? A moment later, Hana woke up with a start. She was on the verge of tears, spitting out a marble. She couldn't help but wonder. I swallowed so many garbage emotions. This made Hyun's face go, I don't know what happened, but are you okay? Then suddenly Hana got angry and started punching and kicking the two of them. Get lost, get lost. Why are you hitting us? Then she put on a serious face. First, let's get out of here. Suddenly, the marble in her hand cracked open on its own. The reason was that Appa was now making a mess of things. At this moment, when looking up at the sky, Hana saw an extremely bizarre scene. Even Ji-sung and Hyun were bewildered. It's all spirits. He wondered, how can I see them too? Then Hana explained, look around. This place is still inside. Then she shouted upwards, Appa, don't break the rules on your own. Hearing this, he looked down and breathed a sigh of relief. You're out. Don't be so angry. In terms of results, it's all for Mom's benefit. After hearing this, Hana immediately retorted, severing a pure soul from this world and bringing it to ours. Is Mom's will. Appa seemed to want to break away from his mother a bit. Too sentimental. Too sentimental. Just grab them randomly and make them adapt. If you grab a few hundred, one or two will adapt, right? Just keep increasing the numbers like that. We don't create souls. We steal them from this world. From the very beginning, it was never a kind act. We've worked hard to break their spirits. Now we just need to collect them. As soon as he finished speaking, Appa controlled the mouth next to him, making Hyun look bewildered. The souls are being sucked in. To avoid the same fate for his friends, he immediately ran to his friend with glasses. No! Then he grabbed his arm, but he slipped away in an instant. At this point, Hana came over and whispered to the two of them, Can you piss Appa off? I want to test something. After discussing it, Hyun couldn't help but be surprised. So all I have to do is piss him off. Then as the stinking mouth was gnawing on the souls and straight into its gullet, Hyun had already grabbed the leg of a soul and flown up. This made Appa stare blankly, his face frozen. In just a flash, he let go, then used his strength to punch him hard in his handsome face so that he couldn't even react and took the full force of his fiery punch. At the same time, blood flowed from his nose. At this point, Ji-sung also followed, grabbing the leg of a soul and flying up. Have another one. You bastard! And then, without hesitation, he delivered a fiery kick right under his chin. Since he had let go of the other soul, Ji-sung was in freefall after kicking. Luckily, he managed to grab a soul in time, holding on tightly. Along with that, Hyun had also managed to climb onto the neck of another one. He bowed his head a little shyly and said, Sorry, I kicked a little too hard, and thought to himself, This place is no different from inside the haunted house. I can physically interact with the souls. That means even if I get hurt, cut to Appa's side. The wounds on his body were slowly healing, but the pain remained. Even though I've absorbed many emotions, I didn't know this pain, so this is what they call pain. He mused, the emotion that comes after pain is rage. Suddenly, the human-shaped souls turned into a pile of mush, falling one by one into the pitch-black water. It carried with it the grievances of a hateful world. Help! Save me! After Hyun had no choice but to fall, he turned to Ji-sung and asked, Can you swim? When he looked at him, he saw that he was being held by a soul, unable to escape. Looks like the problem isn't swimming, so Hyun had no choice but to turn and cling to Hana. There must be a solution, right? He saw that Hana had already drunk a few gulps of water, unbeknownst to him, so the young man resigned himself to drowning on the spot. This is it. I'm screwed. And so all three of them sank into the water. They quickly grasped each other's hands, because Hana believed that since they were inside the subconscious, it would work. Wait, I'll lend you my power. Just like I did with you guys. Then she transferred a stream of green energy into the two of them. Absorb the soul's trauma. You don't need all of it, just enough for the soul to recover on its own. Create an opening for them to escape, that's enough. Then she resignedly let herself be dragged away by the underwater demons, because trauma isn't the truth itself, but a form of emotion that interprets the event. Returning to her childhood memory, Hana, looking grimy, looked up to see her mother, her face dripping with blood, yelling, What are you looking at? Get in your room. So she reluctantly obeyed. Yes, yes. Then she hid her test paper behind her back. Only when she entered the dark room did Hana dare to cry, revealing her true emotions. She climbed onto the bed, sat in a corner, and pleaded, Please praise me. Please love me. Then suddenly, Hello? A teddy bear came over and waved at her, which made her cry out in fear. A talking teddy bear. Then it looked at the test paper and praised her. That's awesome. This made Hana blush. Awesome. It nodded. Yeah, you did a great job. So cool. I knew it. I know how much you tried. Even if no one acknowledges it, you always try your best. I know you held this with hands that were trembling so much. Then it transformed into an exact copy of her and hugged her. I know everything. You're not alone. You did well, and you'll be fine in the future, too. Suddenly, a black shadow emerged from her back. It was trying to escape. Then a hand quickly and timely snatched the black shadow away. Cut to a notebook stained with blood. The surrounding students were constantly insulting him. "That pig has a bloody nose! Aren't there parasites in pig blood? He hasn't been reacting lately, so it's boring." As he said this, he poked the boy's hand with a pen. Instantly, that student stabbed the fat guy's hand hard, making him cry out in fear, "Someone!" Then suddenly, from outside the door, a gorilla appeared. It calmly stared at him, then charged aggressively, scaring the students into running for their lives. Where the hell did a gorilla come from? Run, Chapter 44. Seeing the gorilla suddenly appear made them run in terror. "Get out, the door is locked." There were even other students who were so scared their limbs went weak, making the fat guy next to them feel horrified and helpless. Hearing them cry out, "Help, help!" he trembled even more. "Save me!" Suddenly the gorilla appeared behind him, placing a hand on the fat guy's shoulder. "Look, look! Just one gorilla and they all die. Lately, whenever I see them coming in a group, my heart pounds and I can't breathe." The more it spoke, the more it provoked the fat guy. "And you just automatically bow your head, right? But what are they compared to a gorilla?" So the gorilla comforted the fat guy. "That fear isn't necessary in life. Let me take it away for you." As it finished speaking, it reached into his body and pulled out a black lump. Then it happily left, not forgetting to wave goodbye. From now on, be scared of gorillas instead. This left the fat guy bewildered, not understanding what had happened, and even a little scared. Then he suddenly woke up in the middle of a hallway. "I think I just had a really weird dream." Cut to a scene in a hospital. A boy with a terrible illness. Suddenly his eyes lit up. Outside, he smiled happily and reached out to catch the falling snowflakes. Turns out it was because Hyun was spreading artificial snow for him. Cut to another scene. Another boy was also playing happily on the gorilla's arm. Cut to a little girl holding a small cat that had taken its last breath in her hands. The little girl sobbed, then suddenly, a stream of blue light flowed from the young man Hyun, spreading happiness. The cat's spirit flew up, happily waving goodbye to her and leaving. Even in family arguments, the gorilla would step in to shield and protect the son of the alcoholic. Or when they were learning to ride a bike, they almost tumbled to the ground. But as soon as he closed his eyes tightly, it was as if nothing had happened, because there was always a father behind him, supporting the boy, as he stumbled through the first challenges of his life. Returning to the black lumps, that the gorilla had emerged from within them, the students suddenly woke up. Every single one of them had tears in their eyes, as they remembered the strange dream they just had. Cut to Appa's side. He asked irritably, "What the hell is your problem?" While Hana was tied by the neck with a ribbon, she was still very calm and said, "Spit out all the souls you swallowed." Appa pretended not to care and asked again. "I asked what the problem is." Then he resignedly gave up. "Whatever. Take your friend and get out of here. I'll let it slide. Mom told us to live in harmony." Instantly, a sudden hook kick slammed into his face. Hana, with a blank face, taunted, "You mad?" This made him furious. "You want to die?" Then he thought about the future and let it go. "But no, since we can't die, I'll make you suffer so much you'll wish you were dead." After that, he used his power to create hands that rose from the pool of water. They grabbed her tightly and pulled her down, causing the ribbon around her neck to tighten. This made Hana's face contort in disdain. "Just collect the souls and leave. But you're so easily agitated and impulsive, just like a child. As expected, you're still incomplete." Appa, a little background. We were created in a state of lacking emotions, so we want to absorb as many emotions as possible to become Mom's perfect child. But while I was fatally injured and had to wait to recover, my other siblings went out into the world. I thought I had absorbed a lot of emotions, but in my experience, absorbing emotions has a time and capacity limit. You can only absorb one thing at a time. Furthermore, it will make your stomach extremely uncomfortable. Exceeding a certain threshold will cause overload and regurgitation. Crack! A breaking sound was heard. After dealing with Hana, Appa stretched comfortably and left. Time to go. Then he ordered his demons, everyone back. Suddenly, from the surging waves, different faces emerged. Most of them were in their teens. Instantly, the wide mouth above sucked in all those soulless people. And even Ji-sung and Hyun were sucked up because of it. Seeing this, Hana took the opportunity and shouted, despite the blood pouring from her eyes and mouth, "Throw everything right into it." As soon as she finished speaking, they immediately obeyed, throwing the black mud towards Appa. You can only absorb one thing at a time. Furthermore, it will make your stomach extremely uncomfortable. Exceeding a certain threshold will cause overload and regurgitation, because it was all part of Hana's plan. Even so, it will still swallow everything, because that's our instinct. After unconsciously and automatically sucking all the black goo into himself, a sudden jolt of pain shot through his body. "You made me swallow this crap!" It forced him to self-destruct immediately. And so from the hole in his handsome face, Thousands of souls of different people poured out at once, making him unable to control himself and revealing his ugly form. No, the souls are all escaping. At this point, Ji-sung and Hyun were sitting below, panting heavily. Is it over now? But they had no idea that this was just the beginning. Appa, with a crazed mindset, gradually evolved into a new form. You will all die here. You will all die here. You will all die here. Suddenly, the whole place went into freefall, turning into jagged, sharp mountains. Hyun, falling freely, screamed out loud. Luckily, he managed to grab onto a piece of rock, his whole body dangling. Otherwise, he would have been done for. He yelled out, checking on everyone. Are you okay? Looking over at Ji-sung, he saw that he had been unfortunately impaled by a sharp rock. He immediately yelled his name and ran over. Let's get out of here. As soon as we get out, our bodies will heal. But Hana cried out, we can't! This is Appa's space. We have to kill him to escape. But in this space, he's practically a god. She thought carefully. I just need to feed him one more emotion. Hyun cried out, take my emotions. She quickly replied, a few emotions aren't enough. Are you willing to become an emotionless husk? Hyun asked quickly. We can get them back, right? The blonde guy removed his scarf, pointed at them and said, take all of mine. Just then the white-haired guy appeared. He grabbed Hyun's hand. Instantly that arm was crippled. He cried out in pain. His eyes looked maliciously at Hana. Then he dealt with her with one hand. Hyun couldn't believe what was happening before his eyes. But she wasn't dead yet. She cried out, put your hand on the blonde guy and touch her. He did as he was told, and all the emotions, all the joy and sadness, a black sword was pulled from her mouth. Hana cried out, stab him straight in the heart. He immediately did as he was told and charged. This time he still used sharp rocks to attack him, but it was useless. Because his body, Hyun now felt no pain, but only the purpose of killing him as he charged forward. He wanted to dodge, but Hana had used her power to bind him still. And just like that, Hyun used all his strength and stabbed him straight through the heart. This guy was finally defeated, his body shattering into pieces. The battle was over. Hana returned the emotions to her two friends from before, but they were mixed up. Although it was a bit uncomfortable, their bond had become much deeper. Now, let's go home.